No one told me we were going to do this again. I thought I did all my work yesterday, and I was going to sleep all day today. All right, we're going to go. We're going to make it happen one more time. We are here, Giant Bomb, for night shows for Summer Game Fest. I'm very excited about it, actually. We got another great lineup for you. One note, we were going to have the Windbag as our MC again. He did a fantastic job last night. We just had some tech issues getting the audio sync to work. We're still working on him. Tonight he's not going to be here. It's a bummer, but you should definitely follow him, _Windbag on Twitch. He literally is a miracle. I just cannot believe how he does this stuff, and he deserves all the accolades and the flowers. We'll try to make it happen again tomorrow if we can. No promises. That said, let's get into it. We had a ton of fun last night. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I am joined by some media superstars, including Emma Fyffe and Dave Klein. We got voice actor Ben Starr, and we have alpha male Mike Minotti.
That's right. That's what they all keep saying.
Yeah.
I'm just really glad that you invited Mike and I back for Disney Talk. So
there you go.
I did no such thing.
We're just going to talk about Tokyo Disney Sea. We're going to go real deep on the Lord Duffy and friends.
She did the Universal Tram tour for a while.
I did.
She
had
like.
Did you really? Oh yeah, I was a tour guide at Universal.
Very excited to talk about that.
I can't believe this is already happening to me.
It was so cool.
You know what, though? You guys are all Final Fantasy nerds. We've got the voice of Clive here. Ben Starr.
Let's talk about Universal, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go through that. I want to know the lore.
So what do you think about face tattoos?
What do I think about face tattoos?
Yeah.
I got, someone tweeted me the other day, they've actually got the face tattoo on their arm already.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
That's not a face.
I know, it's a face tattoo, but on the arm. I'm like, just get it on the face, you coward.
It surprises me not at all that somebody already has a tattoo.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
absolutely.
Like, Final Fantasy fans are hardcore, so it is like a blessing and a curse in some ways, I feel. And there's definitely a number of people, especially with a company like Square Enix, where it's like people are ride or die.
But usually you want to make sure you like the character enough to be like, I want this on me.
Yeah.
I think you're underestimating people.
Oh, I know that. I mean, someone named their kid Turok because of a competition that they did, and that was a thing. So.
Oh, right, that whole.
It's like when I feel really sorry for people that call their kids Daenerys Targaryen, and
Right,
then they just realize until they didn't see the final series of
They
Game of Thrones.
named a lot of kids named Khaleesi, right? Where it's like, it's like naming a kid president. It's really.
You just could have waited till the final series. To see what happens.
Messed up there.
Listen, we have a do-over. We have a second chance because there's no way George R. R. Martin's ever going to finish those books.
Oh yeah, for real.
I'm really deluding myself here.
I'm just going to name my kids after something from the fanfic. I think that's my big move.
But which fanfic? Like one of the really sexual ones,
Yeah,
right?
of course, yes.
Yeah.
There's not sexual ones.
Ben, so we're here at Summer Game Fest. Like, what is this like for you when you come out here as, one of the big stars of a video game?
Yeah.
It's got to be kind of strange, but kind of fun. What's it like?
Yeah, it's both strange and fun and weird, and I'm having this kind of very strange out-of-body experience right now. Because,
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not here. I'm somewhere else. This is so strange because I'm a huge video game fan. This is like my passion, right? And my profession is being an actor.
Name 5 video games.
I don't know. Call of Duty, Madden, those big names. Yeah, those are cool.
Why'd you go into your American accent when you were being the shot of a video game fan?
Sorry, Call of Duty and Madden. It's been my passion for years, and the fact that I've got this intersection, right, where I'm now an actor and I get to be in a video game is really surreal. So I watch, like, all my YouTube content is just me just watching video game stuff. And that's always kind of been
You don't comment at all, you just watch. You're just
I'm like a weird lurker, just with some binoculars by my computer, just like looking at it.
Yeah, he's actually watching other people play video games at like the flat across the way.
Yeah. I just have this very long telescope. Yeah, it's really very, very. I'm a very strange man. Everyone. No, it's amazing to come here, and I'm always, around this time of year, I'm always watching the reveals. I love watching the shows. So to get to be here and get to kind of experience it with people who are as excited as I am is so cool.
Well, what was that moment when you found out though that you got the role? What was that moment like?
Yeah, it's like I screamed into a pillow for about 2 days. But then, you get a job like this, you can't tell anyone. No one, at the time, no one knew that Final Fantasy 16 was going to come out.
Yeah.
And I was like, the secret is with me. And you sign like a rock hard NDA. It's like, if you say anything, we will just come around to your house and shoot you.
And yet, it's usually the voice cast that has been leaking games in the last year and a half.
Yeah, it's always those people.
Yeah, they're like, I'm doing this in a couple of months. Like, okay. Say voice actor. Actually, it's like when they get the Hollywood stars to come in, and they're like, we signed something. We don't care. What are they going to do?
Yeah, it's like Norman Reedus, right?
Yeah,
being DS2's happening. We don't care.
David Harbour.
Tom Holland, notorious. Do not let him. I think Tom Holland should just not actually know what projects he's working on.
Right.
He just like be in a Spider-Man
Just stand there,
suit.
someone
It's
tells him like in it with an earpiece.
I don't know. Like you're wearing a Spider-Man suit for some reason, but it's not Spider-Man.
But now they've made that part of the joke with him, though.
I know.
So
it
that's
really
how they do
has,
reveals.
yeah.
It's like, oh, he accidentally did it.
I know.
So
That's so quacky.
Yeah.
You gave this to me.
I really didn't.
Yeah, it was on the table.
Someone handed this to me.
I think it was your hands.
He's my
Your
best
hands
friend now.
gave it to you.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
well, go ahead, Mike.
Well,
Please.
I was just gonna ask a very stupid question because there's that dog friend in Final Fantasy 616, but would you have a duck friend? What would his powers be? Quackaga?
Well, that is a dumb question.
Quackaga!
Yeah, well, it would be
Quack.
probably Quack, as in Quake, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but the quacka.
Quack, yeah.
Quackaga.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this isn't Final Fantasy 16 related, but it's just like fun because we were talking before we started,
Yeah.
and I feel like you need to tell people the story
Yep.
about Pokemon in Final Fantasy 8.
Yeah, so I got into my first ever Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy VIII. I was 11 years old, so like we're talking like the zenith of Pokemon,
Yes.
Red and Blue, right? Everyone at school was playing Pokemon. Like if you weren't, it was ridiculous. Everyone was getting Missing Go, and everyone was like, what, the rare candies or something?
Yeah.
Everyone was just doing that shit.
The
right?
item dupe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
I had my missing now. Yeah.
crazy time to be a kid.
So many missing those, and you could just like.
That was your whole thing.
Farm
Yeah.
them for experience.
Yeah.
It was what you did.
Oh, that's all you did as a kid. And it was like the coolest thing. And then I played Final Fantasy VIII for the first time, and it obviously like changed my life. But one thing I did was all the Guardian Forces in that game, I just named them after Pokemon. So
Oh my gosh.
so they're
Was
all
Ifrit Charizard? Is
Yep.
that?
Yeah.
Nailed
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Shiva was.
Articuno.
Articuno.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
choice. Great
Yeah.
choice.
Oh, so was Zeus? Is it? It's not Zeus. What's his name? Rama. Rama was that Zapdos?
Pikachu.
Well,
Zapdos.
his son Ramu wasn't in Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
We
Was
had
he not?
Quetzalcoatl.
Wow, you loser. You didn't know that?
Quetzalcoatl was.
Was
You're
that
embarrassing
Zapdos?
That
yourself,
was
David.
Zapdos, yeah, that was
Yeah.
Zapdos.
I knew that.
Quetzalcoatl basically is Zapdos. So
Yeah.
that's good naming.
I was
Yeah.
just testing you, actually. Glad that you passed that test.
Yeah, fake fan right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But so Ben, like you clearly a fan, and yeah, it's exciting when you got it. But like the path to getting there, is it something like that you actively thought was ever possible?
No.
And
No.
so like, here's the thing that happens a lot of time when anyone's in a position like yours. Oh, how can I do this?
Yeah.
But like, it's always different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was your path like?
So my path is like, I always wanted to be an actor since I was a kid. I was like, that's what I was going to do. But you go to in the British education system. Basically, it tells you don't do that. It goes literally. I can't.
The Queen comes to your house.
Yeah,
King now. Excuse me.
yeah, she will. She will send the guard
Yeah.
round and just like put you in the Tower of London, unless you are a lawyer. And so like that's it. That is official. You can take that to the bank. And and so. I was kind of this outlier in my school, right? Where I was like, I'm just still want to be an actor. I still want to be an actor. And when I was a kid, I was in like the National Touring Company of Les Miserables. I played the little urchin boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're Gavroche.
Yeah, I was Gavroche. Yeah. And so I always wanted to do it. And then I went to university and did history because it was always like, you've still got to go and fall back on something. Basically, society is telling you you're going to fail, right? You're not going to succeed at this. But I was always going to do it, and then went to drama school, and then I became an actor. And at the same time, I never thought video games was a possibility. It was always like film, TV.
Like just a working actor, right?
Just a working actor. I don't care. Like I don't want to be. Never wanted to be famous. I just wanted to be able to make a living, do the thing
Why
that I
not?
love. Well, yeah, no, of course I wanted to be famous, but like
It wouldn't have hurt it.
Guys, I'm actually very sad, and I'm making excuses for my failure as an actor. No, like it's a crazy thing to get to do what I do. Like we're all here, right?
Yeah.
We are doing things that we genuinely love doing, and we get to like make a living from it, and that's mad.
It's
you know?
cool.
And
But you would be cooler if I was a voice actor. I've been told I have a really interesting voice.
I think
so-
honestly, when I picture Clive in my head, it sounds like this.
Yeah.
So, it's weird, Ben. Sorry.
Right.
yeah, no, I actually based the character of Clive on you. So there you go. Like, yeah.
And you just met yesterday.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
They should have. Now you gotta like get me involved really, so that when I die someday, Jeff Keighley can be like Mike Minotti. He was in Final Fantasy
memoriam.
16.
He was the duck side character.
He was
Final Fantasy 16.
Quackaga.
Quackaga.
I was actually thinking Zack in Rebirth should be my.
Yeah, he's just trying to be like, yeah. Hey, Cloud, Sephiroth's okay. He's evil now.
So
it's very convincing.
No, but like while we're going down this path, like when I was a kid, you know, these for example, even Final Fantasy VIII, there was no character voiceover, and it was all text boxes. Yeah. So when my brother and I would play, 7 was our first, and then we played 8, and you know, whenever we would play these like text-rich Final Fantasy games together, I would read all of the text out loud, and I would voice every single character. So Ben, did you ever have any similar experiences? Were you ever gaming with somebody who you're also performing the game for?
All the time. I was doing this recently. So I was playing a game called Chained Echoes recently.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that game. It's an incredible game.
You a big Chrono Trigger fan too?
So I've actually never played Chrono Trigger, and because I really like Square Enix. If you're watching, please remake Chrono Trigger, remaster it. Like I really want to play it on consoles again because I've never had the opportunity to play it.
I'm sorry, go on though.
No, of course,
Echoes
right?
Makes me think because
that's what it was, right? Everyone kept saying, "God, you should play Chained Echoes because it's just a great homage to Chrono Trigger."
Yeah.
And as I was playing it, I was thinking, wow, this isn't voiced, and there's a real difference in the way that like dialogue is written when it's not meant to be voiced.
Yeah.
And it's like because it allows for a different type of storytelling, so it can be a lot more kind of explaining and plot driven and lore driven because human beings don't really sound like that. So it's like trying to find that turning point between being believable when you say it, because like human beings don't say that stuff. And it's funny when you voice those things out loud. And I was in my head and out loud by myself in my room. I was trying to say the lines out loud to see how they would sound. And it's a difference now that we're with 16, with 15, with like now after 10, right? We've gone into this world of like voiced characters.
Right.
So it's about making that lore believable to say out loud. And I think that there has been a shift in what we're able to say in those textbooks.
And I mean, the shift, I mean, clearly they've said it a million times now. Yoshi P was out there saying we are explicitly inspired by stuff like Game of Thrones, and that is a very cinematic television show. I think if you say that, you must bring a certain amount of authenticity of that cinematic experience. And did you feel that when you were doing the work? Did you feel that like there was people taking this very seriously?
Completely. Like this is the task was make it as believable as possible. And you know, there's a fantastical world. These are giant beasts, but it's like imagine you able to channel these massive things, but ultimately it's a political drama or a personal drama, and that's what it is. It's kind of going, let's reimagine what would happen if these weapons of mass destruction were personified in human form, and how would they try and deal with their own humanity? How would they try and deal with that personally, and how would it affect them? And then let's shove it in a political setting, being like, right, if we send Titan onto the battlefield, he could literally kill everyone.
Yeah.
So when are you going to do that? It's like we can't put Titan on the battlefield because they'll put their dominant, and then the entire nation will be destroyed. And so you get this really cool interplay of like what that would be in that medieval setting.
That's really fun.
And so you guys are like really thinking about that, like in the booth. You're like, it's like you got to consider all these factors of what these characters are going through.
Complete. I mean, like Clive, because of Clive's journey through this, it was like you are playing. We are aware this is the first time that you are playing as a singular character. It's a character action game. You're going to go through like, and there you do get to meet all of these amazing characters. But it's like, right, you're playing as one character. You have to like him. You have to like him, right? And so it's like, how do you do that? It's like you make him as human as possible. And
or you give him a dog.
You give him a dog.
Exactly what I was
If
gonna
you
say.
don't like him, just like the dog.
Or a duck.
Yeah. But
I did love the reaction that fans had too, because again, obviously this is a big departure for Final Fantasy to have a singular protagonist, no party.
You're not even really think about that.
Right.
You're absolutely-
And everybody was, there were a lot of people that were freaking out. They're like, oh my God, what do you mean there's no party? And they go, and he has a dog, and everyone goes, you know what, actually I've noticed. It's perfect. And, he's such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. I've said this like multiple times, but I have a little dog called Milton, and he was in the booth whilst we were recording a lot of the time.
This is correct.
And
This is correct.
So a lot of the lines I have been directing to Thukral are to my little dog.
That's
Milton.
That's authentic. Huh?
That is
There you
really.
go.
I really think that's sweet.
It's
That's
What type
very
of dog
cool.
is Milton?
He is not like Thukral.
He's not like
He is a
Thukral.
tiny Yorkshire Terrier, like this big. And
that's
so
even better.
I'd be
Small
doing-
dogs for life. Let's go.
Sometimes I'd be doing some like really emotional scenes, and then I just feel these tiny paws on my leg because he wants to get picked up. So I just hold him in my arms like that.
Did he ever bark and ruin a scene?
No.
What? That's a very good dog.
Okay, that's not like my dog.
Such a good boy.
Now, you have to scream a lot, right? Because you get turned into like "Argh!" Does that like hurt after a while?
No, it doesn't hurt at all. No, it really hurts. It is And like especially when you do like the icon powers are massive. And I remember like I said, oh, can I see them? Can I see the powers? I just don't want to make them randomly into a microphone. So we had this 6-hour day where I just saw. We decided to do it in one day, which was just so stupid. And it was me looking at all the different icon powers, and I saw this one thing, this kind of Phoenix power that I did. I went, right, I'm really going to get into this. I really want to kind of like embody this. So I made the noise, and they went, fantastic. Now here's the bigger version of the thing that you've just done. I went, oh my god. And then they went, and how many of these icon powers do you get? And that I had to voice every single one individually.
I could be your scream double. That could be kind of my thing. I can scream pretty good, right, Jeff?
I hate when you scream. It does hurt me more than it hurts him, I think.
Well, how about we organise something? We'll get a patch in. And
We'll
a DLC pack. The Mike Minotti DLC pack.
The Mitch Tokoto scream pack.
Totally get that.
Yeah, there's no DLC. We're going to change our mind. It's going to come in. It's just going to be your
As
voice
long
back.
as it costs something obscene, like $200, I'm in on it. Yeah,
Cool. That's fair.
Yep, $200.
So I have a question. Do you know who the voice director was? Well, obviously you do. Who was the voice director for the game?
So on the game, we had quite a few kind of
I was
different...
asking myself.
No, I know.
who
I
it
was
is.
gonna say.
No, but we had quite a few different kind of performance directors throughout the process because it goes for a really long period of time.
Yeah.
But like what you have is like I would say Koji was the person who oversaw everything.
Yeah.
But like I worked with two. I really want to shout out to two of my like really close friends, like Morgan Rush and Ollie Chance. They are remarkable people and two of my closest friends who are just have a great oversight of that. And we had this amazing English team. Hannah Price as well, just like she's an absolute powerhouse. She worked on Alan Wake 2 and stuff. She's so cool. We just really had the crack team over in the UK.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, right, we still had Koji with his vision and John Taylor, these people who were kind of going, this is what we do and this is how you kind of make it as honest and true as possible. And so there was a real consistency throughout the whole thing.
I feel like localization's been getting really good in a lot of games, so I'll be excited to see how it's handled. Because like I know Final Fantasy 15 was a different team because it was handled here, but that one was great. Like it was actually, I thought it was fantastic. And then Resident Evil's been getting some great direction. So
Resident Evil. Can we talk about Resident Evil 4 remake?
It's
Can we please?
truly.
Oh, you get that S plus professional rank?
I got the platinum trophy like 2 weeks ago.
Did you get the cat ears?
Yeah, I got the
Cat ear boys.
Yeah. I was the last time I did it.
Dang,
I think you've got to play it
gamer.
like 6-7 times to get that platinum. And there's me with just the rocket launcher doing assisted, just like with cat ears, just being like,
That's so much fun once you get it.
Yeah.
Just
well,
running around the rocket
sad
launcher.
Leon was here last night. It's too bad we couldn't like.
No, I was with him.
Yeah, they
I was with
chatted
him in
for a
UJW
bit,
the other night, and we really wanted to get a picture together.
Yeah.
But he's Nick's so cool. He's
Such a nice guy. I'm curious, because you did all the recording in the UK, did you ever do any group records, or were you always just? Oh, you did. That's the dream.
So really early on, I had Susanna Fielding, who plays Jill, and Ralph, who plays Sid, and I would be in the studio, and then we'd have this revolving door of actors who would come in, and there is this great vision, right? You want to get this authenticity, you want it to feel really like it has a flow, and so like even though the pandemic changed the way that we were able to record later on down the line, I think we were able to build these relationships like you never would have been able to before. And like Susie and I created this amazing rapport, and like the Sid stuff. Sid is just the coolest character.
How would you rate Sid on the scale
On the
of
Sid
Final
scale?
Fantasy
Sid
scale.
Can I just say he's absolutely the sexiest Sid.
He's definitely a sexy Sid. I love too that he is a Sidolphus Sid, which is a name that's come up a few times in Final Fantasy, but very notably in Final Fantasy Tactics, which is also a very serious political drama.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling
it has that lineage of the same similar.
There's some Evilise vibes going on here.
Yeah, so because for me it's like I love like Final Fantasy Tactics. To me, the story is flawless. It is the most beautifully executed like political intrigue, and I look at that and I go, Game of Thrones wishes, and I feel like again it's like 16 from what I've experienced of it is very much leaning into that political intrigue, and again it's like and doing what Final Fantasy Tactics does extremely well, which is driving the whole thing forward through having very interesting characters.
Yeah, it's what's really great is the way that they've kind of balanced that. We've got this real sense of this giant world, and then you're driving it through with like characters who are fighting against it. And the coolest thing they've got, I think they talked about it in the previews, is the active time lore, which is just makes it way more accessible.
Very cool.
It's really cool, right? You can be going, okay, who is this person? You press the active time lore, They tell you who that person is, and it kind of gives you a little bit of, not too much, like a tiny little paragraph.
The people are going to go out and look for these things anyhow.
Yeah.
Put it in the
That's
game.
what I used to do. I was
Yeah.
like known for Dark Souls lore, and that was like literally
Nice.
my job was just like look up every
Right.
little
And
lore
then
bit
that's
and
a,
put
it's a whole
together,
cottage
yeah.
industry.
I
Put it in the game. Yeah.
I used to buy like Prima Games and Brady Games strategy guides,
Sure.
not really for the strategy, but just for the additional
The flavor.
artwork
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
flavor and
Yeah.
lore. And because like, being children born in the 80s, reared mostly in the 90s, we didn't necessarily like
There wasn't a
the
fandom.
internet was not what it was.
Yeah.
Exactly, you couldn't go to finalfantasy.fandom.com.
Hey.
Small plug.
Yes.
Was it Final Fantasy 9 that had like the play online
Yes.
strategy guide, and that's like that's what we had then. So
Yep.
this is
I had
better
that
than that.
art book. That one was really
Yes.
good. Really
I
good art book.
love art books.
My dad would, because I in the UK it was done by Piggyback. So
Oh,
we had
yeah.
these beautiful like Piggyback guides, and I had every single one.
Yeah.
And my dad at work would print off the play online stuff. I was like, Dad,
Oh, that's a good
bring them back from work, and he'd
dad.
like, send them to me because that wasn't a complete guide. It had nothing on it.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, you want to know more how to defeat this boss? Like, yes, that's why I bought the guide.
Yeah.
But then they'd like go to play online.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet of him.
My brother and I, just speaking of printing out strategy guides, I have such a vivid memory of, I guess our printer ran out of ink or something, but we had printed out a Final Fantasy VII strategy guide that basically ended exactly at the point that you exit Midgar. I'm about to sneeze. No, I'm not.
Yeah, pro.
There we go.
it is.
All
right.
A sneeze or a sneezer or a sneezaga.
But it was exactly when we were the point where you like exit Midgar, and if you've ever played Final Fantasy VII, that's the point where the game gets you into the open world, open-ish world. I say that with a caveat, but you're like on the world map instead of being.
It
in
felt
this,
like it.
It
at the
did
time,
at
yeah.
this very linear
It opens
city.
up.
Yeah.
It opens up big time, and so I remember like we didn't have any more of the strategy guide, and we're like, what do we do?
Ben, I want to ask, not to like be like too crude, but there's like possibility like coming out of this, you at the end of the year, you're picking up like a game award for like best actor in a video game, right? Is
Yeah.
that something you think about ever?
No, genuinely not. People say it, right? Because
Yeah.
I think whenever anything comes out, people always go, "Is it going to be Game of the Year? Is it going to be
Yes,
this?" 'Cause
sure.
we're always thinking like,
Yeah.
how do we tier this? How do we quantify
Absolutely.
within
Yeah.
something? So people always say that, but like personally, no, I really don't mind. I get to do like the coolest thing ever. But I think when people are going, is this going to be Game of the Year? It's going to be the best thing ever. And I'm thinking, no, it doesn't. It doesn't really have to be. It just has to be brilliant. And we're in the age of like, Jesus. Even in June alone,
It's a good year.
I know.
Yeah.
think
It's-
about.
Yeah, this has been Zelda. I just finished Zelda.
Yeah.
RE4.
RE4.
Street Fighter 6
Street Fighter
just
6,
came
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Just
Diablo.
my backlog right now is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, even later down the line this year, it's like we've got Mortal Kombat 1 coming out and
Stuff.
Alan Wake 2.
Yep.
Yeah, Starfield, like you were saying.
Starfield on
Yeah.
Sunday, right? We're gonna figure that out.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's tomorrow.
Oh,
Ooh.
Armored
Yeah.
Core as well.
So then
Yeah.
when it comes to then, if you're not thinking about that, then going back to like being a working actor, being like making your career, then how do you hope to like build on this, carry this momentum? Or is it just like, hey, that was a W, let's get back to work tomorrow?
Just gonna work on getting me
Yeah,
roles
yeah.
now.
Of course,
I
yeah.
think
He's
like,
your agent now, yeah.
You can, thank you, sir. You can't really make plans for this. Like
Sure.
this is kind of, to quote Final 97 Rebirth, like the unknown journey continues, right? Like, hey, on brand, nerd, weirdo.
Square
Yes.
Enix PR is loving this.
yeah, your film stars duck approves. Give me you're not taking away from me.
I have a more important question.
Yeah.
How are the bigs and wedges of Final Fantasy
Oh.
16? We talked about Sid.
Interesting.
Or was there like no big and wedge reveal yet that we're allowed to know?
I mean, I can't really say because that would be a spoiler, so I'm
Yeah,
not going to say anything.
and
about
it is
the
in
game.
his contract.
This guy
that-
loves spoilers, though. Yeah, well, it's the opposite. He doesn't think they matter. That's right.
I think they actually increase the job.
Everyone thinks it's about Sid's, but it's about bigs and wedges.
Yeah, but his contract says if he reveals anything,
Yeah.
he will be
Terminated on the spot.
terminated
Yeah.
on the
So
spot.
what you can't see
banished to
right
the Phantom Zone.
Off screen right now, we just have a firing squad just
There's actually
Wow.
13
Joking.
knights
Yeah.
right over there,
Yeah.
right around,
Yeah,
ready to round
it'll be a
up.
1 minute and 15
15
second
seconds,
animation.
yeah.
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 I just can't wait to find out what like your line's gonna be. Like we were talking about Leon Kennedy, and it's like, oh, where's everybody going? Bingo.
Oh, yeah, bingo.
What's gonna be the line that people are gonna come up to you the next
they
like
already
20
have.
years and make you repeat? What?
They already have. It's come to me a free. That was
there
the end of the
it
revenge
is.
trailer that
Makes
happened. I
sense.
literally all I get is people messaging me saying, "Can you say this? Can you say this? Can you say
Yeah.
this?" And it's weird because when we recorded it, it just wasn't. Like,
sure,
it wasn't a big thing, right?
You can't plan it, right?
Yeah.
You can't plan it. You can't worry about it. This is an unknown journey. You're gonna have to kind of just roll with it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm doing through this whole process. Is I'm taking it all in. Like I'm here with you guys, which is mad, and we'll just see what happens next, really.
So, because you're a Final Fantasy fan, what for you has been the most exciting thing about Final Fantasy 16, just as a fan of this series?
Oh man, like what being a part of the actual game. Like,
Well,
what was the coolest thing?
Obviously, but I mean, in the sense of like, if you were to play this game, being a Final Fantasy fan that you are, is there anything that stood out to you? Like, wow, like this is something I'm very excited to play, or I was excited to see?
the music and the story.
Yeah.
I've got to say, the music in this is actually, I remember seeing it for the first time with music, seeing scenes that we've done, and I just kind of welled up, and because
Soken is so incredibly. If you don't play Final Fantasy 14, and you haven't experienced his music yet, it is so ridiculously good.
Yeah.
I'm just like so excited for people like outside of that game's community, which is large, but for more people to hear like what he does, because it is just incredible.
if you want to get like the sense of the scale, I think they released "Find the Flame" on Spotify like 2 days ago. Or
Nice.
you can listen to it now. Like it's like it's got choirs in it. It's really intense, and he described it as like if there isn't a main central theme, but he's like, this would probably be Clive's theme in the game.
Nice.
And there's like different themes for different characters.
Yeah.
So Sid's theme is really amazing, and how he doesn't just do it in one way. You'll hear like different motifs like appear in and out of the game, and how it changes. You can go from a big, broad orchestral version to like tiny, just like one little string. It's really, really cool.
Does anything hold a flame to Fisherman's Wharf, though?
Oh, Fisherman's Horizon?
Yeah.
Don't worry, I got you.
You know what? I only got through 1.5 discs of 8.
Yeah, we already
I'm
established
sorry.
that Dave was a fake nerd
totally.
previously based on the Quetzalcoatl comments. But it's interesting too, because obviously, with the character of Clive, you get to play him at some very different phases of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you were working on that, like, what was sort of your process for like differentiating young Clive from the Clive that we see primarily throughout the game?
It was circumstance, right? So
Yeah.
you go. It's not like an actual vocal difference. I mean, there is a vocal difference.
Sure.
It's an emotional difference. So you play him when he's 15, you play him when he's 28, and I think you play him when he's 34. And so these are different stages in his life. And when he's 15, he's the firstborn son of the Archduke of Rosaria. He is full of honor, and he speaks as you'd expect a person in a kind of a ducal house to speak. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't really experienced the world, so there's kind of an innocence and a kind of a properness to the way that he talks. And then in what happens in that process, it's the most traumatic experience of his entire life, and you literally hear him break. You just watch this man, his entire world fall apart, and to get to vocalize that was a really useful thing when thinking, okay, what are we going to take into the rest of the game? A lot of video games, they'd be like, right, you're this dark, broody edgelord, what's happening? And they'll like do it in a little like
alpha males.
I'm sad.
You're playing as Mike,
Yeah, Minotti to a T.
We get you in the game. But like that's what you'd hear it in a backstory. Like, I'm sad because of this, and it's like, no, you get to play that, and you get to feel that, and then so it kind of makes a lot of things easier.
Yeah, it'll be about that, like bringing people into the story. Like we had a conversation on the show last night where I'm like, I like games where it's like co-authorship, and I get to decide. I go have fun. I do something stupid, and I tell that story. How do you make sure you make it welcoming so that when people are having a story told to them, they still feel very strongly that they are a part of it?
Well, it's the same. Like we want to compare it to a television show, right? Yeah. So it's like, what compels us to keep watching something? And I've got to say, the storytelling in this is, you kind of can't put it down. It is an absolute roller coaster. You step on it and they go, this is happening, and then this is happening, this is happening, and it's a story that constantly just keeps upping itself all the time. And so you do get that brilliant blend of kind of going, here's the story, here's an exciting bit of gameplay, and you can say it's marketing speak, but people who aren't normally Final Fantasy fans, right, you can come into this because it is entirely its own game. Like, you just come in and play it, and it feels fresh, it feels new, and it was so strange to play it for the first time. Yeah. Being like, oh my god, this does feel fresh.
Though it is, and that is the thing that is brilliant about Final Fantasy as a series, is that, again, it's that you can really jump in at any given game because every single one is its own story.
Well, it feels like they really took that to the extreme with this one. I feel
absolutely. And also, but at the same time, like, brought in some of these really familiar elements that longtime Final Fantasy fans love. Like,
there's no reason to abandon that stuff.
No, absolutely.
Well, as long as you have crystals.
That's what I was going to say specifically, is like going back to the crystals, but also, more importantly, the
Back
classic...
in my day, there were orbs.
Okay. But the Final Fantasy summons are, they're such a key part of the gameplay in 16 in the form of the icons. But I want to know, Ben, IRL, like, which icon do you feel you would naturally attune to?
So, like, I would naturally be Bahamut. That's obviously like,
nice.
Like, who doesn't want to be just a massive?
Is that the one that you enjoy screaming the most too?
Yeah, no, actually, interestingly, with the icon pattern, not interestingly, but like, it could be incredibly boring like that. So
you gotta believe it, gotta sell it, sell it.
Just keep committing. We made a choice when we were doing the icon skills. It would be like how Clive would react to using the icon skills would be in relation to how he felt about the icon itself and the dominant that it came from. And so it was, it's not just like broad roaring. It was like, what would the texture of Clive's relationship with that icon actually be? So, and that was just like a little thing for us. We didn't have to do it, but it was a really cool thing to do.
No, but like not every, there's a lot of these icons that are really cool, but obviously we don't have all of them in like all of the notable summons. I already gave Yoshi P some crap about not having Alexander in there. Yeah. Is there any that you
was he embarrassed?
If you can get, he was embarrassed for me for asking him about that.
Okay.
Like, is there like one for you that like you're a little sad didn't quite make it in there?
Yeah, Doom Train.
Doom Train.
It's a train that sells Doom. It is like, it's just...
Oh my god, Doom Train would have been such a fun icon. What would Doom Train's abilities have been?
I want Fat Chocobo icon.
I love a Fat Chocobo.
Yeah. Like, I'm wearing a Carbuncle, like, little
Hey, let's go!
Yeah, Cactuar.
Yeah.
Can Clive suplex a train?
Hey, you got to play it to find out. Find out the 22nd of June.
That's not enough! All right.
I wanted to ask you, like, we were talking a little bit about, like, people who are fans of Final Fantasy, and they got me thinking, it's like, there's been a little bit of a trend in, in animated film for a very long time. It is, let's use the biggest stars in the world to come in and do the voice of these characters, and everything else is an afterthought. That hasn't quite happened in video gaming, and it feels like video gaming has kind of actually pushed in the other direction, where, like, we need specific people who are specifically talented at voice acting.
Yeah.
Is that something that you feel is going to continue?
I think that capitalism is the master of everything. Isn't it, really? Like, I don't know, if you want to get a movie star in it, then cool. But I think people play video games because they like video games.
This could have been Clive here.
Yeah, he was originally offered the part, and I was second best. But like I was at BAFTA earlier in the year, and Christopher Judge was talking about it, and they asked him the question about are people coming, and Hollywood's knocking. He was like, that's going to be the case. Like Will Smith's appearing in a video game. I mean, let's not forget they've been trying to do it for years. It was the Bruce Willis video game. Was it Apocalypse or something?
Apocalypse,
on PS1, right? Remember that? And they play it because it's got Bruce Willis in it. I was like, maybe I will.
What was that Payday knockoff that came out a little bit ago? You guys kept playing.
Yeah, Rockay City.
Rockay
City. That is
somehow I
Kim Basinger. I can't remember one else. I just remember because Kim Basinger.
Gloves. Danny Glover.
Yeah, Danny Glover. Yeah, absolutely.
Chuck Norris was in it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I feel somehow though that the games industry, in terms of starting to introduce big name celebrities into AAA video game titles, or Dead by Daylight, which is somewhere, and it's not really AAA. It's still kind of technically an indie game. It's quadruple A. But I mean, they really got the best ones so far.
But it still feels like stunt casting.
Yeah, and that's true. It does. Whereas you look at something like the Disney live action remakes of certain properties, and they just stack it with celebrities.
I mean, it's worked for them for years.
Well, their animation's always been that though. Yeah, always. So
it hasn't. It started with Aladdin.
Yes, it did.
Was Aladdin the first? Okay, I guess Aladdin's when I was
Robin Williams and Aladdin.
That was the big one.
You notice that every single one after that, the sidekick character was a funny comedian. I mean, all the way through, like Eddie Murphy is.
Eddie Murphy. Yeah, Jason Alexander as a wacky gargoyle in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I love it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas is a wacky cub.
But I mean, like,
he watches his father die.
Yeah,
but then do you have like specific skills you think that separate you from like someone from Hollywood coming in and doing the job that you
Dunk on them. Dunk on them right now.
Yeah, fuck Hollywood. No,
fuck the Oscars is what we say.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, right? Like I'm not a specialist voice actor. I'm a film and TV actor who kind of got lucky with this project. It was like we want to bring in cast from like British film and TV and theatre and do it that way. Like I think we're talking about franchises, right? No, people aren't going to play Final Fantasy because it has Chuck Norris in it.
Speak for yourself.
I'd see it, but it's about people have like a lot of brand loyalty to stuff, and I think video games, a bit like big cinematic franchises. You come to the franchise, you don't care really who's in it, and I think ultimately it's based on the quality alone.
I actually think that's a really good point about Final Fantasy specifically, and something that we do still see in Hollywood to some degree, especially with big properties like Star Wars. You know, that is one of the places where they still will cast relative unknowns.
Yeah, it's the brand clearly bigger.
Exactly, because they're like, people are going to come see this. Let's branch out and bring in some new talent in it, and that is such a...
Well, there's also the idea that you kind of lose that immersion sometimes if you're like, that's Nicolas Cage as this character, when all you think of it as that's Nicolas Cage. So
that's Woody Harrelson in this Star Wars movie.
But like Andor this year, like not just I think some of the best Star Wars, but like some of the best TV that's been made.
This guy loves Andor.
It's the best.
It's just absolutely amazing.
It's the best Star Wars.
So like in that cast, what you have is like Denise Goff, who is an Olivier Award-winning actress.
I love Denise Goff. She's Yennefer in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so like it's mad because like People, Places and Things was a play in London that shook the theatrical scene in London, and she was a powerhouse, like Denise Goff, and she comes in, and of course she kills it. And then you've got Kyle Soller as well, like again has just done amazing theatre and so Tony Gilroy comes in, and he went to their shows, right? He went to their plays, and he went, I want to bring you in, and you just see Anton Lesser, who plays the kind of the guy who's like the middle management leader of all the people who's like the Dedra. So I did a TV show with Anton Lesser when he was doing Game of Thrones, and it was like this he is just an icon of British TV, but he's not actually that well known, and so they just went, no, we don't need to have stars in this. It's good writing, it's incredible acting.
And that's honestly, I was like, Andor, I'm always thinking about Andor. So I'm like, when you were describing it being in there and like everyone taking everything seriously and thinking about every facet of the world of Final Fantasy for every single line, it's like, that's how I imagine Andor was made. And it feels like you guys are going for as well.
I mean, I also had I got to work with Ralph, who plays Sid, and you know, like if you play Diablo 4, you know that
that guy's got an amazing voice. I just love hearing him talk.
Also, he's like the nicest guy and incredibly down to earth, and just has a voice that feels like you've just been eating soil for 3 years.
It's really deep, like mine.
Yeah, exactly. Soulful.
In one of the demo builds that has been available for people to play that I got to experience, he's with you for the vast majority of it, and it's just I'm like, if I stand still, will he just talk to me some more? Like,
Final Fantasy ASMR.
He's so good, and I think he breathed so much life into that character. Talking about like taking a character and making his own, that character excels because of Ralph's performance. Like he's kind of taken that character and run with it, and he makes him just the most lovable, incredibly important person in Clive's life when you meet him. And, you know, he meets him at an all-time low, and then this guy who just has this innate charisma. His voice speaks volumes when he does it, and it's like, you know, but Ralph still has an incredibly recognizable voice. And when watching the trailers and things, people have always gone, oh, that's the guy from The Witch. That's the guy from the Green Knight. You know, because it's one of the all-time like great voices.
So for you, coming from theater and TV, what for you was the biggest surprise doing VO, and what did you take away from it? Like, did you enjoy it more than you thought you would? Do you kind of feel like, okay, that was a fun thing, but I really enjoy theater or TV?
I did it for so long, 4 years, that I would come back sometimes thinking that I was the best actor of all time, and then I would come back thinking that I was the worst and I'm never going to work again. And it was like this constant up and down of like days where you're going, oh my god, am I the best? And then sometimes I'd like sulk home like Michael Cera.
That is any career.
I was going to be like,
where you were in a creative sense in the public
when I'm
eye.
writing about video games and I'm like, hey, this is going to happen because this and this and this, and then all that comes true, and I'm like, man, I never get things wrong. And then the next day I will step on the biggest goddamn rake in the world.
I was riding a big high yesterday when I had my feet out and Greg Miller was fanning them and I was dressed like RoboCop.
Sure, yeah. No one's ever been a
That's the dream, right? That's what I aspire to.
I guess like anytime I put out a YouTube video,
don't worry.
Yeah, putting out YouTube videos, it's either like all the comments love you, and you're like, I'm great, I'm so good, and then the next video, everyone's like, this guy's the worst.
Yeah, you always get your last video,
Why is he
right?
hired? I'm like, oh man, I should get fired. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Dave is not terrible, by the way. He has a wonderful series out on GameSpot right now that if you're interested in, it's called. You can talk about your own show.
Talk about
talk about it.
Go on, tell us.
It's called How It's Saved. It's really good. We love Dave Klein.
It's called Giant Bomb Live Stream.
No, but also, Dave, I did reveal to some people here a feat that you pulled off for us off camera last night.
Yeah.
So just keep that in your mind.
So I might have to pull something out at some point.
Correct. Yeah. A deck
Not
of
what
cards.
you're thinking.
I was thinking of that, by the way.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16. It's. I mean, people are going to be seeing some more of it tomorrow. Is that?
Yeah. So we've got this launch event tomorrow. So obviously it's a big day. It's a big day for video games. Everyone's going to be enjoying their video games all along. But if you want to tune in, you can tune into Twitch and watch it.
Can you say enjoy your gaming?
I can do. Yeah. Enjoy your gaming. I don't know. Do I need some tequila and be in a gym? I think that's kind of what I need, right?
Absolutely.
Starr, I like you quite a bit. You're a cool guy. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks for joining me, of course.
Of course.
It's a good first panel, good way to kick it off. I'm excited for you tomorrow with all the Final Fantasy stuff. It's going to be a good time. Thanks everybody for watching. First segment out of the way. We'll be back very soon with a whole bunch more. We're going for the rest of the night once again, so stick around. See you soon. The set was so well put together that I didn't feel bad about making Jan do more work. Here's a last minute lower third. You can go do some work while I sit here and just feel nothing really. I just sat here in silence. It was real nice. We're still Giant Bomb. We're still going on the couch for Summer Game Fest. It's been a lot of fun so far. We're going to continue with yet another segment. I got some folks here joining me to talk about video games. We're going to start with Baron Jones from Level 1 Gaming. We got Jill Grodt from The Indie Informer. We got Jonathan Orr from CBC Canada.
Yep.
We got Chris. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting your last. Chris Bell. Thank you so much. Chris Bell Gardens, lead designer on Journey, and then we got Alex Van Aken from The Game Informer.
Yes.
See, this is why I was worried about mixing up the informers when I got to you,
It's
Chris.
so many
We'll get to the credits. Designer, producer on Journey. I'll get to the other credits later.
Okay, yeah, I saw this. I saw the Moby Games thing. It's impressive stuff. Summer Game Fest. I've been asking this a lot. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but I'm kind of interested, what brought everyone out here. I mean, Chris, let's start with you. What it was compelling you to, hey, I need to be on LA for Summer Game Fest.
So I live in LA, so it was really
That
easy.
worked out
Really
well,
easy for
alright.
me. I just roll out of bed, right over here. Actually, last week in LA was also LA Tech Week, which lines up the end of. It's basically, I don't know what's LA. Summer Game Fest started Thursday. Tech Week started Monday, and Tech Week's more about investors and investment funds and that sort of thing, versus Game Fest is more about games and publishers and all that sort of thing. So, I was kind of going to both. So I've had a long week at this point. Yeah.
Very cool. How about you, Jonathan? Coming down from CBC.
Yeah.
How do you make that make sense for them? They're like, hey, yeah, we definitely need someone there in LA to cover video games.
Well, I mean, I don't tell all of them.
That's the way to do it. Forgiveness, not permission.
A lot of it is, checking out there are a lot of important Canadian people working on Summer Game Fest, like Senor Jeff Keighley.
Who's that?
Yeah, never heard him.
Amanda at I Am 8-Bit. There are a lot, some of the power brokers for Summer Game Fest are Canadian, and it's always great to see what is the Canadian imprint or the Canadian presence at the video game industry.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, I wasn't a part of this. Mike Minotti did this. I think Canada sponsored a trip for journalists to go out and go to some studios and stuff like that to visit them. It's something that the country really invests in, right?
I mean, there are certain tax incentives in certain provinces, so there's a lot of support for it in BC, British Columbia, and Quebec. Some in Ontario, although that might have changed with the last government change. I don't want to know if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of that.
Kind of do a little bit.
It's fascinating because I was at a Toronto event with the developers and industry people, and there was an interesting debate on why there aren't any major or not many major Canadian publishers, right? So we have the EA in Vancouver, there's Ubisoft all over the place, but they're all essentially foreign owned,
Yeah,
right?
they're headquartered in France and America.
Yeah, and the tax incentives kind of like incentivize that. But should there be a major house for development in Canada? And there's a lot of there are different opinions on whether we need that or not, right?
I mean, you got to wonder. It's like, it is a job creation thing. Obviously, those incentives create a lot of jobs in Edmonton and Montreal. Like those studios are really have created a hotbed in those places.
Yeah.
But does the bulk of the money that these video games make stay in Canada when they're made in Canada? Maybe not.
There is, didn't Embracer shut down a studio a little while ago?
Yeah, I think there was the mobile team that was part of that Square Enix deal. Yeah,
that's a couple hundred jobs, and would that have happened if it was all Canadian owned? Like I don't know.
Yeah, but the investment seems to have mostly worked out, right? Like there is a huge game development scene in Canada.
Yeah, it is. We always like to tout ourselves as like one of the top 3 or number 3 in the world. So.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Jill, how about you? The Indie Informer.
You can't drop that. The.
I'm never going to forget the. When you come out here to cover Summer Game Fest, what are you looking for?
Indie games. Really easy answer to that question.
Yeah, then have you found them?
I have absolutely found them.
Yeah.
Like it was all in one little room, so it was really easy to kind of go around. And I actually had to take time to go to the rest of the play days, so I could just see what was around.
Yeah.
And I managed to talk my way in to other places.
Did you go see Foam Stars?
I didn't see Foam Stars, but I've heard some good things.
Yeah.
Really?
It's a good game. Do more.
Yeah.
Do more of those.
Yeah. Right?
Sure.
A lot of people seem surprised about it.
Yeah.
I get it, but also I get that it seems like a pretty fun game.
Right. I mean, they've got this duck, which is amazing.
Yes, that's very good. Absolutely. Yes. So, I mean, any good indie games that stuck out to you or anything like that?
Okay, number 1 game of the show, walking away. I wasn't ready for it, but when I sat down, it's Cocoon. It's 100%
Really?
Cocoon.
Okay.
Yeah, look at all these people who are great.
I didn't get to play it. I really wanted to.
Yeah,
This
I've
is
been
the,
talking it up.
Annapurna?
It is Annapurna. It is the designer from Inside and
That's
Limbo.
right.
And I was actually at Game Informer when they revealed the game. So the 4th thing down, if you Google Cocoon, is my reveal article from Game Informer.
Crushing SEO.
Oh yeah. But for a long time, I didn't know. I'm like, okay, it looks pretty. It's got bugs. That's not a huge thing for me.
Insects, not like problems, right?
Right. Yeah, the creepy crawly.
Right. We're gonna get that happened. Don't worry.
But playing it, it's just masterful in design in all levels. Like it is the audio design. I cannot believe you just walk into things and this is a serious situation that you're in.
Well, that makes me wonder. Like I was going to say, is the business of covering indie games robust enough to make it make sense as a business, or is it not? But it seems like the indie game scene has grown up so much, and it's just producing some of the most fascinating games, and not just fascinating, but games that Hades essentially is an indie game to a certain extent, and it's that's a Game of the Year contender, and it's on not just that, it's big business.
Right, and Vampire Survivors actually won very many Game of the Years.
Right, it's not like we need
you don't need that.
The accolades aren't necessarily the thing we need to this is important, but that means it's getting recognition, making money, and that means it can maybe be a business of covering indie games.
Right. At the moment, I just launched a Patreon. If anybody wants to check that out, at
where's that at?
theindieinformer.com. You can check that out. Patreon/theindieinformer.com.
Don't forget the
I might have to fire myself. So I'm trying to grow because at this point I'm getting so many things that I can't handle them on my own. Mm-hmm. So I'm here currently covering things and people are getting me things. I'm I can't do both and I really need help, and I have I've teased this already, but I do have a kind of a special voice that I'm reaching out to that hopefully some people will be excited about when they know who that is. So we'll see what happens.
Very cool. Emperor Palpatine, I think is who you're bringing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
He came back somehow.
In Fortnite, right?
Oh Lord, it's gonna happen now.
Baron, when you come out to Summer Game Fest, what are you looking to get out of it?
Traffic. I'm looking to get traffic, and I got it in spades.
And you got Level 1 Gaming. You guys are running a video game news coverage website with personality and all that stuff.
You know what? I'm here to fight my way into this spot and to make sure that Level 1 Gaming is a household name because we do everything from, news to reviews and everything in between. So we, you have to be at the events. And so, like, I didn't get into play days, so,
couldn't hit me up, I would have snuck you in.
Look, I'm just saying, open the back gate, like, help me out. But no, so I...
honestly, no, what is it like having relationships with PR these days? Like, because that's, like, where that would have started.
Yes.
Like, we're not going to, like, blast, like, oh, here's how all this stuff works. But for the most part, I think it worked that PR ran the gate for that. And if they had known you, like, are you getting, like, review codes these days?
Yes.
So again, I see you guys post news all the time. You guys are doing the work.
Shout out to the team.
Yeah.
Love you guys. You guys are working very hard, and I appreciate it. But it's a weird thing because here it is. It's the PR scene seems to be consolidated into like 4 or 5 different companies who are the gatekeepers for every game. And here it is. You'll be talking to the community manager of said company, and then they'll direct you to Stride, or they'll direct you to not 505, but
47.
47. There you go.
Yeah. From my perspective, very convenient. I only have to know 5 or 6 people, and not different ones for each game. But
you're Jeff.
Exactly. No, exactly.
You're the man with the hair.
The advantages, yes, absolutely, yeah.
So my hair. Hopefully, it gets me there one of these days. I'm working at it. But so it turns into a weird song and dance where the same person will give you a code and approve you for one game, but then that same person will deny you for another title. And it may be you'll get approved for the AAA, but we won't get it within the window. Like, that's actually my big, now that I'm sitting here on the platform and you guys have to listen.
That's what it's about.
Give folks at least 5 days minimum. This whole, I've had 13 hours with a major open-ended, multiple ending action RPG with crafting and different play styles.
That Pokemon with guns game.
Okay.
So good.
That's actually what had me most excited about Summer Game Fest.
Hell yeah.
Power World. The folks at Power World, I know you're listening. Please hit us up at Level 1 Gaming.
Get Baron.
I am super excited for your game. Somehow you took pocket monsters and added guns and made it cool and cute at the same time.
Those monsters look so borderline actionably close to real Pokemon.
And that honestly only makes it cooler.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yes.
And break the law, please.
No, and I'm confused. I keep waiting for them to tell me the game's not real. So to see it at the Summer Game Fest, it solidified like, oh no, this is real. I'm gonna play this. And then early access on the 24th, or in January 24th, like, come on.
I don't know where that game's from, but I once heard China don't care. I think that might be what's happening here a little bit. So yeah, I love that.
Look, we're winning. I definitely want.
We're getting beautiful things.
Yes.
So you didn't get into SGF.
Yes.
So then, what do you? I mean, listen, I know you're here, but like that.
Yeah. So I got into Summer Game Fest, the actual.
So you went to the event.
I went to the event, and I got to shake hands, and I got to meet so many people from the community.
And you think like that's us planting seeds.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. Like, I'm looking forward to. Like, I want you. Hey, who was that cool guy? Oh, from Level 1 Gaming. The guy with the hair, the big guy, Baron. Like, I want that. I want you to know that I'm a real person. That we're real people. We're a real organization.
And I mean,
yes.
the hopeful thing there is that does work. Like, the people in PR, their whole job is to remember people. Like,
yes.
It's to the point where I never thought I was starting in the same spot. I never thought they would remember me, and they always did. They always did, or at least they pretended to. And effectively, that's the same thing. It doesn't matter. So it's like in the end, I think you're probably moving in the right direction. Yeah.
I got this Jeff Grubb stamp of approval.
Oh, you always
got
had that.
To see.
You got you were in the same room as Nick.
I was 7th row. And I got to see the greatness. I wish he would have made a face-off.
Did you fuse together?
You know what? I definitely did try to channel
him?
Renfield.
Yeah.
I tried to channel it. I was hoping the whole minion hood and like master thing would have kind of, I would have been okay with it. Just like, it's Nick Cage. Like, come on, Con Air face-off. Like, dude, I was gushing. I was like, oh my God. It's my childhood here. I probably shouldn't have been watching those movies growing up, but I seen them all.
Yeah. It made us into men. Absolutely.
Yes.
I'll just leave.
Alex, when you came out here, what was the goal? Is it still like the ship is just operating the way it needs to over at Game Informer? And
yeah, I mean, things are pretty good over there. In terms of Summer Game Fest, we sent 3 of us out here, and it's kind of been a I've been doing a lot of video stuff, but also kind of writing and all that. And
wearing the many hats. We talked about that a lot on these shows so far.
Absolutely.
Everyone's wearing every hat.
Yeah. It was honestly, just really what's important is getting out here and meeting people face to face. Like, you can write up a show from home, right? It's really the relationships and in some cases, the cool hands-on sessions, right, that add more of a perspective to your writing. But yeah, a lot of it was just getting out here and seeing people again. And we came last year as well, and it's been really cool to see how the show has expanded. I was kind of blown away by, I wasn't expecting the whole campus to be filled out. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chris, so tell us some of those credits. What have you worked on?
So I'll go way back. So I got my start interning at the Stupid Fun Club, which is Will Wright's studio. Will Wright made The Sims, SimCity.
Right.
So that was my first industry job, was interning for him.
Stupid Fun Club, the cube one?
No, that was Molyneux.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right?
I'm sorry, I'm mixing them up. Okay. I always mix up my white nerdy video game developers. They all look the same.
That sounds like a major roadblock to
Jonathan, you're not wrong.
So I was working on that. I was working there. We made a number of things I can't talk about because it's all under NDA, and not any of it saw the light of day. But it was a lot of fun. We worked on all sorts of cool things. The person who designed the TIE Interceptor worked there.
Oh, cool.
And
that sounds like a Stupid Fun Club.
And battle bots.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whoa. So it was a pretty wild time. And then I was in grad school at the time, and I made a game called Way, which is made as a student, and you pair up non-verbally. You pair up with a stranger to communicate non-verbally without words, and that's the game. And it's free. It doesn't work right now because we don't support the old Unity version, whatever. Anyways, that got me working on Journey. So I was designer producer on Journey. After Journey, I was the lead designer of What Remains of Edith Finch. Okay. And then after that, I was the lead designer of Sky, Children of the Light. Then after launching Sky, I co-founded a studio called Gardens with my brother and my best friend.
And that's right now. That's what
we're doing right now. And so we've got 12 people right now. We're going to be scaling up more than that pretty soon and growing to a pretty big team, making a pretty ambitious game.
Right. So I mean, big ambitious game. What does that mean in terms of coming from those games before? Is it bigger than any game you've worked on before?
It is. What's
it like?
It'll be the biggest team I've ever worked with.
What's it like building a team like that right now?
Yeah. So I mean, it's first time CEO, first time creative director, first time president of the company, and it's the market, especially we went the venture capital route, so that we raised
there
VC
still
funding.
Seems to be money out there.
There's still money out there. They like to say there's dry powder, which means that there's a lot of money that these LPs are holding on to. Right?
They want to spend it.
But it's tough out there. There's a lot of teams and stuff that raised their Series Seed 2 years ago and are running out of funds soon, are looking to raise their next round, and they're not getting that deal across. And it's so it can be a mix. So it's definitely tough out there, but we're personally gonna be okay, and I think we'll have some news to share pretty soon.
Well, I mean, were you able to get that venture capitalist money because of the Moby Games credits?
Yeah, I mean, certainly having the pedigree, having worked on Sky has been a massive success globally, and I think that earns the commercial cred, and I learned how to do different sorts of monetization strategies. I learned how to put me in the front room, learning about how investment works, working at that game company and understanding the approach that they took. So then I could start my own studio to
And Sky was that game company's first mobile game, right?
First mobile game. Yeah. Well, actually, that's technically not true. Journey was ported to mobile via Annapurna.
Right, but they didn't change up its monetization strategy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Journey was a straight.
Sky
was built from the ground up for mobile, and then ultimately to be cross-platform.
Right. Yeah. So that would be stuff that, again, probably investors do want to hear. You are familiar, not just familiar, you have full experience working on various ways of making money on mobile.
Right, yeah. The thing that we're working on is going to be PC console to start, the one that we're working on, but maybe
bring
down
in
the
those
road.
monetization ideas and maybe...
we're definitely interested in different ways to approach monetization that we think are altruistic, that we think are fair to players, that we think give players a lot of value for their money. We try to think in those terms, and we're trying to make the game that we want to play every day, and that means it's also, we try to think of it from the perspective of, we've been in that position where we don't have a lot of money and we can only choose between so many games. Where do we spend our money? And so that all plays a factor into just making sure that we make the right decisions.
What's it like trying to get talent right now? It seems like you said biggest team you've ever worked on. There's not senior developers aren't growing on trees. Like,
sure, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's been a lot of layoffs recently too. So there is talent out there for sure, and people that need jobs need to get picked up. But hiring is always a challenge. Everyone's sort of vying for the best people, and you want to put together a great team. But I think we've put together an awesome team so far. We've got people who worked on Outer Wilds, Tunic, Ashen, Ultima Online, Spider-Man, like a number of great titles, Dust Force, so
you dropped
we're doing
those
it.
names.
No big deal.
That's a good list. Yeah.
So it's good, and we're going to be growing that team. And if you're out there, and check out if I can.
Please go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we're called Gardens. Website's gardens.dev, DEV. You can check out we tease a bit about what we're working on, and we're going to be hiring soon. So keep a look out there.
You're not selling anything. You're trying to pay people money.
Yeah. If you want a job,
absolutely. That's fantastic.
We're going to be hiring soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I guess I wonder how everyone's feeling about overall future of what we're going to be like. What we're going to be doing next year around this time. Do you guys? You all coming back? Are you going to have a game to show, Chris? I mean, probably not next year.
We might have it. We might have. Well, we'll definitely have teased more. I don't know if we'll have like the full announce yet at that point, but we'll definitely have people to give people stuff to chew on. I'm still going to be playing Baby Steps. If that comes out, if you saw that, I'm going to be walking my ass down the.
What is this one? I don't think.
It's by some friends of mine and a couple people I don't know. Bennett Foddy, who made Getting Over It. With Bennett Foddy.
Okay.
I think Matt Box is the name. And Gabe from Ape Out. And Matt, who used to be like creative director at Rock Band, like at Harmonix, like great team. And it's essentially a walking sim in the purest sense, where you are trying to walk, but you're walking through. It's a 3D, kind of like over shoulder, where you're playing this kind of like 30-something-year-old gamer in a onesie who's like been zapped into like another world, almost like the straight out the trailer homages another world from Eric Chahi, and you're just walking through these environments, and it's like this like philosophical like journey while you can like barely stumble. It's great.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah. Zach, I love Bennett Foddy. I love almost every name you mentioned. That sounds.
The cosplay for that game is going to be out of this
I'm
world.
so excited.
Yeah, the onesie.
Yeah, and that was at the.
Have you seen the Getting Over It cosplay?
I've not seen Getting Over It cosplay.
Oh yeah, with the cauldron and the hammer.
Yeah,
it's super good. Yeah,
that's very good. I guess for the people that were able to go to SGF, do you guys see any games that you were very excited about beyond that?
Yeah, 100%. All of the indies are so much fun. There are things that show up that even I, who try to be very much in the know and know what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
Some things pop up, but sometimes, like a game that I'm very, very excited about called Hunty, I saw on Twitter some way back, just like a screenshot Saturday, and I'm like, oh, this looks really cool, and it showed up at the show, and I didn't know it was going to be there. So, and it turned out to be absolutely fantastic. It's like hand drawn, but like those sort of like old school. When I was a kid, there was like a really scary book, and I can't remember what it was called. It was like stories to scare your kids or whatever.
Right. I say the Bible, but I'm not going to get myself canceled. So I won't say that.
Right. So it looks like that, but animated, and the animations are fantastic. But it's got humor, which I wasn't really expecting. And you play as a ghost who just died, and they didn't realize they died, and you don't know what's going on, and you're sort of reliving your life and discovering who you were again. And it's something like an adventure game shoved into a twin stick shooter.
Ooh,
okay.
Yeah, right?
Is that the one that's like two-tone color, like purplish?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of the booths that instantly stuck out.
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. I should have played it. Yeah.
You said like stick out. A booth like that never would have stuck out at E3, right?
No, not at all.
So I mean, do you think like this showcase format, like for something like that, can it's good for indie developers, and maybe we'll keep this even if something bigger keeps happening?
Yeah, I mean, I could easily see it. Like if next year, this year was like at least double the size of last year, and if we follow that trend, maybe this is the indie section where you go and it's like this really cool lounge, or I mean, I feel like last year it was like Street Fighter and bunch of indie games. Sorry, I'm blanking. And
right.
No, but it was like you would go and sit down. There's the Dave the Devs booth, and I mean it's still like that this year. I don't personally want it to change. I like that integration, and I'm also like a proponent of like, let's not like separate the indies, but it's a business. I feel like they're going to give the big spaces to the people who are going to pay
big paychecks.
But yeah, I mean, personally, I would like it to kind of remain integrated. I think it's really chill and a lot of fun.
Speaking of integrated, Jill, how we feel about the makeup of the people who were on stage at Summer Game Fest?
Is there a reason you're asking me in particular?
No, I can't think of anything that would pop into mind.
I mean, there are a disproportional amount of women in this industry in general. It's hard because you want to show the things that are happening, but there are a lot of women doing a lot of really great things, and it's sad to not see that reflected, especially in one of the biggest shows in our industry. But it's also another thing where you go to the events and you're not seeing, like, we all sort of know each other, like, just in general press, but like a lot of the like female side of press as well, we tend to know each other as well. And it's just, you get used to being one of the only people who look like you, and you know, it's actually in some ways kind of nice because like the bathrooms are never a problem.
Yeah, look at the bright side, the silver lining.
But there's something very interesting, and I would love to sort of check on this and dive deeper into it at some point if I ever get the chance. There's something very interesting about the indie space that allows for a lot more women to have a voice and to be saying something, and I just love that. So
yeah, I do wonder if it's there's something about corporations where it's like people you have to make such an effort over something that you have zero ownership over, and it's like whether that's sort of you feel that ownership of like, this is something that I care about or I value, or literally have, you know, a stake in, and it's like, I think maybe in the indie space that that sense of ownership, like, oh, if I'm going to impart my values into it, it's like that's actually going to make move the needle, right?
Right, 100%.
How about you, Baron? I mean, you come in here. I was on your show a bunch of times, and I love doing your show. I mean, because it is set all people of color. Yeah. And you guys are all just busting your butt. Yeah. And do you feel like you said you want to be in here? Do you feel like you see a path forward?
I will say yes. It does feel like there's a lot of maneuvering and pivoting that needs to be done, and a lot of handshakes and smiles that needs to happen. But it's a process that I can actually, it's an end goal I can actually see us achieving, and I just it's there, it's there, and there's enough room for all of us. Like there's enough room for all of us. There's enough eyes, there's enough coverage, there's enough space, and I just wish these organizations would tap into it more. And I definitely have to shout out Destiny Cleveland over at Dames for Games. Yeah. She's actually putting on a whole showcase.
That showcase is happening like on
Monday.
Monday, I think.
I'm so sorry, Destiny. I don't know the date.
It's happening very soon. I got on Jeff Grubb's Game Mess. You can see.
Yes. Yeah. And under Gorilla Collective and the folks over there with the mix and everything. So to see someone, and she's a part of Level 1 Gaming, seeing her get out there and literally from the ground up create a whole showcase to spotlight women and females in the space, from gamers to developers. But when it comes to us with Level 1 Gaming, we just wanted to always make sure to have that platform. Like, hey, you've never written before, you want to write, come write. Like, come give you a shot. Like, just let us know what you want to do and do it. And that's how I was a weird guy on Twitter. Like, hey, can I? That's how, like, literally, that's how I got involved with Level 1. I was a shout out to David, man. Much love to that guy, Fame. I messaged him. I was like, hey, I don't know you, but I kind of want to write. Can I send you a sample?
That's awesome. Like,
and now look, like, like I'm here.
You made it, man.
On the couch.
Yeah, no, and so I want to make sure to create that avenue in that space that somebody else can walk down that path.
Yeah, I mean, it's not someone like how I got in. I mean, I think you got to sort of make your own way. I think it's everyone else that's kind of I'm up the ladder and I want to send the ladder back down.
Yeah,
I think people have to take responsibility in doing that, right?
Yes, and that's what Level 1. I mean, even in the name, level 1 game. Everybody has to start at the beginning. So,
John, it's got to be hard for Canadians.
So it's strange because I'm here looking at all these video games and talking to people in the industry, whereas my news app has been off the chain lately because I don't say off the chain. What am I doing? Like there was a lot.
You didn't say off the chain.
There was a lot of news.
Seems like you say off the chain.
I'm like,
Justin Trudeau's going to text you and be like, you embarrassed me.
oh man. So I was like, oh, this is Alan Wake. This is Mortal Kombat. Meantime, like, Trump's indictments, and then Boris Johnson retires, and then David Johnston, our former Governor General, minor scandal. I don't want to get into it. The Toronto Blue Jays fired that one guy who said some pretty not great things, and I'm like, oh man, if I was in the newsroom, this would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, hey, look who's running Summer Game Fest. Like, I think Canadians are doing okay. I mean, the funny thing I was thinking about is, like, as far as acceptance or representation or whatever, it's like, I'm of Asian Chinese descent. My family's from the Caribbean, so Caribbean, Chinese, Canadian. In my mind, we are all many things, right? But then the funny thing is that, like, I don't really have a lot of contacts or talking with, like, Japanese or Asian developers because I don't know. Well, I guess I don't know why, but like, when you put in a request, a Canadian mainstream outlet probably doesn't make the list. It's like, thanks, we'll call you. Like, we'll call you. Okay, whatever. Like, I don't review games every week anyways. Like, we try to do more industry trend pieces or local profiles. Like, we did some profiles of Andrew Scholes, who made Tunic, and amazing dude, right?
If you hear his voice, it is so good.
Hey, made for radio, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that is pretty interesting, though, the idea of, like, being in a mainstream outlet and trying to, and then you're here on this clown show where it's just like, but I mean, what is it like? I mean, they don't write you back every week, but I mean, do they still sometimes send you code? I mean,
I have, I mean, if we ask for codes, they're typically, most of the companies are cool with it. Like, we have I have contacts with 47. They're pretty cool. Although there was a moment where I didn't get all the SGF invites because somebody else in the organization had flagged 47 as spam, which then blocked every single email from 47. So I got a bunch of emails like, hey, just following up on that invite for the event that that email I sent 4 days ago, which I never got. Anyways, that was an interesting set of appointments. But no, as far as talking about video games on a mainstream outlet, it is fun. A lot of it is, for me, trying to figure out, here are the big stories going on in the gaming world, and it's up to me to try to translate. I mean, not just me. There are other cool people doing this stuff too. It's up to us to translate. If you're not a hardcore gamer, here's why this might still be of interest to you. Here's why this might still affect jobs in your city or your province. Here's why it might be, part of, like, the ongoing culture discourse and culture wars. Like, we're talking about new characters and in video games and voice actors and creators. Where does that fit into, say, the Little Mermaid review bombing, right? Alan Wake 2, one of the new main character is a black woman. I don't know who voices or captures her. But like, what's the response going to be like that when you realize half of the game is Alan Wake and half of the game is Saga, the new character? Have you heard of a game called Magic the Gathering?
We try to keep that name out of here. We're trying to protect our boy Jan.
Magic?
Oh, God damn it, Jonathan.
So I spoke to the art director about the new Lord of the Rings set, and they reinterpreted a lot of these characters as people of color, people of mixed race. Aragorn is black. That's really cool. How do you navigate that? The headlines often say backlash from fans. Are they all fans? I don't know anymore.
I think we know that a lot of times they're not. They are outrage merchants.
So
get those clicks.
A lot of interesting things to navigate. I don't remember how we got to that topic based on the last question.
I was asking you about, like, coverage at CBC. What form does it take? Do you do, like, Jeff Gerstmann used to do, like, the Radio Minute on CBS Radio and stuff like that? Is it something like that? Or do you
I studied those gaming minutes for a long time because he managed to crunch it down to, here's exactly what you need to know, and that was a really great, like, training for me. So I mainly just write stories on, like, newspaper print-wise online. We call them digital stories, which doesn't make any sense, really. Everything's digital anymore nowadays. I sometimes do reviews on one of our national weekend current affairs shows. Sometimes we do stories on radio syndication, which is one story that like I am talking about a certain story to many local radio hosts across the country. So, from Moncton, Toronto, Kamloops, whatever. And at some point over the course of 3 hours, I'm stuck in a booth and I am doing the same interview basically with up to 19 hosts in a row.
Okay.
So like 8 minutes,
Sure, I
8
always
minutes.
wonder like those when you hear like those radio call outs of you're listening to.
Yeah.
It's probably someone sitting in a room for 8 hours just reading a whole bunch
Yeah,
of one day.
they got a script. It's fun because you get to talk to a lot of different people with different perspectives. Some hosts don't know any of this, but that they're totally cool with it. Others are hardcore gamers, or their kids are, and that's really great. Sometimes they totally improvise and don't go by the script, and that's fun.
But that means you got to be able to scale your language, right? And that I do think that's interesting.
And you gotta be able to improvise. It's an interesting challenge. Yeah.
And then we have the future of media, print.
Yes. Well, I noticed a couple. Well, I noticed some EGM, Nintendo Power.
Oh shit! Are we gonna get
Game
okay?
Pro.
Listen, I did not choose the magazine.
It kind of feels.
I demanded in my rider that we're gaming for.
It feels a little hostile in here. Is all I'm saying. Yeah, you've even got Prima Games up there.
Jesse Vitelli showing up. He said
yeah. Boy, print.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you do everything. You seem prepared for whatever happens, but it's like Game Informer's still a print magazine.
We are,
and it's kind of amazing that it is in 2023, right?
It is amazing. I love my job.
Yeah,
I am video editor. But I just wrote like my first cover story, right? With Blake Hester. Blake Hester did a lot of the heavy lifting. Great reporter, a Game Informer.
Fantastic human being as well.
Yeah, incredible. But yeah, Game Informer these days is the magazine. I was talking to a couple friends who I won't name for reasons.
You know who you are.
For reasons.
Because then they'll become enemies, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. About how I am lucky as the video guy that Game Informer's the ship is the magazine, right? Whether it's digital or print. We have still a very healthy subscriber base in both, and that allows us to focus on interesting online stories and interesting video content. We've been shooting documentaries and stuff without necessarily having to worry about that day-to-day number chase, right?
Sure, yeah.
And that's
SEO.
Yeah.
Well, no, but the thing is, being on for anyone who doesn't know, the Indie Informer was actually at Game Informer before, and I was on the magazine team, and I felt totally the opposite of Panic and just
oh, really?
Because I was like, the magazine comes out monthly, right? So when we go to shows like this, you look at things, and everyone else is like scurrying around to like get it up online, and I'm just like,
we are doing it this week. Our print deadline.
Go to the JW, have a few drinks. Yeah,
exactly.
I'll get it done next week.
This time, our print deadline is like in 3 days, and so we are. We kind of knew what we were going to see, and we have a couple of pages saved for surprises. But yeah, after this, Jill, I'm going to need your help editing, if you don't mind. Yeah.
We saw this game. It was TK.
Yeah. No, it's fun. Yeah, it's definitely weird. It's a weird beast, but really grateful to kind of get my hands on a magazine that I've been reading since I was 10. Yeah. I remember reading the Halo 2 issue.
Yeah, those cover arts.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, the cover art is...
Yeah,
it's a lost art.
There was a lot more words on the cover back then.
That's a lost art too. Alex, I want to ask one last thing. Do you know a man named Blessing Adeoyo Jr.?
I do. I know him very well.
Have you ever made any music with the man?
I have made music. I've made an entire website with him for 6 years.
That's right. Yeah. I bring up the music specifically because whenever Jan's out and I need to have music to play, I just steal your music.
Really?
I play it as our waiting music. Yeah, the Zelda EP. Yeah,
one of those tracks. What did we call it? Because we each kind of made a few songs ourselves and like gave feedback. But it was like, if this is your song, you're gonna make it from start to finish.
Totally. Yeah.
I made one. I just slapped a name on it before we published the music. I think I called it like Evening in Kakariko, and I was like, how do I make a song that's completely original, sound like it's from Ocarina of Time?
Yeah.
And that was all made on the Switch. on the Chord Music app.
Oh man, really?
Yeah. You can export it to your phone and then.
No, I'm gonna pay you for lessons.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Sitting there jamming out.
Hell yeah. That's gonna do it for this segment, everybody. Hey, thank you, everybody. You were fantastic.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more here on Giant Bomb after a short break. The march of time continues. We are still Giant Bomb, Summer Game Fest. We're going to make some magic happen on segment 3, Saturday night here at the Key 3 festivities. I don't know anymore. But I'm very happy to still be here with a full set. We got everybody on here. There's no one partying anymore. I said, get in here now. It's happening. I got Mike Salyh, and I got Wyatt Bushnell. You guys, Escape Academy is how I know you. But what's the name of the studio?
Coin Crew Games.
Okay, Coin Crew Games. Very good. And then we got Ash Thukral.
That's right.
I know you as a man who makes things happen. Okay. This is how I'm I said that I saw a wrestler do one-winged angel entrance in Japan. My understanding is you were intricate.
No, I don't know if I was part of that.
No? Oh, someone lied to me then. All right, well, that's on Dan. That's on Dan Ryckert.
That guy sounds
I
got you. He made that happen.
Okay, well, you take credit when I say it. Just next time, just say yes, absolutely. Ian Boudreau, from Tap Tap.
That's right.
That's cool. And, Tap Tap is like. I was just taking a look at this. This is like an app that people use to like find their next thing.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of a social app, but my boss kind of explains it as the letterboxed for games. So very cool.
All right. And we got Jurge. I said Jorge earlier today.
Yeah, you did. You said Jurge. Hey, what it is? I'm drunk on that Jeff juice. Hello.
Yeah, and Jesse Vitelli, our young Elmo.
Hey, what's going on?
Once and for all. He's here. I'm glad you're here, man.
I'm glad you had me.
All right, let's.
Young Elmo?
It's a
whole thing. It's a whole thing.
We're just gonna let that go. Huh?
We were in October. We were in New York, and he's in town, and he's like, I can come on by and help, and we needed help, but we said you got to wear this Elmo costume that we brought, and he sat in the Elmo costume the entire time. And it was really dumb. Really dumb.
Through 50 turns of Mario.
Committed to the bit, so you fit right in here, Jesse.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
That's commitment. That's what I'm here for.
All right. So let's start with Jurge.
Hello.
So I want to start with the man who's drunk on the Jeff juice.
Jeff juice.
You guys have been on the show for you are part of the Miller Empire, the expanding Miller Empire.
All right.
Yeah, you work under the
sure.
Queen.
My boss is Jen. Yes.
Yeah, and well, I guess what's that like?
She's wonderful. She's great.
Seems like
She's fantastic. Yeah. I can't say enough nice things. Not only because she's my boss and there's snipers on the other side that please help. But yes, hello. Yes, we have. The show's been great. I mean, we have 5 games at the show.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah,
you guys seem very busy.
Yeah, we have 5 games at the show. I don't even know if I have enough time to plug them all. If Jeff will let me, I don't know.
Fuck no.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
We have another Krebs treasure. We got Little Kitty Big City.
There he goes.
We got
other stuff.
But it's great. The show. We were here last year with Cuphead. So this is the second time.
Yeah. So I mean, how does it compare to last year?
There's a lot more people.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people. But it still works. I was really worried beforehand that we expanded it because I thought it was just going to be one space, but this time the whole area is much bigger.
Yeah.
But they still have that house party vibe. Mm-hmm. Instead that as a youngin, as a new gen with the blessings
you can just
and
you can
Alex.
say Zoomer.
Yeah, it's a Zoomer.
Boomers aren't afraid. I'm not afraid of you.
I don't know anything about the LA Convention Center. People tell me that is a lot more chaotic, so I don't know. This is pretty chill. I don't know.
Yeah, it is laid back. I think after every appointment, I could go back to the same Tekken booth and sit down and get a water, and it was super relaxing. It's this is weird. It shouldn't be like this. Is I only did 73s, but they were all chaotic, and so it's kind of nice to.
Well, I'm glad y'all suffered through that, and now we can
cool.
Lay back.
The youth was gonna kill
exactly.
me in the end.
Participation trophies. Am I right, folks?
Yeah. Did you work at the booth that Alex Van Aken crashed with the captain?
Yes, Alex Van Aken broke he was the last appointment, and he broke our one of our devs' TVs. We had to replace the TV.
Broke a TV?
Which TV?
I don't know. He broke a Samsung OLED TV
that was on Jeff's model.
That was on Jeff's
what game?
for Henry Halfhead. Papa Nintendo's first co-published game that we announced during Day of the Devs.
Which is terrific. It is so cool.
So you guys got a chance to go on the show floor and look around and stuff?
He played it.
You did? Okay.
I played it,
You
yeah.
enjoyed it?
I also
before it was broken.
Yeah.
Before it was broken.
So you guys Escape Academy. Me and Mike Minotti, the guy who was in the RoboCop outfit yesterday, we played that on a stream a while ago. Really enjoyed it. You guys are working on more Escape Academy stuff, and you're showing that off, or what? Like, what brought you to Summer Game Fest?
So we June 19th, we've like fully finished like our season pass. So we've got 2 expansion packs that are just more content, but with like some kind of new gameplay systems. And then the end of this year, we're releasing our player versus player escape room pack.
And end of this year, we're also releasing our Switch port too. So
Okay.
it's coming to Switch.
Which we are helping on, by the way, at Pop Agenda with release management.
Thank God for the Miller Empire.
Yes, exactly. Thank God. You have to say that again.
Praise Miller.
Yeah. But so I mean, is it working for you guys? Kind of like, I wonder what, like, having a game in that state where it's out and, you know, we're past the point where it's like, hey, do you want a review code? And now it's like, hey, we have more stuff. We're still working on it. How does that fit into the majesty of Key 3?
Key 3.
Yeah, Summer Game Fest.
Okay. I'm not as hip as you boomers.
Oh, God, that's very I'm 40. But yeah, how does it fit in?
I think that we also showed Escape Academy last year at Summer Games Fest, and last year was a totally unknown quantity.
Right.
No idea what to expect. It went over really well. Everyone was really supportive. This year, I feel like people came back with either like they did really good last time and now they had a lot to prove in the booth.
Oh, interesting.
Or if they didn't do so good, I felt like I was watching them. I felt like I was judging even if I was trying not to.
Yeah,
judge.
sure. To explain the game for people who might not be aware.
So it's a escape room adventure game where every level in the game is an escape room, including like it's got a clock, so you have to race against the clock, and you can play it split screen co-op, and basically the expansion pack that we were showing this time is a prequel to the base game, and it's also kind of got a murder mystery theme to it this time around.
I think like doing more is like exactly what I'm curious about, because I think about card games. Like Hearthstone came out, it's like, we are a card game, but we're a video game first, and obviously you're making something that is inspired by the very popular thing with escape rooms, and you want to be sort of true to that, right? But also you could do more because you're a video game. Where do you find the line?
Yeah, I mean, I think like you brought up like what's it like now that we've released and all that stuff. But what's been kind of nice is now that we've released, we've gotten all that player feedback to be able to say like, okay, well, what do people want out of this? And so being able to build content that responds to a lot of that has been really fun.
Sure.
People want deeper story. They want like more connections throughout the rooms to like tie it all back. Which is why this Escape from the Past DLC, it's like a murder mystery that's spread across all 5 rooms, and the final room plays kind of like a Phoenix Wright episode of Phoenix Wright, where your like clues from the previous rooms inform the mystery solving in the final room.
I'm like detective games, anything that is like even touching that stuff is so my jam right now.
There are like no detective games.
Yeah, they're just starting to like creep in. There's like Shadows of Doubt. Access games. Yeah, that's really good. And then Alan Wake 2. I'm seeing it. So we saw someone else to see it, but they explained to me it was. It's Alan Wake 2 with survival horror, but there's detective elements in it, and it's. I'm like, ooh, I just like detective stuff and anything. It's really working for me right now. Are you guys like feeling that there's like an energy there?
Yeah, it's like there was kind of a very quiet period for detective games, and then I feel like everyone all at once is like, yes, detective games are awesome, and so I feel like detective games fans were.
Well, you know what I think it is. I think it's like, and this has been a theme this weekend where we talk about like co-authorship between the player and the developer, and there is one way of doing that, and it looks like Ultra Hand and Tears of the Kingdom, but it could also be like, we still want to be telling our story, but how do we make people feel like they're a part of it? Well, you give them a puzzle they can work on in their head instead of just all on the screen, right? And that's what detective stuff is, right? Is that how it works in the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's like pure critical thinking. Yeah. I think that's the beauty of detective games. God, respect, by the way. Like, Shadows of Doubt came out like 2 weeks ago.
No, but it's totally the most Jeff Grubb game that's ever been made. So I got.
That's the most Jeff Grubb game.
Yes, I
What
got
was it
super
before
horny for that
Shadows
game.
of Doubt?
I'm sorry, everybody, but I did. It's true. It's like a procedurally generated detective thing where it's like everything. You have to do everything yourself, and if you need to find somebody, the game's not going to tell you. You got to go look in the phone book. Like, there's a phone book right over there. Go find it, and that's my stuff. I love that.
What was it before Shadows of a Doubt?
Was Jeff Grubb? It was Breath of the Wild. I'm a basic bitch. I can't help it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The
respect just went down.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love Breath of the Wild.
Hey,
I get it.
Starting with the hot takes.
We're live, right? I shouldn't say.
Well, Ash, what's your favorite game right now then?
It's Fyffe Farm, obviously.
Fyffe Farm, yeah. Hey, we played it, and I actually am seriously impressed by that game. So like, I'm not just gonna blow smoke up your ass, but like it is Stardew Valley like. But what if what if they had the controls of a platformer? You could just jump around and do anything, and it's really interesting. And then every 10 feet, there's something interesting to do. Do you worry about the game being overwhelming for players ever?
No, actually, I think the point is it's our love letter to the genre, right?
Yeah.
And I think that when we take a look at some of the games in the genre's past, there's a little bit of sprinkle of RPG elements, character customization, homestead customization, farming, crafting. It's got everything that everybody's kind of loved within that genre, but then also a way to kind of take it a bit further. And we hope that it provides an awesome value that you can play for hundreds of hours. And look, there's even has like you have the day-night like cycle as well as seasonality in it, but you can experience the story kind of on your own pace and time. And from our perspective and what we've seen, the reception has been amazing. And the development team's been working so hard, and they're so passionate about this, and we just wanted to shout out everybody here. I'm just one person sitting on this couch talking about this, but that development team's been working so hard to make this kind of a love letter to everybody that loves that genre. So,
and I keep going back to this question, but I am genuinely curious. Like, you guys bring a game like that to here, has it been worth it?
When I was watching the stream, the one thing I noticed that there was probably a lot of similarities between the genre for a little bit of there was a lot of horror, third-person action RPG games, and then Fyffe Farm came on. And from my perspective, it kind of felt like a breath of fresh air. I know there was the first time we had shown footage of Fyffe Farm, it was also with a deluge of other
direct
games.
Yes,
was that
Farm Direct.
Was that frustrating? Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's frustrating. I think it's awesome that the genre's expanded quite a bit.
And the reality was, if you look at each one of those games, they were doing something different. I do remember Fyffe Farm sticking out, like the multiplayer one, and it's got these fairy elements, but it was like the multiplayer really stuck with me. And then as I played it today, it was like, oh, there is a ton going on in it.
Yeah, I think once people get their hands on the controls, they'll kind of understand that there's so much more, and there's always an element of discovery and taking a look at some of the kind of systems we have in the game that's a little bit deeper if you look below the fold there. But to answer your earlier question, I think it's awesome that the genre is coming to it. A lot of people don't realize, like, Animal Crossing itself in that genre has sold over 40 million copies.
Yes, it has.
There's so many people that play that game.
And almost no game sells that many copies. Almost nothing does. Yeah.
But even Luigi's Mansion 3.
Not even Luigi's Mansion 3.
What I think is fascinating about that is, like, especially during the pandemic when that game came out, you would see people who don't normally play games that may be like a partner or someone that was just in the house of those that is a gamer that picked it up and then they played together. And I think we're hoping with Fyffe Farm that we're able to kind of tap into that and also just find ways that people that maybe haven't experienced that genre that way that can come in maybe from the RPG side of it, the dungeon exploration side, but also get caught up in all the customization elements of your character, of the homestead, of your farm, and all the recipes and everything that comes with it. There's also a relationship system that's built into it as well. We're really proud of the work that we've been doing there. Phoenix Labs has been working very hard on this project, and we hope it's going to be the love letter that we think that we've been pouring the passion for everybody in the genre.
Phoenix Labs, I'm not familiar with if they've done anything before.
They've done Dauntless.
Dauntless, okay. Thank you. Yes, okay. Well, then that is different.
It's a pivot.
And there's been a lot of, like, among gaming fans looking at studios doing one thing and then switching to something else and being like, well, that's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to keep doing the same thing over and over again. How do you feel about that?
No, I think we're a mosaic of developers that have many different talents and desires and options, and we've looked at a lot of different projects that we have in-house, and I think the Fyffe Farm coming out as this next one after Dauntless is a way for us to express that creativity in a whole other way. And I don't think it should be limiting at all to whatever the project works.
And it's something where it's like people at the studio were like, yeah, we got this. We know the game's a game, or were there headaches?
I don't want to speak on behalf of like a specific developer working on a specific project, but what I'll say from my perspective coming in, I've been there for about 2 years, and what I see is that there's a passion for wanting to make something that's awesome with the team that you're doing, that working together, that kind of feels good and something that you feel proud of. And I think that Dauntless is the first case, and now Fyffe Farm is another example of that being an expression in a different genre that doesn't have to be the exact same. And I don't want to hint at or anything else, but there's a lot of other I think passions that exist within our company, and that everybody's going to be working together to hopefully come forward with something that comes out with they're happy about. And Fae Farm's that first hit after that. So, yeah.
Regardless of what the... Oh, sorry.
No, please. Please continue. I was going to pivot, so I want to hear what you're going to say.
Oh, no, it's just regardless of what the idea is, it's like, how can we execute it super duper well?
Yeah.
And that's the reflection of the development team.
And pour that passion and creativity into a space that you feel that it's doing something that's great for that genre that maybe you also have a passion and love for.
Yeah.
So, and maybe expanding upon it and adding your own spin on it.
Well, and it's and it's looking at a genre through the perspective of your past experience.
Sure.
I mean, like for us, we built arcade games before starting Escape Academy. But that means we took all the development ideologies from building arcade games and applied them to Escape Academy. Yeah. And I'm sure it's the same thing with Dauntless and Fae Farm.
Yeah.
It does feel like gaming needs to keep like pushing and pulling in terms of like I'll use fighting games as an example. Like they were the ultimate arcade game for a really long time, and that I think that was to their detriment once we started shifting to home console. And now we are at a point clearly where it's like people still want fighting games, so these studios kind of need to figure out like let's figure out the ultimate form of them as a home console game. And now we are getting Tekken 8 and we're getting Street Fighter 6 and we're getting Mortal Kombat 1, and it feels like lessons have been learned. And now we're back here, and it's like now they're back. And I think arcade racing, like people gave up on arcade racing for a while, and there's been a ton of Hot Wheels and Cruise and Blast. That push and pull of like learning a lesson and bringing it into your game. Did you feel that as you went from bringing arcade ideology into making home console stuff?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Weird enough, one of our first arcade machines that we made and we sold to like Dave & Buster's was a Hot Wheels racing game. And I think the main thing we learned, like doing arcade stuff, was that tutorials, like nobody reads in an arcade, like either because you're too young to read or like you're too many drinks in to read, and you're not going to read anything. So you're going to put a quarter in and you're going to start playing. And when we started Escape Academy, we kind of wanted to have a similar, like you can just pick this up and the game is gonna, like you're gonna learn by doing it. And we don't want to ever stop the player to say like now's the time to sit and read and learn how to play. Yeah, totally. And I think
want to say, I love you. Please, I get every game to be like that. That's me. I'm bad with tutorials. I want every game to just. I love you too. Wyatt.
No. What I'm saying is, who's ever read a tutorial?
I know,
and been
right?
Like, this is rad. This is why I got the game.
I skipped a tutorial once, and Dan Ryckert's like, "That's content. You must hate game developers."
Dan Ryckert said, "That's content."
That's content.
That's the authority that everybody.
Hey George, you're on every show from now on. By the way,
wrong call,
with the side of concrete.
Ian, how'd you find yourself at Tap? I'm curious.
So yeah, it was actually I went to visit a couple friends in Minneapolis last summer, and met up with a friend of mine, Phil, who had been at Tap for the past year, and I hadn't had a chance to meet him, but I thought, hey, let's get together, have lunch. We met up, and he said, I've got this great idea. We're making a team. So by the end of the year, he kind of circled back around and said, hey, remember what I mentioned back over the summer? Yeah, I think we're moving forward on that. And I was ready to make a change, so I said yes.
Before you'd been writing about games and things like that, or?
That's right. Yeah, I've been at PC Game Time for several years doing news.
Yeah.
So,
prolific. I might say.
I think I looked up. Yeah, I had looked up in the CMS how many stories I had done by the time I left. It was in the thousands.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah.
Jesus.
Have you ever written about Cruise and Blast?
I'd not.
It's not a PC.
To me.
It's not a PC.
Okay, so Tap letterboxed of games. I love that idea, but I wonder, are gamers too fickle, or is like herding cats? Like movie reviews do seem like a kind of thing where everyone's going to go. It could be a social network. Gamers maybe want to spread out. I don't know. Like, do you feel that?
Yeah, but I think there's always something compelling about like the way that app stores have like the opportunity to leave your feedback in like a 5-star review form.
Yeah.
And so our content, like our editorial stuff, just sits alongside that, and it encourages, I think, a lot more participation from the users. So I think there's space for it. I definitely think there's a kind of user who wants to like play a bunch of games and leave reviews for them. So. And for those who don't, I mean, it's just a kind of a recommendation engine too.
Well, yeah. I guess what is like the ideal user, and then like how do you expand beyond that?
The ideal user, gosh, this is a good question. I think, well, we're really trying now. The big focus is letting people in North America and Europe, English-speaking gamers, know that TapTap's not just about mobile. We're covering console and AAA. So everybody, we'd like everybody to use TapTap. But just getting the word out there that, this isn't just a mobile games thing anymore. That's our challenge right now. But yeah.
Do you guys have like a strategy for like making that happen, for breaking through to that audience?
Yeah.
It seems like, to me, it would seem like that's a big wall of like, there's so much noise between you and those gamers.
The big piece of our strategy was me coming on Giant Bomb.
This is it.
Damn.
Good job.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. You can retire now.
It's all done. You made it happen. Jesse.
Yeah, what's up?
What's going on, man?
I'm just chilling, you know?
What are you doing here?
What am I doing? I wish I knew.
Yeah.
I'm just vibing. I don't know how I got here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I see you around working all this stuff. What's a day like at Summer Game Fest for you?
It first involves coffee, number one.
Sure.
Always. Gotta get cold brew.
Yeah.
And then it's just going around seeing some cool games. I've seen a lot of cool stuff. Some Mortal Kombat, Sonic. For the sickos out there, the blue blur is still running in a circle apparently. And just writing things when I have the time, and maybe having a beer after hours every once in a while.
It's
a good time.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm like in that spot where it's important to see people in the games industry.
Yeah. It's always the people for me.
Yeah, it's a huge.
That's
part
this
of
event as well. It feels like a house party. It's like running into like a person you never saw for a while. I was like, oh my god, you're here! Well, oh my god, we're here!
It takes 30 minutes to get anywhere because you run into at least 10 people on your way to the
right.
thing.
Yeah, for sure. That definitely happened to me over and over. And I'm like, at a certain point, I'm just going to give into it. I'm going to be late for an appointment. Oh well.
I love that thing too, where you're like meeting somebody for the first time that you've known on Twitter for
100%.
years. Yeah. There's that like weird shock of recognition, like.
Yeah.
Hey, like the Jeff Grubb?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's been like that like 50 times, like literally 50 times.
I will say this show has been spread out really well. The format, I actually thought it was wonderful.
What do you mean? Like what part of the show?
It was organized well. Everything, there was a cadence to kind of how everything was set up. And I just want to shout out to Jeff, to I Am 8-Bit. I think they did an amazing job. Yeah. And this, especially in the absence of kind of E3 in the last couple of years and having everybody come back, I think this was a right balance. Obviously, there can be improvements throughout the years, but this was probably the best organized show I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I think so too. We've asked a million times. I'm going to keep asking it. Like, do you think it can grow?
100%.
Yeah,
it grew already from last year.
Oh yeah, totally.
Did by a lot.
I think it's like
by a lot.
Right. It feels huge, but like, if they have to have more space, is there more space available to them?
So I heard an anecdote, and I don't want to say to who exactly.
Jeff Keighley.
No. But I think a location change might be cool because someone that came from out of town had seen outside of the area where we were, and it wasn't maybe as representative of kind of the American experience, and they were from out of America as much as everybody might normally so. I think just choosing maybe It could be more on the West LA side. It could be Orange County. If we have to do Southern California, it could be like Orange County. It could be San Diego. It doesn't necessarily always have to be LA.
You don't need the Figueroa anymore.
Yeah, come to New York. Let's go.
I drive from Rancho. You say we don't need the Fig, but there was a party at the Fig tonight. How was that?
I was there. Wait, do I still have my? Oh, never mind. I put it on my forehead earlier. I had the name tag.
It fell off. Yeah,
I did something to it.
I don't know. I'm someone who obsessed over games media for a very long time, and I would remember, hey, the Fig. Everyone's at the Fig, so I would go there, and it was always a lot of fun. I guess you're probably, right though, George, that like the institutions like that aren't really institutions. We can make new things, right?
Let the past die.
Yeah, let's go.
These goddamn kids.
On the Hotel Fig right now, there's a giant Samsung Galaxy phone painted onto the wall instead of a video game.
Yeah, and a transformer.
Oh, great.
There's a big transformer there too.
George, I was at your guys' booth, and I was there. Hey, I'm like, I showed up. I'm like, I'm here for my appointment for Day of the Devs. And then you guys were like, yeah, it's over here. And then I got an email, you missed your appointment for Day of the Devs, which, smooth move. That was well done. That was very good stuff.
PR. Jeff Juice makes you do things.
But you guys introduced me some developers of, what's the name? It's the Crab Dark Souls
Another
game.
Crab's Treasure.
Another
From
Crab's
the fine
Treasure.
folks at Aggro Crab,
Yeah, Aggro Crab. And these are a couple of Gen Z developers.
We couldn't get them on the couch.
I know. I was trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I know.
would love to have made it happen. But they're terrifying.
Yeah. They're really. I'm not even 30 yet, and I'm terrified by them. But they're sweethearts, and the game is
yeah,
great.
I know, right? They're sweethearts for now.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
Online, they'll scare you. They'll bully you.
I mean, that's the thing. You guys kept saying that. You're like, oh, these in a couple of years they're just going to be true nightmares. I'm like, I cannot wait because I'm kind of ready for like the new blood to come in and like shake everything up because it's like look at this show. I'm trying to do it like the old show, and I think that's fun.
It's on TikTok now, right?
Yeah, it's on TikTok.
This whole thing's 1 minute long.
Yeah, exactly.
But as a youngin who grew up watching this, I'm so glad that we get to be here. I don't know, Jesse, you and I probably dreamed about being on this couch.
No cap. That's what the Gen Z kids say. Yeah, that is what we say.
Apparently, I still don't. My wife said that in for the other day, and she was joking, but I'm like, man, I still don't know what that even means.
Jesse, what does it mean?
I'm not lying. I'm not lying, but I guess I don't know the etymology.
We have to spell it out that we're not lying.
Jeff Grubb, no cap. More than you, Riz King.
I guess. Listen, I'm Baby Gronkin over here.
The Wizard of Oz. You got Jeff Grubb, the Wizard of Oz.
What was your question, Jeff? I don't even know.
My question is, when you guys are going out there and getting pitches from developers, I don't fucking know how PR works.
Sure.
Do you get a lot of like younger developers that are raring and ready to go? Is that next generation there waiting in the bushes to take me out?
I think you just need to give them a shot. And I think a lot of the things...
They're not hitmen.
They're going to take the shot.
Watch out. Wear a helmet.
So a big thing, I work for Pop Agenda, of course. So our big thing is providing self-publishing services to developers. So allow folks to do it yourself. You don't necessarily need a big publisher to put out your game into the world. And that is a lot of young folks. And sometimes...
They're used to that, right? Because of TikTok, I think. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, the do-it-yourselfer. But like you said, like, they got the idea, they got the know-how, they got the skill. They just need somebody to tell them, here's where you go to put your game out into the world. So we do our best. I don't know. Our clients will speak for that if we do a good job. Yeah. I don't know.
Editorial had a natural progression. Giant Bomb was built off of being a personality-driven website, where before it was corporate websites too. Right? So
that's
this
true.
is just an evolution, man.
That's true.
Yeah, you're definitely. And I'm like, what I'm interested in is that evolution still continuing? I think it has to.
It's time. It doesn't stop just because you and I are getting really old. It's not going to stop, man.
Really old. Yeah.
They've got N64 cartridges back there. There should be NES cartridges. I feel underrepresented.
NES prices. I don't know if you've seen NES game prices lately.
They're tanking. That's true. The NES game take. Man, that's right.
And those are going up.
It's because we already went through our midlife crisis. We're moving past them, and so the NES prices are going down. And now it's all GameCube all the time. I'm still.
What's an NES?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. No. I do want to like put a timestamp on it, George. What was like your early gaming memories?
I'm not that young, actually. I'm kind of posing. I mean, my earliest gaming memory was playing Mortal Kombat 2. So I'm still kind of, I'm a Genesis.
Sure.
You know.
That was high school.
But it was like 90 school. But I played it in like 98. So I played it in 98, 97. It was older, but
he had
still
a pacifier in his mouth.
This happens a lot though, where I'll be like, blessing him and be like, oh, you don't even know what an N64 is. He's like, Donkey Kong 64 is like my favorite game.
And it sure is that guy.
Yeah.
What a classic.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, the aggro crab guys, Nick, his favorite game is also Donkey Kong 64.
Really?
So maybe there's something there. Speaks to the youth.
Yeah, the kids love
the game of a generation, Donkey Kong 64.
Gamers came up on Donkey Kong 64.
That's really frightening concept.
Exactly. That's why.
It was
Donkey Kong 64 started the
not Facebook or Twitter.
It's Donkey Kong 64.
The DK rap.
Yeah.
In the Super Mario movie.
Yeah, that was like surprising to see. Although they didn't use any of the lyrics, they just said like the DK.
I'll take it.
Over and over.
I love that they use that, and then they're like, "Here's a bunch of licensed music. Here's Take on Me for some reason."
That was also great.
Sick.
So you guys are coming to the end of your season, and you guys, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out, man.
So you guys are almost done.
Yeah,
right?
What do you guys got next? I mean, like that's how this business works, right? What have you done for me lately?
Wow.
He's not wrong. I love you too, Jeff.
I mean, I'm only as good as my last video. I mean, yeah.
No, yeah. I mean,
Battle Pass.
We are working on another thing. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I'd love to talk about it. Not allowed to talk about it.
Sure, yeah.
But it's still it's still thinky. But yeah, it's super duper unannounced.
Tell us more.
I can't.
Well, coming from like the location-based games into indie games, it's been like so welcoming in the community. That's probably the biggest thing that surprised us was how many people are like, "Hey, like here's how publishing works. Like, do you know about this? Like, have you considered that? Like, you should talk to this people." And it really wasn't like that in the before we got into this space. And
location games had to be like so like spread out.
my
Like
God.
there's like a couple of hubs, right?
Well, it's I had a drink, but I like arcade games. It's just like everybody you meet is like slick back sales dude, like trying to like used car salesman vibe.
I could imagine they almost have to be to even
They
make that space
kind
work.
of do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the industry is kind of like rooted in mafia because it was a cash-based business,
Yeah,
right?
Okay. Hell yeah.
So, but then like going from that, where it's just like used car salesmen all over the place. This is live, right? And then like coming here, it's like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I remember Donkey Kong 64." It's like, "Oh, you're a person."
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that is. It really must be very, very different. Is it refreshing, or do you like, "No, I grew up on the mean streets of arcade games. I can take advantage of all these suckers."
The mean streets of arcade games. Yeah, let me sell you a car.
Yeah.
No, super duper refreshing. I mean, everybody like. There's such a you don't come into games unless you really love games because it's rough. Because it's rough. Yeah, like without the passion, it's just there's nothing to anesthetize the pain.
What do you mean? I'm a millionaire.
But yeah, it's been really refreshing.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like we have a lot of people on the couch, and not a single person that like feels like they're faking it. Like you really gotta believe in this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Again, another reason why this event is great because we're all in this. We all decided at one point that we're committing to this bit because we love it, and that's kind of awesome. I don't know. It's just great to be around people who love video games as much as you do.
Well, I agree, and that like makes me think like, okay, so we're all in on it. Do you when you look to like a big publisher, a big company? Do you guys feel that that's always reflected from these companies? Like they believe in video games as much as we do? I mean, Ash, I don't know. You've been here for a long time. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm almost 20 years in the game, and I've worked at some very large publishers. I challenge that a little bit and say that there's some people that maybe they're not so evil that may be working at this large publisher as you think. That some of them on the side that may not even be development are actually passionate, hardcore gamers themselves too. I'm going to be honest, I'm on the publishing side, right? And I'm looking at this Zelda Wind Waker Brady strategy game, and I'm getting like all these memories for myself of going to games. I was actually working at EB Games or GameStop at the time, and I still have that strategy in my garage somewhere. Like, you fall in love with this, and it becomes something that you drive towards, and it just, every day when you wake up and you think, my children came to Summer Game Fest today. I actually got to check out
very cool.
Farm and some other things.
That's fun.
And watching them, who have primarily started on touch-based games on their iPad, to actually touching a controller and kind of moving around. It's a different type of evolution than I have, but it's still that same passion that's been driving generation over generation.
Right, and so, you got into that space because you loved it. Do you feel like that passion pushed through and was like fueling corporations? Because at a certain point, like it feels like there is a battle there a little bit. And I say that because I feel that here. I work for a corporation. I feel that a little bit. Yeah.
Sure. I think there's a democratization of game development that's been happening over the last, obviously, 10, 15 years. And with that comes with the ability to kind of get into the business side that is more from a developer's point of view, which they're starting to also learn, I think, from what I've seen, some of the complications that can come with that and the need for having someone that have maybe a business backend or publishing backend or marketing backend to not just having a development mindset, but maybe they're finding out that there was a usefulness to that in the past. But it shouldn't just only be the business side driving game development goals. It should be, in my opinion, game development driving what's best for the game itself and wrap business around that. At least that's how I've always believed it.
Bars. It's bars.
You're on the publishing side. He's in the business of getting developers able to publish their own games. Does that push you, make you feel like you got to be better at your job?
No, I think it provides options. And I think when you have options, you have the ability to see what's best for the product that you're making and the company that you're working for, and finding what's the best avenue for getting the product in as many people's hands as possible. I hate saying in product, man. If you have a game that's great and you want to get as many eyeballs on it as possible, then you should utilize as many tools as you have available to you. And if there's more tools being developed to help that, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Bars on bars on bars.
No cap.
That's the Gen Z translation.
And it does feel like that is the way it's going because it's so many people are coming into making games. That democratization of Unreal being everywhere and Unity and everyone making games. It's like, so there's going to be a variety of people who come into the creative side and they are going to want different options. They are going to want to try to do it themselves, or they're going to be like, actually, that stuff just does not fit with my kind of brain.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like, I think there, like, in the past there have been a lot of, I don't think publishing is nearly as predatory as it was when it, like, got its sort of reputation.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think now it's more of, like, what does your game need? Because it's not just, like, it needs the game, it needs the marketing, it needs QA support, it needs, like, who are your partners? And I think, like, you know, for us, we're published by IM8-Bit, like, Escape Academy is published by IM8-Bit and Skybound Games. It's sort of what are those partners bringing to the table that you need to get it out?
Well, I mean, I think that touches on exactly the kind of thing I think what we're getting here over here is was there competition for your game? Like we can go over here, but we're going to go over here. So what can you provide for me? Did you feel like you guys had maybe some bargaining chips to work with?
Oh
Of
yeah,
that?
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of publishers, and I think it's lunacy to try and make a game right now because it's just like, well, no, and what I mean by that is just like, it's really hard. It's super duper hard. And I think publishers kind of feel that now too. And like, you're really looking for those hits. You're looking for those teams that like you trust can get the game out. Because on the publishing side, I'm sure your like number one fear is like, I'm going to invest money into these people and time, and there's not going to be a game at the end of it.
So I don't work at Phoenix Apps self-publishes their own titles.
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
So we're not necessarily.
But you had worked at big publishers.
But I have worked at
big
big publishers
yeah.
before, and I think an investment to what you're looking for obviously is you're looking for something that is obviously going to resonate with a specific audience, your target audience, everything. That there's the natural business side for it too. But I do think that there's understanding with writing the horizon of things that are in their horizon rather than when they're not. So finding that next awesome thing is always going to be an opportunity for those to show how their product could be, I guess, bargained with, as you brought up earlier, to multiple publishers. And I think that there's more optionality with the ability to say, you know what, I'm just going to self-publish myself and roll the dice. Sometimes having expertise or having a consultation in that aspect of a business, if you're a developer, can obviously help you and just rein in what people have learned through history, right? And that kind of matters. So.
It feels like gaming is at a point where, for a long time, it was a high technology space where we were defined by the limitations of the hardware, and that was a part of the excitement of like, we get new hardware, we get new stuff. And that is definitely still true to a certain extent, but it also is, it's not true in a lot of ways because the real limiting factors are budget and time. And that's becoming more and more true for more and more games. And so do you think that is maybe secretly a good thing, Mike, where it's like that is going to enable more creativity?
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I've been part of small teams pretty much my whole career, and like I started out making like Flash like web games, like Newgrounds, like Miniclip, and like my limitation was like I could never go in 3D because I can't program 3D. I was in 2D, and I couldn't the tools very much limited what I as like an individual could do because I only knew 2D. And then I remember learning Unity for the first time and being like, wait, all the scripts I'm writing 10 times faster than before, and suddenly I'm making games that are 10 times bigger. And I feel like just across the industry, like as the tools get better, indie devs, like we can do some of those weirder ideas that before would have been like just to make a demo to prove that it's possible, already the budget's gone.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, we can actually make this prototype and see if it's fun without going broke or having to bet the farm on to try it. So I personally think that like I've never been in AAA, so I don't know what it's like on that side. But as an indie who's not necessarily trying to push the next gen of
course not. Yeah.
Hardware.
I mean, that's a whole other stratosphere of money. Of course not. Yeah.
Being able to still get real weird with the game mechanics has been great.
But Jeff, 7 years ago, Breath of the Wild came out. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom came out last month.
Yes.
Same systems, hardware spec, roughly. There's obviously the OLED switch, but I don't think that's much change. the FPS is basically the same, though. Vastly different output from a creativity standpoint, where the technology didn't really shift much. And from what I've seen, Tears of the Kingdom's strength is coming from this user-generated content that's based off various creativity of using the in-game tool sets. While Breath of the Wild, it was the open world, and Zelda being transitioned into the open world exploration. You didn't see a huge technology shift in between those 7 years.
No.
And look at the vast difference in how that's been received.
I mean, this is why I was always so excited about Tears of the Kingdom, because I got the sense it's like, well, they are going to use this base, and instead of trying to push things forward and we're going to spend all this time and money on a new world or even a lot of new assets, it's like they're going to reuse a lot of the same assets. So then where has 7 years gone? Oh, they're just going to throw every single goddamn idea they have into this game, and that's what happened. And it's like, I think that should be maybe the direction we go in a while. I mean, you said weird ideas, right? But also I think for indie developers, familiar ideas. Big publishers are going to stop making immersive sims. Well, now who can afford to make immersive sims? Indie developers, right? Yeah, I mean, is that something you guys think about where it's like, you guys are trying weird stuff, but do you ever look at like, man, I wish we still had those games? We talked about arcade racers or whatever. Like, do you guys feel that?
I mean, the games that I really miss are the, like, I don't know, the ones that I have a ton of. I've been thinking about Black and White. Do you guys remember that game?
Yeah, love that game.
I miss that game so much, and like that's the sort of stuff that I miss. But that's just like my personal taste.
But I don't know if it's just I mean, there are everyone was like, oh yeah. Like I think that's the kind of thing where EA published Black and White.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
like, would EA make a Black and White today? I don't think there's any chance in hell, right? But I think there's a generation of indie developers that are like, I can do something. I can spin on that.
I also think that like game design has just evolved so much in the last 30 years, even outside of like the hardware limitations and technical improvements. It's like, if you guys played Against the Storm,
that is one of my favorite games from the last.
No kidding!
Against the Storm.
Oh my God, you're the only other person I've met.
It's so smart.
What is it?
So it's it's a city builder, roguelike. It's. Go ahead and explain it. There's a lot going on.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like it's actually. Why did you make me explain it? It's really hard to explain. But it's a city builder. It's like a survival roguelike city builder, but it's Rex. It is so good. I don't know if you guys really like the city building genre.
Yeah, sure. SimCity on Super Nintendo is definitely one of them. But
my exact example.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Well, this city has lizards, beavers, and people, and I think harpies.
This is something more familiar.
Yeah.
I think I've heard.
There's a storm that's always encroaching. There's so much going on. It's so smartly done. You have to come up with recipes to what was it? Oh yeah. Lizards are always getting cold. They're cold-blooded, so they want to work in the bakery.
Right, you got to keep them warm.
Yeah. But they're terrible at cooking.
Beavers love chopping trees.
Right.
Called it.
You brought up Black and White, and you said though, I think there's an opportunity to take a genre maybe that's gone by the wayside or has evolved into something else, and maybe implement additional. And again, I'm not a designer, but additional design elements today that might resonate by making it more efficient. I'll give you a specific example. RTS and then MOBA, right? And then the MOBA genre kind of has pushed RTS to the side after over a decade or so. I think there's an opportunity space there to maybe bring some of that back to now this expanded audience by simplifying.
And I think that's like the one pathway. Then the other pathway is we're going to take these elements of RPGs and we're going to put them in every single kind of game you can imagine. And now that is happening with immersive sims, where Tears of the Kingdom is an immersive sim. It really is, and it's like. I think that we are unlocking a lot here, but and again, it goes that push and pull, where it's like, okay, we're going to do this for a while, and now these big companies aren't going to do that, so it creates this vacuum, and who's going to rush into that space? I think the good thing about video games is usually someone is going to rush into that space, right? Do you guys feel that?
I mean, definitely, like, as the tools get better.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Choo Choo Charles?
Yes. The big scary.
So I watched an interview with that developer. He made that game without writing any code, just Unreal blueprints.
Oh wow!
Which, as a game developer, I'm just like dying a little inside because I'm a programmer.
It's so cool, what's possible with the tools is blow my mind if I knew about it as a 10-year-old, 15-year-old.
Yeah, it really is. It feels like we're kind of here in a way. Like the possibility, the canvas is as wide open as it's ever been.
And there can be paradigm shifts. Like if you were on the Giant Bomb Night show in 2012, 2013, And did you think PUBG or Fortnite or a battle royale genre was actually feasible? And now it is ubiquitous and owns a large portion of the audience, right? And I think that that's possible again.
Those paradigms are, and the cool thing about that for me is it almost always comes from the least. It comes from Steam Early Access and never from, like, okay, I said Tears of the Kingdom, maybe a paradigm shift. We'll have to wait and see. But it's like, usually it's not going to come from Sony or Microsoft or EA or Activision. It's going to come from a little developer on Steam Early Access.
Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors.
Well, I mean, you just mentioned MOBAs.
I mean, Minecraft is an early access game.
Battle Royale, both of those originated in mods.
Mods.
Dota was a mod for Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3
The extraction, I mean, that's kind of the extraction mode that people are kind of going on now, is taking that out of the battle royale.
Yes,
right.
Yep, exactly. All right, that's going to do it for this segment. Thanks. I need to get the hell out of here. I can't deal with this anymore. You guys were great. Thank you all so much. We're gonna end this right now. We're gonna come back after a short break. We got a couple more segments left, so don't go anywhere. Giant Bomb, Summer Game Fest. Thanks for watching.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Or that's how I feel when I have my arms crossed like this. I'm just like, gonna go into dad mode. Gonna spank you. That's what it is. I'm sorry about it. We're still Giant Bomb, Summer Game Fest. We are gonna have another couch segment.
I thought you said you weren't gonna make it horny.
Oh yes, I never said that. I would never say that. You know that. I am joined by Alex Orona. Alex, Super GG Radio, is that what it is?
Super GG Radio.
And also some NPR stuff, right?
NPR and Nintendo World Report.
Shawn Alexander Allen. I want to say Shawn Allen Alexander. For some reason Shawn Alexander Allen. I got it right the first time. Hey, you're here. You are Treachery in Beatdown City.
Yep.
Yeah, and we got Funky Joseph. I know you from writing about games, but are you still writing about games?
Yeah, I'm writing about games, and I'm also on creative production.
Right.
Slowly going onto that side of games. Yeah.
Shannon Laio, you were a writer as well.
Yeah, I was at the Washington Post, got laid off and freelancing for the New York Times, Verge, Vulture.
Yep, very cool. And then we got Guillermo Leoz.
Leoz, yeah.
Leoz.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I'm white. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You're up.
Okay, Guillermo, we should start here.
Yeah, I know.
You got
we're from Argentina.
You're from Argentina. You came all the way out
champions.
Yeah.
actual world champions. Not like you guys said. I mean,
with baseball or World Series.
Yeah, the NFL. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are not world champions.
Argentina's never beaten us in the Super Bowl, so I don't know what you're doing.
Is this shirt like an everyday thing? You're like, wow.
Have you met an Argentinian?
Dude, this is more important than our national flag. Okay. I mean, Messi's shirt is bigger than our national flag. It's an actual national flag.
Yeah.
So we have another thing for you.
Yeah. So you're here because we have a mutual friend.
I know.
The little weirdo Christian. He
we have a Twitch channel.
You have a Twitch channel from yes, YouTube in Argentina. You guys have they rated us, I believe, and they're hanging out in the chat. Hello, everybody. Hello, Argentina. We're glad you're here.
Behave, please.
Yes. Don't behave. You guys have the run of the house now. So yeah, fantastic that you're here. But my friend who's from Argentina as well, and your
Christian.
friend, Christian. He always gives me a hard time because I yerba mates or whatever. I'm like, what is that stuff even? Oh, yerba mate, and I know how to say it, but I've still never had it.
Yerba mate.
No. Sheraba?
Sheraba.
Yeah.
It's like
very white over
Everybody's
here.
been mispronounced.
Yeah, it's not yerba, it's sheraba mate. Yes, it's our national drink.
It's okay, and I'm excited to try it. I'm understanding that you are going to make that happen right now.
Yeah, sure, as well.
It looks like a lot of...
what you set up?
You know,
now this is your drink.
We can prepare. I'm a fake Argentinian and I don't drink mate.
Oh gosh, okay.
That's totally fine.
I think that makes us all fake Argentinians.
Okay, so this is hot water going into... This is mate leaf?
Or? Yeah, it's yerba mate, this is
mate.
the actual yerba. And that's how you prepare it. You have this, I don't know, pipe or whatever.
Oh, okay. Pipe. So, go for it. I want to see it. Let's make this happen.
Yeah. Let's do it. I think you're gonna like it.
I don't drink any caffeine, so it's not gonna be a problem. Or no, just joking.
Jan loves it. I mean, you're going to have to fight him for it. Okay.
Let's do it. Take a sip.
The live review.
Yeah.
So,
it's better than Red Bull.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
natural for
most things are better than Red Bull.
Yeah, this is like the new game right here. Yeah, absolutely. That's really
to keep me up.
You like it?
I do like it. Absolutely. In America, you go to a Wendy's and you get an unsweetened iced tea. This is much better than that.
I know. We need to export it. We need to make yerba mate happen in the U.S.
So there's a yerba mate. I think there's drinks in cans here in the United States. Have you seen those? And
yeah.
That's not the real stuff. Okay.
They're cold.
I don't
though.
drink it, but
do you drink it cold as well?
No, you drink it hot and with no sugar, no sweetener, no anything. Just
Is that why you don't drink it? Is that why you don't drink it? You're like, I need that sugar.
It's Mountain Dew. Come on,
I need sugar.
You don't need the Baja Blast.
Why did you only prepare one? You didn't give us any.
I yelled at him all about that already. This is a production, it looks like, so it would have been tough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird for you to maybe share the. I don't know if you want to.
Listen, I'll set it here if someone takes it. I'm not going to stop them.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you.
You're here from Argentina. That's a pretty long way away.
I mean, we have a. Go for it, Jen. All yours. I mean, from the time that I left home till I got into a bed, it took us 40 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a 17-hour flight. We made a stop in New York and then cross country and then all the way here. But it's been pretty fun so far.
It's been fun. Has it been worth it?
Yeah. We love it. I came last year. It was way smaller. The only AAA game was Street Fighter 6.
That's right, yeah.
And now it's like behind closed doors demos and Cyberpunk and Mortal Kombat 1 and Alan Wake 2, and it's pretty different. It's not as big as E3, but it's cooler.
Had you been to E3 before?
Yeah, but only with audience, like I've been to 2018, 2019. And well, then E3 didn't happen. Maybe I cursed it. I don't know.
Yeah, we blame you. Absolutely.
It was all you.
I take the blame.
So, I mean, you guys have a significant following now in Argentina. You guys have worked hard to get that. Coming here, is it something you do because that's something that your audience wants, or is it like, no, we're doing our own thing. We want to go there. Come along with us.
It's a dream come true. A lot of people have already said that. I mean, I've been watching Giant Bomb. I've been a premium member for a long time.
Thank you. Oh, you're the one that's left. All right.
Yeah. But I've always dreamt of being here. We like talking about video games and making streams, and we do all kind of crazy stuff. We stream ourselves preparing Argentinian barbecue, Argentinian asado, and you need to come.
Okay, so there was some folks from Brazil who said I had to try Brazilian barbecue. Is there a beef? Not to be a pun, I really didn't intend it that way. Is there beef there?
That's not beef. Brazilian beef is not beef.
So yes.
Oh, come on. There's no comparison. World champions.
I got some food chow that'll just.
Yeah. No, there are a lot of Brazilian steakhouses here in LA.
There are, yes.
Yeah, they're good.
Okay.
They're not as good as ours.
When I need to watch one of these streams, because that sounds like a really good time.
Yeah.
What's an Argentinian barbecue like?
Oh, it's big. It has a lot of meat, chorizo as well.
Chorizo.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's different kind of chorizo, but it has a lot of cow meat, not that much pork.
Yeah.
And it's really tasty. People in Argentina like meat well done. I know it's weird here, but I think they are getting used to medium rare and everything.
How about you, dude? You like? Oh, you're glad that they're going medium rare?
Yeah. I'm a fake Argentinian. So
You're a fake one.
With meat and mate, but not with soccer. Soccer.
Oh, soccer.
Really a fake one. All right, there we go.
No, I would never call it soccer. Actually,
wow. You're just trying to be nice to me. I can tell. Okay, so what is the gaming scene industry? What's fandom like in Argentina?
Okay, we were born in piracy and with a lot of fake consoles, cartridges, and
I'm sure the video games were widely available in stores. Why didn't you just buy them?
They were
widely
available. Well, actually, they used to sell modded consoles in supermarkets, in official stores. And we are
by they, not like Nintendo, right?
No. The big supermarket chains, but it was like official. We didn't even know that we were buying pirated consoles. It was just the PS2.
That was just video games.
Yeah, that's the only way to get video games.
I think I'd seen like a documentary where they were selling like discs. They put the stickers on it with the label, and you were buying like, oh,
we did all kinds of stuff.
That's just Chinatown.
Yeah.
Go to the nail salon.
I can show you.
Go to the nail salon to go buy your Dreamcast games.
Get the Godzilla.
Yeah,
I got a gas station in Ohio. Got some bad stuff there. I'll show you. But
but basically we are PlayStation Nation because PS1 and PS2 were extremely popular.
Yeah.
And everyone could get a game for the price of like a few tomatoes. So people used to buy a lot of games. So they were fond of some type, not that popular games, like very obscure survival horrors maybe.
Oh, really?
But yeah, we were born in piracy, and now it's different. Now it's extremely expensive.
Are you nostalgic for the piracy in any way? Because I think, I mean,
yeah, in a way. I mean, my wallet is nostalgic about piracy.
There's something fun, like something punk rock about that country. It's like just got to figure out how to get video games to people. I like that.
Yeah. We were really young. We would go to a toy store and buy a few games, try them out, and that's how we grew up. Yeah.
Is my heartbeat beating so fast? Is that the yerba mate?
Yeah. That's the mate effect. Yeah.
It feels good. It feels real good.
Mate effect.
Is it like the butterfly effect?
You ever Thai Red Bull?
No, I'm not. Is that the real stuff? Yeah.
It's there's no carbonation, so it's just like a liquid.
Just
in
a
small
syrup.
Oh, that one.
So you said it's different today. I mean, I listen. I know there's some issues like the exchange rates and dollars and all these things. I mean,
you wouldn't believe.
Yes, I really wouldn't. I've tried to learn more and more about it, and every time it's like seems like a mess. But I mean, what does that mean for video games?
Well, people still buy them, which is weird because we don't have any money. Nobody can pay their rent, but they still buy games, and they still support people like us, which who make content about video games, which is weird. We back this whole trip entirely with our audience, with our community, 100% backed by our community, which is I guess making everyone crazy in the chat, but. I don't know how they still buy consoles, especially consoles like PS5, Xbox Series X.
But they are.
Yeah. So, for example, you talk to people that work with PlayStation in PR and firms, and they can't believe how faithful the Argentinian audience is to video games in general. We don't get much help, actually. Games are still $70 in the PSN store, and the other stores have actually tried to help people buy those games. You can buy them in Argentinian pesos, and it's like regionalized, localized. So people are trying Xbox Game Pass, for example, or Steam, but it's still pretty hard.
Right, it's so volatile a lot of times that even didn't Steam for a while stop doing local currency? Is that kind of how it worked?
Oh, people from all over the world would use VPNs to buy games.
Right, yeah, they would.
In the Argentinian
other countries,
store.
yes, they would.
Yeah, that was. I mean, it's not our fault. It's
no, of course not.
I don't know people around the world, but I get them. It's we have hyperinflation and it's not easy, but and suddenly, I mean, Blizzard games, for example, Diablo 4 was suddenly 100% more expensive at launch than it was a few weeks back. The same happened with Capcom games a while back. There's been a lot of news. For example, there was 500% inflation in price in Argentina in Steam at one point. But it still depends on every publisher. It's weird.
Right. It's I guess it's a good sign that they still want to release the game in the country. Despite them trying to figure out how do we even price this.
Yeah.
'Cause they could have just pulled out entirely, right?
Yeah. Microsoft didn't have to sell us Game Pass for a price. I know it's the equivalent of $3 Game Pass Ultimate in our country. Yeah, it's really good. People can use the cloud. I mean, xCloud is official in Argentina. You can play games in the cloud.
Right.
You wouldn't think that was possible, but you can actually do it. So I don't know why, but we are an important market in that way. Maybe because we're world champions.
World champions. I think it's clearly the passion.
I'm going to run it to the ground.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're going to take it away. They'll be like, no more video games for you.
Can't take away the 3 stars. Those 3 stars are forever. Yeah.
Oh, you know your stuff.
I got Christian in my Discord. Yeah.
I know.
Shannon. Why do layoffs keep happening in the media industry? Why can't people, especially at a Washington Post, where we were moving in the direction of video games? It's culture. It's a huge thing in Argentina, where even though their economy is this thing that's so hard to wrap your mind around, it's still so powerful that companies like, we're going to this audience.
Yeah.
That is definitely true in America. Why can't major American media companies keep a video game business, or coverage business going?
Right, I think that they can and they should, but currently, the kinds of people who are in charge or thinking about video games, they just don't take it very seriously. They kind of see it as like children's, like toys, games, and at the same time, they don't know where to put the coverage. Should it be in arts, culture? Should it be in tech?
Right.
Should it be in sports? I was under sports for a while. I don't know anything about football.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
Yeah. But for a while, I was like, oh no, I'm a sports reporter now. I should watch Ted Lasso. That'll help me.
That's what that means.
But yeah, so because they move us around. I had 10 editors when I was at CNN. But yeah, so because of that, we were a separate vertical at the Washington Post, and they decided when they're doing layoffs, we should cut a whole team, not just a random person. We should cut a vertical. And so, same thing happened to Waypoint. It's a target for whoever is doing the budget cuts. It's like a whole separate team. Okay, they can go. And then the rest of the people cover tech and culture. And then when Zelda comes out, they're like, oh, I think we need someone after all. So
yeah, it's frustrating. Do you think it's something that gets better, or is it just these companies are going to keep fumbling it?
Right, I spent all week at Summer Game Fest talking about this with everyone. People keep coming up to me, and there was somebody in PR who was quite hopeful and said that back in 2007, there's a lot of layoffs. Maybe the industry kind of bounced back, and then websites like Polygon launched. So there could be new ventures, Waypoint shut down, but there's a new one that popped up right after. So there's also fan-based coverage, like you said about Argentina. People still play video games. They're gonna show up, even when they have no money, or they're just like on a budget. They might still support, the people covering them. Yeah. So I'm hopeful, even though it's been bleak and tough freelancing. But
yeah. So I mean, you want to stay in the game. You want to keep writing about stuff. Is that the goal?
Yeah, I would love to. I have been job hunting for 5 months now, and there are just no games journalism jobs, so I'm trying my best. But people are like, oh, maybe in the next quarter, or maybe next year. So.
Yeah, and it's it started off kind of grim this year, where everyone's certain there was a recession, and so everyone's like, we're just going to shut everything down for a couple of months, because we're going to have to deal with that, and that doesn't happen. But we still have to live with the consequences of that. It's really it's frustrating, and then but. You're not right about, or you're not wrong about there not being a lot of stuff out there. Patrick Klepek, he got laid off from Waypoint, and he mentioned in the past when that happened, he'd get a bunch of calls really quickly, and be like, but there was nothing this time. It's that's kind of scary, right?
That's so bleak. Yeah. No, as soon as I got laid off, I got a call about, oh, you want to start a column for us at this outlet for gaming, but it's going to be paywalled, and you need to convert everyone to be a subscriber. So I started going to parties asking people, would you subscribe to my column that has investigative scoops about games journalism? And these people at the party were like, no, will your column tell me if the game is fun? Can I play the game through your column? If not, I don't care at all. So I was like, it seems like it's not going to be a successful idea. So then the people offering me the job also pulled out, and yeah, it's just maybe this is not the time right now, and ad revenue is falling, and as you can see, and I think the outlets are waiting quarter by quarter, I'll let you know in 3 months, and just playing it by ear. So
it's twisted. It's truly twisted though. I don't know. I have been following games since I was 12, just seeing the layoffs happen and kind of preparing for it myself going into this industry, and to see it still going on and get worse seemingly is dark, but there are happy moments, and there are when you see people supporting creators and the people who are behind these breaking stories, that makes me happy, and hopefully that it'll shift towards more person-centric rather than CEO in a suit who will never know what's going on the site, just shutting it down with a click of a button.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and even at this week's event, I saw a 22-year-old games journalist just entering the game. And I was like, oh, there's somebody still trying and running just fresh and freelancing and trying their best. So there's only one person doing that at this time.
The world has not crushed their soul yet.
Right. Yeah. Maybe in the past there's 20 people like that, but now it's smaller and smaller.
So Funke, you feel that you are you're out there writing. Do you feel like, oh, there's a future here for me?
No, not in games journalism. Sorry, I
asked.
think so. Yeah, I mean, in September I got laid off at Fanbyte. I was my first full-time staffing job writing at games, and I was like, whoa, this damn, like this is real. Like, and for a month there, I was just floating and floating and floating, and just felt so many feelings, like anger and sadness, and just being like, we actually made y'all so much money, and then you're like, why?
Right? Why?
Yeah.
I mean, why? Why do you think it happened?
I think they wanted more money, and it's the simplest, saddest answer ever. But like,
they wanted to see that growth on a chart, and it was making money.
Number go up,
but the growth wasn't there.
Yeah, they wanted to see their own number go up instead of like the site number go up. And
steady is not enough.
Yeah, steady is not enough. They want like that. Like they want that, which is unreachable goals, and it's, I don't know, when that happened, I was just a bit, disheartened in the industry.
Sure.
Like I was just got into it a couple of years ago, honestly, like right after graduating university, and I was really excited about it all, and being in these spaces and finally getting a chance, and then to see it snipped away like that was really like heartbreaking. So I took a shift more into narrative and creative work, and that's been way more fulfilling for me, and it feels like there's more avenues for that, which has been refreshing because I love video games and I think they're amazing, and they make me feel so happy.
Mm-hmm.
So to get a space where I can like help build those worlds is exciting, because it's there's more spaces for that than games journalism right now.
Right.
And I'd rather just continue being in the industry. You know?
And I think you got to like build that cocoon around yourself a little bit of like, there's a lot of negativity that could be associated with gaming, but it's easy to ignore if you find the stuff that makes you happy. In journalism, writing about that stuff, it's like, well, when you find a place like Fandom or Fanbyte, where it's like, oh, I'm working with people that like get what I'm trying to write, and it's building an audience, and it's making money. It all makes sense, and then have someone snap away that little shell that you built with like, oh, I'm happy here. That's got to be very like frustrating. So, are you finding that protective layer in game development?
I'm finding it more. Like the projects I'm working on are more fulfilling to me right now, and I can use my skills from games journalism and transfer them into different ways, like narrative and marketing and just text generally. So that's been fun, but like I still love critique, and critique is so important in any art form, and we need that to make better art, which I don't know, like I'm less hopeful about games journalism, but it still needs to exist. Like, it needs to be there, or else games are gonna go silly mode in a bad way. Like, I don't know. Criticism pushes people to be better, and like criticism is about you seeing something in there and you wanting it to be better, and just like telling that story to people and hoping they listen and take those grains of knowledge and like make something beautiful after. So yeah, I think games journalism is great, and it needs to exist, but I like doing creative things now.
Do you feel like we're at, like, I feel this way, so I'm going to ask you this question, but it's a statement, really. Do you feel like we're at a high tide or a low tide for criticism? And I mean that broadly, not just of, like, criticizing video games in interesting and incisive ways, but also criticizing the companies that make them. I'm definitely referring to the backlash to someone saying, oh, hey, there were no women on the stage at Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
A fact, a statement of fact as a headline.
Seriously.
No one who got mad about that headline read the story, they saw the headline, and they were mad at that statement of fact. Just a small criticism. And just a huge backlash to that. And I'm embarrassed by that as someone who loves gaming. I'm embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
Why are we at this low tide of criticism against these companies?
Yeah, well, I think that backlash has always been in games. Like, I've seen it since, like, 2014 era. Like, it's just been there. And as a freelancer growing up, like, when I was, like, 20 or whatever, wrote a review and gave a game a bad score, I would get harassed for months. Literally, I changed my on Twitter because I'm like, these guys are on my ass. Like, what is going on? Y'all are bored and grown, mad at me, saying a video game is bad. And I'm just like, I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm trying to be honest and be like, don't play this one. Like, they better make this changes to make it better, because it's not for you. It's not wanting you to be happy or fun. So yeah, I think that lack of wanting to hear criticism has always been there. Like, people that are the most vocal online just want to be like mad and angry at something, and Twitter like feeds that. Like, Twitter is a system that is built to like give you serotonin when you get mad at something.
Yes. People want to put their identity in like the things they like.
For sure. Yeah.
A Nintendo World Report gave Tears of the Kingdom a 9.5, and there was hate mail. Like,
there was
why not a 10? Why not a 10?
Yeah, why so low? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when I was at CNN, like somebody, like the editor wrote like, "Oh, Fortnite is dying" in my article, and all the Fortnite gamers came to harass me for like the whole day. Yeah, so it's.
It's like people. It's not literal. Like, of course, it's not alive. It can't die.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Like it's a figure of speech.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
It's just dying a little bit. Yeah. It's still
numbers go down.
Right. And on
please,
the
please,
criticism, like
Yeah.
the writing part of it, I think just we've seen so many outlets shutter and so many freelancers have their like hopes crushed. So I think we're seeing less of that. It doesn't mean it's not happening. I see so many like newsletters and smaller publications and like things like Remap popping up where people can have spaces for these, and I think that's beautiful. But it is sad that like there aren't as many media outlets for people to go to and feel stable and live life, because you can do things that you love, but people also need money to live and survive in this world. Yeah, so
pretty messed up.
We need more of that stuff.
Yeah, it's it's something I definitely have talked about, like with people in my life before. It's like there are other avenues for me out there, but working for a corporation has its benefits. It really does. Just they figure out a lot of stuff about health insurance and all these other things, and live in a country where that. What's it like in Argentina? You guys just get the healthcare or
we
what?
have free healthcare, free education,
and 3 World Cup championships.
Yeah, best country in the world.
Argentina seems pretty good,
baby. We're basically Canada.
Shawn, you have been working on Treachery and Beatdown City for a while. What's that been like? Is it nice to just have a project that you can work on and focus on and put yourself into?
Yeah. So we released it 3 years ago, which me and Funky finally met in real life. It was like March 31st, 2020. So I was taking care of my kid during the day, trying to launch a game, doing a day job, running an expo, like doing all this stuff, and Funky gave it an 8, and that the review uplifted my spirits. Like, again, we need people who write and care about things, because as a dev, some people went on they were like, why is this $20? And I'm like, because games cost money. I don't know, man. Why are you, honestly, movies are $20. So, depending on where you are. I was living in New York, and movies were $20 to $30. So, that's a 2-hour experience. You don't ask for your money back when you leave.
And it's a great game.
Yeah. It's really sick.
And now we've got this update, which, I think I took a bit of time off. We were planning, we were like, man, we're going to give this big update and this and that. And then it was localization. And then that took a year because stuff wasn't built for it. And also just 2020. And then 2021 came in. And then I got to go full time for New Challenger last year.
Oh,
and then we got to build a team. Actually, one of the engineers who's still working on because we're now very close to launching the Ultra Remix update.
Right.
Which, I always talk about the game as my Dante's Inferno. We have a lot to say, and
the EA classic, of course, yeah.
Oh man, I should have directed that, because I love the Divine Comedy. I love that book, and I love the fact that he put people he did not just covered them in shit, put them, dig them neck deep into the ground, and it was just we have this interesting we have this weird thing. So actually the last few years I've been really we worked on this game for 10 years. I had my thoughts about writing, and then we put out the game, and then the last 3 years I've really been thinking about what it's kind of like making a movie. I actually think more games would be better off if they revisited, if we had more pilots for games, and we had a thing that came it's weird. I don't see the pilot game and then the sequel be oh wow, we really found ourselves. It's almost it's the same game but more. And I'm just you look at, I don't know, me and my wife were watching Golden Girls. In the first episode of Golden Girls, they had a live-in dude who was a gay guy who was borderline a bad stereotype, and then he just wasn't there because they realized they have 4 really funny people. They didn't need to be weird about anything, and it's actually a very thoughtful show. But that first episode, you're that's how they got the money, but then they made this very thoughtful thing for 8 more years. And so making this thing, I basically have just been catching up and thinking about what the game meant to me, fixing a lot of quality of life stuff in the old thing, and just basically buttoning up. We're putting it on Xbox and PlayStation, things that we just couldn't do because we were a 2-person team. Yeah. At one point we ballooned up to a 5 or 6-person team. We worked with our musician to give him, because we grew as a company, so I was able to pay my musician more money than we paid for his old music for the new music, and we filled in some back music also. Like, it was really nice. We got to be able to work on this, and we really just want to put a button in it and just say, like, this is the best possible thing that we could have launched. But it's also where, like, anyone who has the game right now gets, like, double the content added to the game. Like, that's just going to be, like, and you're just going to now there's credits, because credits was a feature we couldn't, like, put in, and we're like, but that's just, like, I'm really happy to be done. It's very hard because we worked on this for, like, I was working on it full time coming out of Rockstar, and like I went from like working a lot on video games to working a lot more on my own video game, and I've been working a lot on finishing this thing. And none of the people, everybody who works for me right now does 32 hours. I do 7 days a week, sort of. I bounce in and out just because it's like, it's a lot of pressure to finish. But that's the thing, like, we're pitching our next projects, and our next projects, like, talking about money, and it's like we're in this weird place where pitching games is very difficult. So I'm really hoping that, you know, people say, hey, because the good thing about launching your, like, indie game, because I've launched games at Rockstar, I worked at Major League Baseball for a bit, I launched a lot of games.
Right.
Those don't really matter so much in this, like, because when someone says, oh, you released your game.
You shipped your game.
Yeah, then everybody wants to talk to you.
That's when you have a chance to get that pitch money.
That's what got me money to finish the thing. Like, that's how we got to scale up. You know, everybody, we had, like, someone at 11-bit, you know, they made, like, this War of Mine. Someone was like, hey, what are you working on next? We really like Treachery Beat Down State. Like, it's interesting. I ran into a DJ, a producer, this guy, Kenny Siegel, who, him and Billy Woods put out this album, Maps, and I got to meet him in person. He was like, I had my own shirt on, and he was like, oh, I like that shirt. I'm like, yo, let's get a game. He was like, yeah, I like that game. I play that game. I was like, oh, shit, that's my game. And then we got to just talk about, like, music and games and stuff, and I'm like, it's really nice to have my own thing out there, but I'm really looking forward to, like, I was actually talking to other people at Glitch City about this literally like 20 minutes ago about how, yeah, like, there's a bunch of people who are stuck in this, like, 10-year hell, and it's like, it's good and bad simultaneously.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That's like you talked about the pilot idea, and now having a way to follow that up with the same game and deliver on these ideas. Is that something that you would recommend to other developers that were kind of coming from the same space as you, or was it tough and hard to pull off?
Well, for us, the reason was because we were two people who didn't have money, and we, like, you know, stuff. Like, when we did our Kickstarter for, like, $50K, that was $50K across multiple people, across, like, and then across, like, also going to events, like, going to San Francisco is, like, $3,000 out of $50K, and it's, like, and I didn't even, I think I took most of the hit for a lot of the travel, and by the end of the year, actually, we were just done money-wise, and then I had to be like, well, how do we finish this thing? And now I have to, like, I was maxing credit cards, doing this and that. I do not recommend... I actually recommend companies just really, because, like, it was like finding a publisher, finding any sort of funding was very difficult. We had a lot of support, but not a lot of monetary support. We had a lot of, like, people saying, hey, you should check out this game, you should check out, and it, obviously some of the most important, like, the games industry is why this game exists. Like we got, like, you know, some Kickstarter backers, like Dave Lang, is in the update because he was a Kickstarter backer at the boss level. Like, John Vinacchi's coming in. It's going to be funny because you're going to get to fight them as a tag team. So you're going to get to fight.
That's a good tag. Like, finally, someone can punish them for their sins.
Yeah, John was actually like, you're not going to screw me in this cutscene, are you? And I'm like, nah, man, you're my friend. Like, it'll be funny, but, like, you know, we don't do bite to our friends. But I recommend finding. It's like, I recommend, honestly, just... I don't know. I want more companies. I've been trying to talk to publishers, just trying to figure out, like, what makes them tick. Because I honestly think we need to.
What sense do you get that? What do they want to hear from you?
Yeah. So the thing is I also help out with this Black Voice in the Gaming group, and I've been working with other things to try to get people funding, and that's my goal. We need transformative justice. We need the thing is that so many people were like, hey, we love your idea, but this is not, like, completely up our alley or whatever. And I'm just like, well, if you want it to exist, we got to pay for it to exist. And, like, so what we're trying to do is figure out, like, an accelerator, try to get money, I feel like even maybe take the means of production. Like, I mean, I used to help run Game Devs of Color Expo, and we were like, I think one company was like, we want to give you $50,000 to give out 10 $5,000 grants. And I said, no, we're going to take some of our sponsorship money from other people. We're going to give out 6 $25,000 grants
Nice.
and that got people to Kickstarters, that got people to all these different things, and it's because like $25K is not a lot, but if that $25K can get you $75K from Kickstarter, that's cool, and that's even hard right now. I mean, I don't know, money in games it's funny. People are like arguing over like $20 or $25 or $30 games, and I'm just like, like games cost. They take people years of their life. They cost $500,000. Like a normal game costs about like if it's $250,000, like who made that and how long? Like just think about how many people made it. Yeah.
How long did you work to get the $30 that you're going to pay for a game? Listen, I respect that. I get that, but that's a couple hours, and you're talking to someone who literally spent years of their life making something, and that's your complaint. Just look at the disconnect there. That's what I'm saying. Alex, you are coming from you come from Chicago. You guys are working at Super GG Radio. You got NPR. What is it like trying to make that hustle work?
It's interesting. The NPR has like been very supportive of what we do. Just we're the small sect of NPR of Illinois, and then on top of that, they're like, oh yeah, we're like movies and like whatever, like a lot of media. But we don't have a video game sect. And I'm like, oh, we can do video games. And they're like, okay. And then they kind of like go do what you want.
Right? Is it kind of just like you have a little space here? No, you make it happen.
Yeah, and the space we've chosen is a lot of like our focus is beta testing games, early access games, demos. Like we're digging. Like people are like, oh yeah, you go to Steam and you go to early access and it's like just like a trash fire. And like we have a guy who's just like, well, I'm going through the trash fire. I'm on like page 17. I haven't found it like this week. It's like we do 2 games a week per per podcast, and like Treachery in the Beatdown City. We've reviewed that, loved it. It was a great time, and we've tried to find like the small little pieces of things here and there that like no one's really looking at. Or for me, if it's 2 hours and it can emotionally wreck me, I'm in. So it's like that kind of thing. But like there's so many like things that people like miss in the like interim. Like people are like, oh, Resident Evil and Dead Space, and I'm like, have you tried Daymare? Daymare is really good. Or like party games. They're like, oh yeah, it's good Gang Beasts. I'm like, have you put Gang Beasts and Payday together, and you get Filthy Animals, and it's a really good game. So it's like these kind of small
do you feel a need to relate that to an NPR audience?
Yes, and that's kind of where we come in, is that we're trying to we find so many that we're just like, oh, I'm so in love with this kind of small thing that no one's looking at. I mean, like right now we were talking Void Train. Have you heard of Void Train?
It sounds familiar, but
it is like a survival Minecrafty game, but it's you're on a train in the void and you're just floating through space with a tether and you're like mining and building stuff.
Sounds good.
How are you alive?
Yeah,
How are you not frozen?
Yeah, you're in the void. You're in the middle of like nothingness, and then eventually you build up this train, and then you're blasting like enemies. But it's like the first bit. It's just like you gotta make a smelter, then you gotta make and it's just
Sounds
a lot
good
of
to me.
Yeah. Or like you guys were talking about Metacritic on the show, and it's like, oh, here's the top rated Metacritic, and half of you are like, I don't know what this game is. I'm like, Space for Unbound, tears. But that was like one of the ones that was like, oh, this is one of the highest rated.
And it's the one Michael Higham brought that on the show and talked about that a lot. Yeah, it's a real deal, good game. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I mean, is that like finding those little bits and pieces of just like no one's really looking at it, but I feel like God, like there's some good classic stuff in there that I like. Well, that's what I go for. Just finding those kind of little small ones.
What is the sort of angle that you're working on, like long term? Is it like you're happy doing what you're doing?
Well, I mean, the long term, like the long term goal is to kind of just be the people that are just trying to like hype up the ones. I mean, there's actually now publishers that's their focus, right? Like you have the Pop Agendas,
right?
And like obviously the Annapurnas, but they're like finding these like small niche like games and then just putting them out front of people. And like we work with Pop Agenda, and they're really great people. And that's what I mean, is like finding those little bits and pieces and just trying to like, how can we give them more exposure? How can we show them off? How can we get them in front of more people?
And you want to keep doing that in media, or would you ever consider like going into development, going into publishing, being an advocate on that side?
I mean, that would be that is pie in the sky dream for sure. But obviously, we've seen that like the game industry is it's ups and downs, left and right. Right now, we're just trying to get the names out there, trying to make sure we find people, and like talking to. I had spoken to you directly, specifically about not for broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
did you ever get a chance to play it?
I did not. No, I'm a bad person.
But being but it's like it's so fun to have like a game where you're like the news report, you're the newsroom guy, and you're controlling the camera angles, a la Jan over there, doing an amazing job.
Yeah. Woo!
But it's like FMV, and you're watching these crazy scenes where these guys are acting this game out, and in that case, at one point, it's a fake sports team game where it's like beer pong, but not. and all of a sudden there's a streaker, and the game's like, cut away from streaker, or camera 1, no, camera 3 now, camera 2, and it's like, oh, these are so fun.
Is it heartening? Is it encouraging that we've had so many people on here who are so passionate about gaming? And yeah, we have our ups and downs, but like it feels like there's a home to be made here, right? Like it feels like there's a space where we can express this passion, and there will be people who listen.
Yeah, and that's where we come from, is like trying to, you have the IGNs, you have the GameSpots, the people that are really like, oh, Dead Space, Resident Evil, these are like the big games, and these are the good ones. Obviously Alan Wake 2, right?
Yeah.
But we just like, okay, well, what can? No one's really talking about like, okay, these other ones, like, and I'm like, well, like, what if we just talk a little bit about Mineko, a game about a guy who's just walking, and you have to just maintain relationships, and after a while your friends leave you because you're busy working on your love life, and it's like, it's just like a little, it's almost
too relatable.
Yeah, it's way too close to call.
And the game is almost like an idle game where you're just pressing 1 or 2 buttons, but at the same time I'm over here like kind of wailing up. I'm like, I don't have time for my friends anymore. And that's what I mean.
Did you ever play Friends of Ringo Ishikawa?
That has been on my Steam Deck for a year.
No, play it. That game ruins me. Like I talk about it all the time because like it's actually funny because it's made by Russian dev who's being impacted by like the world, like not being able to put things out because of what's going on. Like he's just working with his dad on a game. But that game like is similar. Like it's like River City Ransom, but with like Russian existentialism.
And they get a cigarette break in that game.
There's like stuff where you have like a just walk like a delinquent button, and it's just like to look cool, or you just sit down, and it's like there's like all
that's my power fantasy.
Or like you're walking, and you see some bars, and you can just jump up and start doing it, but it doesn't say there's no like press X to do anything. The world's just like live in it. He's actually putting out a Faded Afternoon. Is his next title?
I think they did like not a sequel, but like a very like similar universe, or maybe that's the one.
Yeah, that's the next one. That's the third one. He did Arrest of a Stone Buddha, which was like Max Payne if you didn't have energy bars, and you just get shot by a shotgun and die immediately, and it's a side-scrolling like Hong Kong cinema like style. Like I know, I just want to say like talking about like devs, like that's what I keep my eye to the. Grinds like we became friends on Twitter because of this stuff, because I'm just like, I love your game so much. He's like, I like your game, and we just like, and it's just like he has a hard time finding a place in the industry. It's like that's the problem with devs.
Yeah,
is that's why I appreciate anybody who's again like everybody who's sitting here like Shannon was saying earlier. I want to come to this place and talk to devs. Like that's what I want to talk to.
Yeah.
And it's like it's really hard for us to get out these days because like there are so many games. I mean, there's so many more music tracks out there, which is like the interesting thing when people are like, man, there's too many games. I'm like, have you listened to music lately?
Yeah.
No one can get covered by anybody.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good for small groups to like that's why podcasts exist, and that's why you need folks like you to like you're pointing out all this thing that I don't even know some of it, and it's like I'm like, wow, that's great. Like that's amazing.
You guys have the quick looks. We do like the beta breakdowns. We like find like, okay, let's just take this one, not quite there yet. And just trying to find like how can we show this off? How can we make this real silly? And my co-host Joel like loves like the he's a lot of the brawlers and stuff.
Right there.
And he does a lot of the brawler stuff. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna throw some brawlers in there and throw some like different genres and weird stuff.
That's fantastic.
That's funny.
Guillermo, I was wondering why Jan stole my yerba mate, and I'm realizing it was to save my life because
you need another sip. Yeah.
Ooh, boy, I do not need another sip. I am on fire. My brain is about to jump out of my ears.
How many more segments do you
Let's
have?
fucking go! Let's fucking go!
And let's shove it in some Red Bulls.
That's going to do it for this segment, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get real fucked up.
Get ripped.
We're going to come back for a couple more segments. We'll see y'all real soon. Thanks to the crew. Till then, bye.
Thank y'all.
Daddy's got his Argentinian gaming juice, and he's ready to talk about some weird shit, I guess. I don't know. There's a dog here. That's all I can focus on, so I'm going to mess up. It's going to be funny. I'm looking forward to it. I got a crew here. Michael Higham, are you going to help me, or are you going to hinder me?
We're gonna fucking get you fucking canceled.
Yeah,
bro.
baby.
I heard this is Nikki Grason's idea.
It's true. We're getting canceled tonight. Folks.
I've seen your search history, bro.
You had my tablet there. You guys were doing some.
That's yours?
Stuff. I saw things.
Basically, my daughter stole from her for this trip. Steve Saylor's here. Steve, hello.
I'm going to have a weird work meeting come Monday.
Yes, you are. We got Philip Woytowitz.
Perfect.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. We got Maciej.
Yeah.
He's actually given me a lot of wiggle room there on how I say his name. He's from Techland High. He's the one developer, and I think he's going to regret this. Too late.
There's a chance. Sorry for that.
Yeah, you're stuck here. Yeah.
Yeah, with all you guys. Thank you.
Tell me about this dog.
This is Barley. She's 7. She turns 8 next month. She's a Chihuahua Terrier Shih Tzu mix. She's the most important thing in the whole world.
She's just a baby.
She's just a baby.
This is the first dog that's ever been on the Giant Bomb at Night couch.
The 3 cheese breed.
I set stripes.
There's a document kept by Marino, who's one of the mods, and he keeps track of everyone who's been on the couch. He will now have to add
Barley.
The first animal on there.
Fuck
yeah.
yes.
I don't know if it's got different color coding or whatever.
Yeah, like is that a new column, a new page?
I don't know.
I hope it's both.
Yeah, I guess if it's a new page, it'll have to be at least one new column.
This stuff's gonna kill me. All right, let's get into it. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm personally.
You think he has a plan?
No,
there's no way he does.
This is all just winging it. But honestly, I'm just glad to talk to some cool people about some cool stuff. I don't know. Michael Higham, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. SGF is dope. I'm having a great time.
I'm having a great time too. It's we come out here in the past for E3s. We come out here. You were at E3.
Yeah,
right?
I've been at E3 since 2017.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, you're an old man now. But it's mostly just fun to come out and see people, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite part. I mean, after I got laid off at Fanbyte, you know what I'm saying? Hey, after we got laid off at Fanbyte, well, I stuck around for like a couple months after.
You got some 10 checks.
Yeah, I was
proud of you, baby.
Proud
of you, baby.
You got that PUBG mobile money coming.
I think what I said, I don't know if I should say this now.
You should. That's the best thing to start
What's the
worst
with.
they could do?
I said, well, I told all y'all.
Yeah.
After I got laid off, I was, what did I say? At least I got to ride it out for another 4 months because I would have let myself go if I was down. Like hell yeah. But I freelanced for a while and I'm back at GameSpot and I do not plan on getting laid off. Tam is a good friend.
The previous times, those were all part of the plan?
Yeah,
sure.
But being back at SGF it's wild because I've told a lot of people that walking around that campus area is like games industry college where it's like, oh shit, I got class with Bandai Namco at 11.
Right.
It's like, oh shit, well I'm gonna go see Amazon, Ed Boon, or
you ask a good question to the developer and they're like, good question, Senpai noticed me. Yeah.
Whoa. Professor Boone said I had a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what's up. And you go get lunch with everybody. You're walking to your next appointment. You're dapping everyone up, and it's all your friends from. There's so many people that have met each other for the first time. Like I could have sworn y'all already knew each other.
Yeah.
And it's just it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to see
what's
everyone.
what's dapping up each other up?
Oh, what do you think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's like a cousin of being rizzed up by Livy, Baby Gronk style.
Baby Gronk. Those are not real words.
See, I understood those words individually, but in a sentence,
I don't understand them. I just say them.
I mean, it is just a true fact that Baby Gronk got rizzed up by Livy.
Oh, well, listen, I've never disputed
Y'all
it.
are killing a lot of Victorian children right now.
They shouldn't be around still.
God,
started nice.
Dapping is an onomatopoeia is when the wait, no, that was whack.
That was really bad, dude.
That was whack.
Man,
that was whack.
That was pretty white.
There you go.
Whoa. So wait, it's the sound?
You can't say that. You can't say
I just said it sounded white.
Oh, it did though.
It did. He's right. Absolutely.
Yes, he's not wrong.
Cancel.
I mean, I should know. I'm the whitest one here.
Steve, what's it like being so white?
Yeah, actually,
you know, I didn't want to get into this, but
I'm going to step out of this conversation.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
Steve, when you come here and you're covering stuff, honestly, I've been seeing you in so many more places. It's awesome. Is it nice to be able to build a presence at a place and be recognized and feel like you can show up and people are like, hey, Steve's here. This is great.
I gotta admit, it feels really fucking surreal because this is my first E3, quote unquote, and because a lot of the stuff that I've been able to do in the accessibility space is all been during the pandemic. So being able to meet people in person, this has been a dream come true for 13-year-old me.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm this is amazing.
Hell yeah.
So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And Maciej, when you were, I'm going to say it different each time.
I'll get over it. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm just so
no problem.
bad at it.
No problem.
When you bringing games here, was there ever a part where it's like, oh, my dream is to show video games to idiot game journalists in America, or what? Or is it just like fun to have? Yeah. Or is it fun to just like, hey, we have some games ready to go, stuff that we've been working on that's been out. We put a lot of work into it.
That's the fun bit.
Yes.
You've been doing stuff for so long, and you have a chance to finally show it.
Yeah.
You always are waiting, and keep quiet, plan everything, and then finally it's like the moment when everyone can see what actually has been cooking up, and the team is also waiting for the chance to show that what they've been doing for so much time.
Yeah, and you feel like you have that strong connection where it's like they are aware of all the work that's been going into it.
Yes, we've been trying to be open. When we are open in terms of what we're producing, what we're changing, we're communicating this. Our games have been, Dying Light 1, Dying Light 2 have been. Dying Light 1 has been supported for like 7 years.
Yeah, very long.
We released it. DL2 is going to be the same. We'll see how that's going to go, but still, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of communication between us and the community, and yeah.
Did you build Dying Light 2 with that in mind of like we supported Dying Light 1 for a very long time?
Yeah.
So how does that look different than Dying Light 1's development?
It's a lot bigger game. We also decided to go into some areas that made the game a bit more accessible regarding the Nite, regarding parkour, regarding all those things. And then we had the feedback from community that, okay, they got it, they understand it, but still they feel like it's not what they remember from the first game, so we had to make some decisions, and we were working on making the game fit all the people within our community, all the old ones, all the core people, and the new ones that joined. We need to balance this out because they are completely different guys.
And you guys, while you're doing this, you're also like looking ahead, right? Well, you guys got stuff coming down the way. How do you sort of balance those two things? Is it nice to have this game that's ongoing that you are going to support for a long time because it feels like something reliable?
It's something reliable. We like it. We've been doing this. I don't know how many companies actually been supporting games like we in terms of a single player game, not a heavy multiplayer PvP or whatever type of title. We like it. We feel that makes the game cooler. We also learn a lot, so it's a learning for the future. We keep on doing that. I guess we're gonna be doing that with each thing that we're gonna be releasing.
It's maybe it's that part of the world. I mean, The Witcher's the other game I think about that had that sort of support for a really long time, or that studio's done a lot of that similar stuff or trying to. Do you think it's just a cultural thing, maybe?
I don't know. It might be. Eastern Europeans, maybe we like to support our stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say,
a bit
right?
different. I don't remember so many titles that are close in terms of the genre to us that have been doing this type of stuff. It's rather you release it, you patch it, and then you go do another thing instead of keep changing, keep upgrading, keep making it better. Because again, if you keep on doing that, it gets doing new stuff more complicated because a lot of the people are still doing the stuff that you have but you released in the past.
So you said it's nice to come out and talk about the stuff you've been working on for a long time. You are looking at something that is next. Like, how do you sort of, keep going back to work when you're like, it's probably a long time before we can start talking about that?
Yes.
How do you sort of keep the flair going when you're like, we can't talk about that for a couple of years?
That's super hard.
Yeah.
It
would be tough for me. I'm like someone who I put stuff out every day. I get that immediate response, and I wonder would I be able to do?
You can imagine because it takes years.
Yeah,
it's super complicated process. It's loads and loads of people who are actually doing this. We are talking with different people as of the company and actually keeping away from doing anything until you're ready. You cannot imagine how frustrating but also interesting at the same time is. And then when you finally can have a chance of actually showing it, it's an awesome moment for the company, for the people.
I totally empathize with that too, because there's a project we're working on that's like
you would love
wait to talk about it.
You can't.
It's not for at least another at least 2 years out, and I'm just like,
what if you leaked it to a video game journalist?
Right now in front of thousands
you would
of
lose
people.
your job.
I'm on retainer, so
They can't fire
it's like
you.
exactly.
Is that like tenure?
I don't know.
Game developer tenure, huh?
That will never exist.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it does feel really good to be able to talk about certain things. Like that happened to me with The Last of Us 2. Like I had worked on that for I knew about it a year and a half beforehand, and I knew funny enough, I actually knew about Joel. Like I found that out like by accident when I was
What happened to
playtesting it.
him?
You
knew that Joel.
Something
happened?
So here's the story. And
Is he
actually, I will
okay?
say this is why
I'm fine with it. I love it.
Joel went clubbing.
So Joel went clubbing. Yeah.
Good for him.
So this is probably this is why I'll talk about because it leads to my favorite scene in The Last of Us 2. And I am the only person in the world that this is unique to. So I was playtesting it for accessibility, and a lot of it we basically just did the Seattle part with Ellie.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about what you get to do later on. Don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played it yet. But there's remember in the trailer that they had where Ellie sort of like, what are you doing here? And Joel's like, you don't think I let you do this alone?
Yeah.
I get to specifically that part, and it didn't play out like that. I started to like clue in. I'm like, oh, what's going on? I'm now freaking out. I've now figured out because they never showed us the scene.
Right.
And then I look behind me, and there's like 10 or 15 Naughty Dog devs that are just like absolutely smiling and just kind of like nodding. I'm freaking out, and I'm like, and one producer was like, we know this is going to be kind of a big thing, kind of a big thing for the community, or like it's going to, some people are going to be a little bit upset, and I'm like, a little,
yeah, a little,
and
they were right.
Exactly. I'm now freaking out like a good 15 minutes. I need to take a break, whatever. They have me come back. The next scene they have me play was the museum scene.
Oh.
And to me, that was like the most emotional scene I could ever play just after finding that out.
Yeah.
And when I got to play
They
the
just
final
like,
game.
we're going to fuck Steve up today. We're gonna
I was bawling like crazy. Like, you thought the viral video was I was crying, but no, that was nothing. But yeah, but it was that kind of emotional release I kind of needed in a way.
Sure.
And it was like, and when I finally played the final game, and that scene didn't happen afterwards.
Right.
It felt like, oh shoot, okay, I kind of had this like kind of cool, unique experience, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's why it's my favorite scene.
Hell yeah.
So.
Well, I think everything you just said might explain why. But when they are saying, "Hey, we are going to bring you in to help with this stuff. We're going to show you these things," you can't talk about it. Is it just you can't talk about, or you can't talk about it, and here's why you'll get mobbed with questions and stuff like that, or is it just like you're supposed to understand?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, a lot of whenever I get to go into test or whatever, I mean, I think as you know, it's like basically a lot of the game is broken pretty much like almost up to release. And so there's a lot of like stuff that could be changed, a lot of stuff could be like added in or taken away. And so it's like, even if I can talk about it even at that point, it could be completely different by the time the game is released. So I generally try to be able to, my like MO, at least the way I've kind of had it with the NDAs, is that when it's out and there's there's talk about accessibility of it, I can at least be able to talk about it and say this. I kind of helped out a little bit, but even then, my contribution is very small. It really is a big team effort, and I applaud every team that I've gotten to get a chance to work with. I love being able to consult and provide feedback, and if that helps out, I'm absolutely honored to do that. But it really is like the teams are doing the amazing work over there, and just in any studio that does accessibility, I'm a big fan of. And
your effort though, can you illustrate that for us? What does it look like? You're going in there and pointing out, here's a problem here and there, and here's what you can do, or you're like, here's a menu of options of what you can do, or what?
It depends. I mean, sometimes I get to be brought in. Sometimes it's just sort of like a virtual build I get to do at home, or it's just a Zoom call talking about like, okay, what could you be able to offer, or at least what we could be able to suggest as what to be able to do. And really, it's not about like just suggesting here's the kind of options. It's usually like, okay, this aspect of the game, like if you sort of change this around or like add this part of the design or have this as a potential customizable option, that'd be great. Because everyone sort of like talks about accessibility options, and then that's great, and people think that that's sort of all of the story of accessibility. But in reality, it's a lot of the design process.
It's a lot.
Exactly, yeah. And like as you know, like it's when you can be able to add accessibility as part of the design, like in the pre-production stage, it's a lot easier to be able to edit and get that feedback to be able to fix it if there's any issues. But when you're adding it on a little bit later, then it kind of becomes a Band-Aid solution. So I generally try to gauge based on where they are in the development process. Like if they need just encouragement, I'll do that. If they need like full-on like I sometimes can call myself the disappointed dad of accessibility. Like I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. I've done that a few times, but like if they need me to do that, I can totally do that. Or if they just need me as like ammo for very strongly worded emails, I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's it been like? You think it's moving in the right direction? I mean, obviously, it feels like we are talking about it a lot more. It seems like a lot of the big games are making it happen in terms of having a lot of options in there. I see that you often are involved in those. Do you feel like it's going to get to a point where, let's say, you took 6 months off? Do you think it's is going to operate under its own momentum at a certain point?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people working behind the scenes at studios that are working on accessibility. I think we're at a point in the industry that we used to be able to say, okay, why accessibility is important. We had to try to convince a lot of studios and executives like why it's important to be able to have this for disabled players. We kind of moved past that, and now we're just figuring out, okay, how can we do it? How can we be able to make it happen? And so, it like a lot of times, games take a long time to be able to make, so it's just a slow progress. I think The Last of Us 2 was definitely a huge impact on the game dev scene. And I think we're still at least a couple years from seeing the true impact of people seeing Last of Us 2, realizing why accessibility is important, and they're now adding it into the projects, so we're now getting to see the fruits of their labor.
And it also seems like you just really like games, right? It seems like you're just happy to be like involved in, like, people are listening to you. That's got to feel good, right?
It does. Again, I go back to it's very surreal. Like, I can't believe I'm just even being able to be here on this couch. Like I've watched a lot of you guys a lot, and I feel like I'm the fan that infiltrated everything. It feels really good.
Yeah. Cool. Philip, when you hear someone talk about accessibility, like you've worked on games, do you feel like that's something that you can even think about when you're building your stuff, or is it more like you're so bootstrapped, or however it is, that it's hard to take into consideration?
So we're a very small team. It's like mostly me for the bulk of it, but also hiring a bunch of contractors here and there.
Right.
And it really depends. Like, we do our play testing, and then, like, if issues come up, then we, like, get that on the stack of issues, and we try to, like, strategize, like, okay, let's say they maybe need a colorblind mode, or maybe, like, the shading on the contour of, like, this half pipe isn't clear enough, and so I have to take that into consideration. Just, like, triaging and knowing, because the big thing is, like, somebody, I forget who, mentioned something about a game basically being broken until right before release. One of the reasons for that is some of those, like, last-minute changes that you do towards the end of a production are just straight up easier to do them, because it's like a single pass that's less critical. Because like, I think a trap a lot of studios, big and small, fall into is they have this tendency to want to like constantly refactor things, but now you're doing several passes, and that can really throw out development, where like, even though it like seems kind of procrastinating, there are just like certain sets of tasks you should do at the last minute. You shouldn't do that for like a number of accessibility tasks.
Yeah, does accessibility fall into that by accident, you think, a little bit?
It depends on what the accessibility issue is, and it depends on the title.
Yeah.
Like, some things you can sometimes fix with post-processing, but
Yeah.
other times you need, like, dedicated assets. And it really depends on, like, precisely which problems you need to solve. But to figure out what those problems are, you need to, like, figure out what the problems potentially could be. And so you would, like, ask folks like... I am blanking on your name. I'm so sorry. Steve.
Yeah.
We consult folks like Steve to like suss out, hey, can this be an issue? Should we do this now? Should we do this later? Et cetera, et cetera.
So for your game, like, have you guys, is it something that you guys have taken the time to consider so far, or is it mostly like we are at wait and see because we are so small?
Yeah.
It's a little bit of wait and see because like we first need to get like all our eggs in a row. I don't even know if that's the idiom.
Yeah,
It's a bit
works for
late, but ducks in a row is
Ducks,
what it is.
yeah.
There we go.
We got one whole duck.
It's
In both a row and a
yours now?
colony. Oh, this is a Foam Star's duck.
Mike named it Quackaga because from Square Enix, because Foam Star.
Oh,
I think
like
that's
Final
where
Fantasy.
that's legit the name.
You got
it.
I did. It's vacuum packed and shit. So.
Can this thing cast Zetaflare?
No.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just
If you
Quackaga.
believe.
That's it. That's all it's got.
That's a good joke. I got that.
That's at least
smart. That's funny.
Yeah, Jan's back there, but he can't hear us, or maybe he can. I don't know.
Disney adults need to grow up.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, facts. Big facts.
Nikki, how are you feeling?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I got out, and by got out I mean I got fired.
You didn't get fired. You got laid off. They're very.
You get severance.
What?
Yeah.
You didn't get fired.
I got laid off.
Yeah.
You got laid off. You got released from the Nut House, and now.
Yeah, and I'm trying to get back in.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. You trying to get back in?
At Fanbyte?
Yeah, I'm trying to work at Fanbyte again.
I mean, those guys don't run themselves.
They don't. Nobody runs those guys anymore. What?
Wait, no, that.
I'm literally what?
So that thing about how you can't talk shit about the company who let you go. It's fair game now.
It's fair game now.
We could say that they
Shit's
gaslit.
mostly dead.
Yeah, they gaslit.
Like, who would even, like, sue you?
No, but, well, I mean, Tencent. The mighty weight of Tencent could come and get me, Jeff.
Okay.
It's a small business.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they got like 1.5 lawyers, baby.
I'm still logged into the Fanbyte Instagram account on my phone. You want to know why?
Now you're in trouble. Niki, you can do. Okay, I'm listening. I'm going to encourage you. So you have to stop.
You want to know why? Here's why. And this is just like an endemic issue. I currently work at WhatsApp. It's a small business, another one. And I'm logged into all that shit on my phone too, which is just bad, just awful operational security.
Sure.
All of the passwords for WhatsApp and most business, they're WhatsApp 123. All this shit is stored in like Google documents.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Like across the fucking board, like everywhere. And I thought that was like a small potato. No. The biggest companies in the world are just storing this shit in Google.
Matthew Rory would yell at me for storing stuff.
Exactly.
In right?
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Insulting or hashing your password.
Seriously?
IT department's going to get in there.
I was just saying, I mean, like, Zuckerberg. I mean, come on.
Come on, bud.
I'll just talk about it at the next barbecue. When he's,
when I see him next and he's definitely not getting choked out at a jiu-jitsu, I'll let him know.
Well, too busy thinking about his brisket.
Do you think he carries cash?
Oh my god.
I hope not.
Ooh,
Mark Zuckerberg,
$250. Really?
Yeah,
so
we were talking.
We could jump him.
We could jump him. We were talking the other night. We were talking about whether or not you could look at a person and determine whether or not they were carrying cash.
Oh, sure. Oh.
Oh.
Go.
Are you carrying?
Go for it.
Ooh,
Take your time.
okay.
Take your time. Think about it.
I think so.
I think
Are we doing
yes.
everyone in the same?
How much though? $60.
$200 in 20.
Oh my god, that's so much money.
Okay, look. I have ADHD. Does that help?
Okay, yeah, it does actually because I have ADHD and the idea of carrying cash to this fucking brain is so poison because then here's the thing.
So he does.
And let me know. You spend the money, you get more money back. That's actually
what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
You give somebody a $20
What am I supposed to do with
it's
this?
It's one thing, and they give you 6 pieces of paper back.
It's metal.
What the
I mean, I get it. It's too much pressure.
It's too much pressure.
Too much pressure. Yeah.
I don't carry cash. I had $2 bills in my wallet. I gave them all to the bartender.
See, come
I'm
to
so
Canada.
happy now.
Come to Canada. We also have coins that get added to that as well.
Yeah.
You gotta tell us.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, where from Canada?
Toronto.
The GTA! I know about Brampton. I know about GTA.
Mississauga. You do not want to be from
Oh, there's some other X's in there.
Mississauga, yeah.
Mississauga. Yeah. That's suburbia right there.
I've not carried cash in like 10 years, honestly.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
The idea of giving someone one piece of paper and receiving 6 pieces of paper back
I don't like it.
Is buck fucking
yeah. It's way easier for me to keep track of the little app on my phone telling me I spent some money than like
doing the counting.
Wallet even
You
exists.
don't carry cash.
I don't carry
No
cash.
cash.
So we shouldn't jump him.
Nah.
I don't even think
it's
it's
still jump.
I don't know.
We were also the big conversation of how can you tell if a person's carrying cash is Michael and I were trying to determine whether or not we could jump
somebody and take their money.
Somebody and take their money.
Yeah. Because if I
it would be very funny if you guys jump me.
I would feel really bad.
Yeah.
I don't think I would do it.
He has a family.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. I'm not trying to jump anybody with kids.
Oh, okay.
That's not true.
I mean, yeah.
That's not true. I won't lie on this.
Thank you, appreciate it. That's what matters.
I won't lie on this show.
Jumping people, whatever. Don't lie.
He doesn't make enough money.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Video games? Come on, man.
So I know how much Grodt makes.
Are you one that would jump and be like, it's just a joke, bro?
It's just a joke.
Just come in my ass.
It's for the game.
Wasn't there a video of somebody like doing a fake mugging or something? Like
Sure. Yes.
Recently? Yeah,
I
you
saw
saw
that. Yeah.
Recently? I feel like that happens all the time.
Every day.
You know what I'm saying?
It just shows how like which weird thing of TikTok we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, what weird part of TikTok are you in, Michael Higham?
I am not. You know what? I'm not really on TikTok. I'm on IG Reels and shit. I saw.
Wow.
You're old. I was about to say
that's the most beautiful thing you said on this couch.
You did not even need to tell on yourself.
Yeah.
We're on TV.
I still got it.
This is on C-SPAN.
Asian don't raisin, but also
You're right, but that doesn't mean you're not old.
Oh, okay. I mean, I went clubbing with Bless like a couple weeks ago.
Can I have permission to say that in the future, or am I not allowed to say
What?
that? Asian no raisin?
Ooh.
Just think about it. Think about it.
Yeah, we'll let that
I
sit.
give him permission.
Thank you, Jan.
Alright.
Wow, overridden by the council.
Here's the thing. You need to check who you say that to first.
Sure.
Because if they... Wait, how do I say this?
Yeah, no, just say how you were gonna say.
It's the best way you can start a sentence. How do I say this?
Okay, I can say this.
Yeah.
Because I'm Filipino. If they look Asian and have a Spanish last name, I have made the mistake in the past of assuming they're already Filipino. I lucked out with Jan. When Jason first introduced me, I was like, oh, Jan Ochoa.
You just roll the dice with your buddy?
First off, Jan is only Filipino boys, or no, Filipinos have the first name Jan. Ochoa, okay, I rolled the dice on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, that dude is Filipino. And I was correct.
Yeah, you got it.
Hey!
But that's not always worked out, huh?
Yeah, I talked to one of my homegirls who was here the other night, and she's, I don't want to say.
She's like, I'm from Arizona, asshole.
Well, she is Asian and half Mexican, and then she has a Spanish last name. So I thought she was Filipino. Damn. And then I think I said something in Tagalog to her. And
damn, that's tough.
She was like, shit, man, can't help you.
See, I'm blind. It's like you all look the same. Like
yes! We're getting canceled!
No, Steve was the first.
Yes!
God. Am I the only one that is allowed to say that now?
Yes, absolutely. That was literally yes. You just killed Jan.
And if you do try to cancel it, you're ableist. So there you go.
Hell yeah! Hey!
Christ.
Oh, man.
We achieved what we came here to achieve.
So anyway, Dying Light's pretty good. I like that game.
Yeah.
Doing our best, yeah.
Philip, what is the name of your game? I'm sorry, I can't remember. I had too much yerba mate.
Can I try some of that?
Yeah, man, it's up to you. My mouse been all over. It's your call, though.
Why is the cup like?
Wait, let me smell it.
Oh yeah, we can talk about it because I got nothing left. Yeah. Oh, he's gonna just eat
the grass.
This is the.
Can I smoke that?
No, you have
Hey, I promise you have from your bad weed dealer. You definitely have smoked this before.
I never had a bad weed. I was not a bad weed dealer.
So this is like the tea leaf on top, and you pour the hot water on. It goes down here through here. Yeah, and then you drink it through this metal straw, and you get fucked up. Yeah.
Oh, it's alcohol.
No,
it's weed.
It's the most caffeinated.
It's drugs.
No.
It touches your blood and it's drugs.
It's definitely drugs. Caffeine's a drug, yes.
Well, yes.
But it's just caffeine.
Everything is drugs.
Nice.
Yeah,
I know
you
that.
should totally pass it around.
Let's go.
I have two questions.
Just light it up.
Can I smoke that?
I'm not going to stop
can,
you,
but
but
you
I
definitely shouldn't.
The second question: Can
actually, I
Barley,
think I'm taking this home. Christian got this for me.
No, dog.
All right. Speaking of which, let's talk about this part.
Let's talk about this child.
Yeah.
She's so sleepy. It's way past.
So
her
she's
bedtime.
been like just running around all night with you? Yes. I love that.
all week. I've been hanging out with Niki and Barley for like the past 4 days.
Yeah, I just moved, so she's like already kind of discombobulated because she's like, "Where are we?"
Right.
So we went out the other night, and I was like, I'm leaving her home, and I started to leave her, and I was like, nah.
At home,
and I was like, nah.
You felt bad?
She's coming. Yeah, I felt so bad.
She went.
She literally, yes. Can you? This child, America.
Don't wake him up.
This world
and Canada,
and everywhere else. There's a lot of people speaking Spanish.
Yeah, that's hey, the Argentinians who brought this drink, they're in chat. Absolutely.
Oh,
Was that why there was
Oh yes.
How's that person feel about the Inter Miami stuff? Did you ask them?
Yeah, football is a great sport.
You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
I love feet.
I can't say.
I really don't actually.
Oh, no, I would not. Hey,
you can't just take that back.
Let's play games.
Now we know what he watches on
like
IG.
That man right there.
That man loves feet.
That man basically is a
Mike
human
Mahardy.
That dude means Zuri.
I'm all right with feet.
Sick.
I think it's all right.
Thank you.
Are feet all right with you?
Yeah, I think so. I can get on board. Anyway, this dog, I can't say no to her.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, you can't leave without me. And I was like, you know what, Barley, you're right. I can't leave without you.
Why is this dog so small and yet so quiet?
You're right.
It's what they're bred to do.
That was a question.
Actually, that's not true. They're meant to be really loud.
Yeah, I don't get it. She was, when we got her in 2020, if you can believe it, I adopted a dog during the pandemic. I think I'm
That's
very
shocker.
special.
The big
very special, very unique.
Boop, 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 boop.
Booper, do it.
I'm gonna fall off this chair.
You did it.
Oh.
She was very anxious and sad all the time.
She ate birds.
And she did that like 2 weeks ago. She found there was a bird that was hanging out, and then Barley scared the bird, and the bird flew into the garage door and hurt itself. And Barley was like, "Time to go in for the kill." And I was like, "You can't do that. We can't fight birds today."
I think you adopted a cat.
I legitimately and honestly, she is more cat-like than she is dog-like.
Big yawn.
Big yawn.
Oh, sleepy.
But yeah, she's perfect. She's perfect and an angel, and I love you very much. And you're on TV.
Oh, little baby. All right, let's.
You look like a little old man.
Let's say goodbye to this sleepy little puppy. Let's say goodbye to this sleepy man, at least for a little bit. I'll be back for one last panel.
I cannot believe that.
I can't either. Niki, you should have stopped me.
Well, listen, I don't work here.
Yet.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Epic Games.
Till the next panel in about. We're going to take a quick break. We will be right back. Till then, have a good one. Thanks to these kids. See you soon. It's time to wind down. It's time to take her easy. We've done a lot of hard work. So I want to bring on some friends and just relax. Listen, things got off the rails last night, and we're not going to repeat that. We're not going to do that again. So we're just going to take it easy tonight.
We're all looking for the guy who's responsible.
It was the first night. Energy was really high. There was
Yes.
a lot of moving parts, a lot of running around.
We had the windbag on, and he was get fueling us. We don't have him tonight. We still miss him. Shout outs to him, though. _windbag.
Love you, windbag.
Be sure to definitely follow him on Twitch. Just an absolute legend. But tonight, we're a little wiped. I'm a little wiped.
Let's wind it down. I
just kind of want to talk to my friends.
I got back last night after we had a bit of a raucous final segment last time. And, you're buzzing. It's like, my mom was a waitress and she would come home at 2:30 in the morning and, be exausted, but she couldn't sleep. It was that.
Yeah.
So let's just prepare ourselves.
Right, yeah. Shut the fuck up. Give me my duck.
It's your catchphrase. Do you want to get your shit in again and say his name?
Quackaga.
He's very proud of it.
He's proud of a joke, you know it.
I know. We were sitting back there during that last segment, and I was very excited by his reaction to it. And I told him to stop doing what he was doing so we could do it here.
Yeah, okay.
When you guys were talking about how much money you carry in the wallet, I was like, I pulled out my wallet because I don't know, and so I was kind of counting mine. And just from his reaction of how much he thought he had, I was like, just fucking put your wallet away. Grub knows both of us. Let's just guess here.
Okay, I'm guessing how much money you each have?
Cash in our wallet.
Well, yeah,
right
cash.
now.
Cash, okay.
On our person.
I think, Dan, that you probably have about $80. I think you're going to have around 80. I think you have travel money, and I think it's you probably went to an ATM right before.
Okay. I'll do mine, and then we'll move on to him.
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
And there's several pockets here. I just want to make sure it's okay. Here's mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure we see that license.
You said 80?
Yeah.
I'm a pro. All right. We got a 20, 5, 6.
Don't people get
7,
mugged in this city?
8 for $28. You get mugged. All right. So you were low. You're high.
I was way high.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I got $28. Now I honestly don't know how much he has, but his reaction made me laugh a lot. So, how much do you think he has?
I think Mike has. Listen, based on hearing he laughed and how much you had there, I'm going to say he has $200.
Okay. I'm going to find out here too. Let's go.
Bring
it out.
I don't know if I want to bring it out. It's.
Oh, now you have
over
to.
There. I said save it for the segment. I was fine with it.
Hide it behind the duck, and then I'll.
It's going to look obnoxious. It's too much.
Oh, let's fucking go.
What do you think it is? Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, fucking save it.
We're winding down here on Giant Bomb at
Okay.
night, Summer Game Fest.
I want actual guesses though.
That $200 was my guess. What do you mean?
Jan, what's your guess?
I'll do 201.
Jan, what's your guess?
Oh,
Yeah.
you piece of shit.
Whoa, 350. All right.
Oh my God,
this guy's buying a launch PS2 here.
There aren't any more cards.
That is
my
so
God! Wait,
big.
stop!
You know
Show
how
the
much-
camera your wallet.
you know how much
no,
this stands
the
a
money
wallet.
at the top.
You're gonna dox.
Oh, because I never spend it. Because like every.
Why do you carry that much?
I don't know. My dad is such a like old like Italian like Godfather. Like, oh, you need a little money to make sure you're like, not gonna die. You know, every time I see him, he gives me a 20.
Did he do that before you left for this trip?
What? Oh no, this was wrong. I helped him landscape, so he gave me like some.
We were walking to dinner, and he's like, "Do you guys remember when you're on a kid and you're on the plane, and they give you the coloring book every single time?" And it's like, how many times do you think I was on a plane as a kid?
I was like, that's right. My dad was a doctor.
My dad was a doctor. And he did,
Well, I didn't want to do. All right, fine. All right.
Yeah, I told you over there.
Well, here's the 50 out of the.
I'll hold it here. I'll hold it.
Can someone else count? All right.
Yeah.
So 50 plus 20, 70.
Yeah, Dan will count.
70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 170. I'm about to win. 190.
Yes, you're gonna win.
Jesus, so 210. 250. Why?
Someone better walk me back to my hotel room.
290. Whether Jan's gonna win this. The fucking 310.
Oh my God, Jan.
330.
Oh, no, it's going. There's so much in there.
What the fuck? 370. What are you doing? 390. Oh my God! Fucking 410.
It tells you to stop.
430. 450. 450. What the fuck are you doing? 47.
There's a government.
510.
Why?
You have to declare this.
520. We're down to tens. 520.
There's a government.
Oh, jeez, Mitch.
What do you mean there's a limit?
They will tell you can't carry that much cash.
I gotta go buy something.
Oh, Jesus
You think I
Christ.
can buy that dog?
Wait, how much do you think a dog costs? You have a dog.
If you do it in Italian Godfather accent, this dog, I need
I'm
this
kind
dog.
of mad about that dog. My dog is also like little. I'm gonna bring my dog here.
No.
It would shit all over the place and bark a lot.
Hey, not like
Give me my money back.
What I did?
Why did I actually just hand Dan $500 in cash?
Hey, someone's on the floor.
Am I the biggest idiot in the world?
Oh, man.
Mike, talk about our Uber driver.
And that was a live mugging on Giant Bomb.
I think that's all of it. Count it.
Wait, your Uber driver?
Oh yeah, I went on the Uber with Jan. We had this. He's like, "Hey, Mike, this guy's got 5 stars on Uber." I was like, "Yeah, whatever that means. Who cares?" This guy was so, I think, gregarious is the word.
Good word.
Very lovely.
Chatty. Yeah.
He's telling a lot of funny stories. He's making fun of his like wife's like husband. And he's like, "Oh, my dad said he was worse than nothing. He was half of nothing." Then he started talking about his sister's breasts a lot, but not in a weird way. It was really funny because
Is there a not weird way?
Well, they're very big, you see, and the husband was like real short. So at the wedding, the sight line, like he was just like this. It was a very low cut dress. Apparently, his grandmother was like, tell him to stop staring at her chest, and everyone started laughing. You know, it was a good time. I'm better than all of you because I have more money. Give me that.
How long have you guys known each other?
We've known each other for 11, 12 years now.
All right, I'm going to do a test here. If I ask you to, I'm going to do 3, 2, 1, and you both have to say a thing.
Oh, no.
Like a noun or thing, a place, just a movie, a fucking anything.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And you're both going to say something, and then on the next one, you got to try to meet in the middle. So let's say you say forest and you say sky. On the next one, it's 3, 2, 1. Maybe you both say nature. You know, like to meet in the middle. This is Tim Turry taught me this, and it's a fun thing.
Complicated.
How long do you think it would take? How many rounds do you think it would take you guys to meet?
I don't know.
I'd like way more than what is normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like Bonk and I have done it, and like we've done it before in like 2.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be way more than normal.
Okay, so just get a thing in your head. Get a thing in your head.
Did somebody already make? No, Ben Starr thought we looked like twins and pointed out that we're dressed basically the same. I was like, are we really that close now that we're just dressing the same by accident?
All right, so you have confidence in that we're going to be able to get it quickly?
You think under 5? Under 5?
No, I think I'm going to get frustrated with them, and it's going to actually push us further
We're
away.
going to go until you get there. Okay.
Okay.
Think of a thing. Think of a thing. Okay.
Okay, just anything.
Wait.
A noun, a movie, a person, a place,
Okay.
just a thing.
Doesn't
okay?
matter. It's that simple.
Yeah. Okay. You have one?
Yes.
You have one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. At the same time, I'm going to do 3, 2, 1. Then you both say it. 3, 2, 1.
Dog.
Epcot and dog. Okay. Okay. You ready? Mm-hmm. 3, 2, 1.
Pluto.
Here's the thing too, you can't repeat stuff.
Yep, no shit. Okay.
You ready?
See, I'm already so bad at it.
We're getting there.
I was thinking it was a 50-50.
We're gonna get.
Wait, hang on. I lost it. I had it, now I lost it. Okay.
All right, ready?
Don't think it's too hard.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Max.
Mickey Mouse.
What did you say?
Max. That's Goofy's son. He's also a dog.
You piece
Okay,
of
we're on 3 rounds. We
Okay,
got
I
Max
got it now.
and Mickey Mouse. What do you got?
I thought I said Minnie Mouse.
I said Mickey.
Oh, well, I guess I can't say Minnie now. Okay, I got it.
Okay. Max and what was yours?
It was Mickey Mouse.
Okay, you ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Donald Duck.
Yeah,
there we go.
That was good. That was good. All right, you guys are friends.
We almost had it right away.
Yeah, that was really close.
We almost had it in one.
It was roll the dice for sure. But
That was really good.
dog, you got to say the actual animal.
Yeah, I guess you're probably right.
See, I'm just gonna get mad at him.
No, you're 1,000,000% correct for sure. Oh no.
Hello. No, absolutely.
We were talking about dogs.
We were talking about your dog. I was saying I was very
It's
jealous.
a really cute dog.
My
oh my God! I know the dog was in the bag.
I have. What if I told you?
Oh, Barley! I didn't even see you.
If I told you I had $500 in cash, would I be?
Would
I
I
be
have
buy the dog?
$510 in cash?
On you?
Yes!
You didn't see that?
Isn't that insane?
I'm getting Higham.
Yeah. Okay. Get Higham. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Let's get him to guess.
Yes,
Let's
they
get
were
him to guess.
literally. They were literally talking about mugging me like a half hour ago.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, that was the impetus for the. Is impetus
That's why I was,
the word? That was.
that's why I was laughing because they
Sure.
well, you probably have
I
like
think so.
200 in there.
Jeez.
I can buy myself something nice. What's
Fighting you
Wait,
right
don't say how much it was. Don't say. Hey, how much do you think he has on him right now?
I know how much he has on.
You saw it? Okay.
I heard.
Okay. It's way too
traveling
much.
around.
It's way
It's
too much
entirely
money,
too
Mike.
much.
That's too much money.
What should he buy?
Wait,
Or what should you
You trying
guys
to
buy
buy a
when you
launch
mug him?
PS5?
That's a really
What?
good price.
Where are you going tonight? Where are you staying at?
Yeah, tell Twitch.
You on Fandom Dime?
No, I'm not actually. I don't work with it.
What floor do you stay at?
You'll never know. What do you got in your fucking
Oh, sorry.
Wait, why do you have just a whole chicken thing on your knife?
Because
He's got hands.
Jen, are they getting on the mic?
I got.
Are we
hands.
good?
Yeah. You're on the boom.
Cool.
Oh, okay,
guys.
cool. Jen, do we have snacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
What you need?
I think Mitch. It's been a while. No. Jan's got something for Mitch here. So, Mitch, no pressure here.
Oh, fuck yes, dude. We're
get-
eating food.
It's not an apple. I made sure it's not an apple. I told him that's a shoot thing that you don't want any part of. Mitch, come here.
There's no apples.
Mitch, there's no apple. I'm not kidding. I asked Grub. I said, "Hey, would this be good?" He said, "As long as it's not an apple, because that's a real phobia. There's no apples here." Mitch, you don't have to
Get that out of here!
Mitch, just give.
Hey, I'll take that strawberry though.
I'll sit
Well, hang
back
on. I want to see.
down.
I want to give him a chance, and then Mitch,
Hey,
look
okay.
at it.
Like, is there any like rules we can establish?
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
would
yeah,
sit
no.
down where the fruit is here, but not like near you.
Any real like I'm
And
no
we-
I want it
pressure.
back with jam.
Or no, we're not allowed to move it back near you, but it could like maybe be on the table.
No.
What?
Damn.
Back with jam.
No.
I already showed you my wallet.
Where is it now?
He's right.
Wait, can I have that strawberry though?
You really?
No, I
you won't
think
try
so.
any of them?
And you thought I was gonna eat one of them?
I
thought I was gonna eat something from there. I didn't want it near me.
I was under the impression
That's
apples were the
homophobic.
only no-go.
Yeah, but like,
No. They're like.
No. You said we're gonna chill out. You said we're gonna relax.
Sorry, I did something fucking crazy, like brought some watermelon around. Jesus Christ.
He's
Yeah,
fucking
he's real
We should
wild
jump
guy
him
over
and
there.
just not take his money.
All right, thank you, everybody.
on principle.
At least somebody's looking out for me.
There was a time earlier where I was talking to Jeff and talking to Kenny Omega feel about maybe you would eat like a banana if Kenny Omega
Kenny
fed it to
Omega's
you.
aware of this bit.
That was like there was like a 50% chance that Kenny Omega was going to feed you a banana today.
Way lower than 50 that I would eat it from him.
From Kenny?
Lower than 50%.
Oh yeah.
Would it be higher than if I tried?
That's powerful.
What?
Would it be higher than if I tried to get
Wait,
you?
there would be a
to
whole
eat?
yeah.
there would be
Okay.
a whole platter, and you would be allowed to choose from Kenny Omega holding a tray, shirtless.
Would he have to feed you?
I was picturing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny would like feed it so weirdly. I love Kenny, but he would be weird with that. He'd do something real weird. He'd mush it in there. He could really get his fingers involved. They might like touch my like not.
His fingers
Hey,
on
yo.
the fruit.
You're not eating the fingers, bro.
Yeah.
I'd rather eat Kenny Omega's fingers than whatever that was. I thought
Okay,
I
no,
saw
no,
some
no, okay.
watermelon.
A shoot question for
Yeah.
you. Okay, There's a watermelon here and severed Kenny Omega fingers. Which one would you
To be
eat
clear,
first?
I meant like Kenny Omega like put his finger in her mouth. I'm not gonna.
Oh, let's just okay. We'll do
I'm
that.
not gonna be a cannibal, Dan.
Well, I don't know the depths of your situation.
Okay, so sorry, Dan.
Yes.
Are you saying that the further away from eating fruit you are, the closer you are to eating human?
No.
No.
He's just saying that like he said he would rather eat Kenny Omega's fingers. He just said that.
So I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to figure out this man's brain. I've known him for a year or less.
Yeah.
And I've just been trying. I've gotten to know him pretty
well.
well.
What's the monetary value for it?
Monetary value for he's $510 exactly right now.
Oh, I thought it was 520.
That was 520. I'm not doing it for 510.
I think $10,000 is reasonable.
No. If we said here's $5,000 cash and you eat every fruit in that bowl that we just
That's half of what I wanted. Yeah, wait, what'd you say?
In that bowl to eat everything in that little bowl.
Everything for $5,000? You're out of your mind.
I'll do it right now.
It's a different situation.
And do you know how basic my needs are? Do you know how happy
money
I
he
am?
has in his wallet?
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's just the guy who's carrying $510
You
around.
have nothing to offer me.
Are you the fucking Joker?
I have everything I got. I don't need your money, Dad. I got a Diet Coke. I got my fucking duck quackaga. I'm good to go.
Duck quackaga. It's got a new name?
My duck, comma
quackaga.
Keep up, Jeff. I know you're tired.
No, this is too much.
You'll be all right. I got mad at you guys in the middle of play day today.
Oh, tell me about it.
Well, I was RoboCop, that awful game. The controls were inverted, right? The camera wasn't inverted. It was funny. Never fixed it. I did the whole thing. For the first time ever today, I played like another first-person game on a controller. It's just normal controls, because of course. And I was struggling.
Really?
No way.
It wasn't like RoboCop.
He's only used to 2003 RoboCop now.
I was like getting real confused. It was that game. What's the one where you like take the pictures, you walk into the pictures. Everybody's really
Wyatt.
Mario 64.
Viewfinder. Yeah, it was really good.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. You just jump into pictures now.
Yes.
You're not wrong, Dan. I'm upset anyways. Like, you're not wrong.
So you think you're broken permanently?
I think it'll come back.
Sure.
But I couldn't believe I was struggling with it.
You're not broken. It's just like a temporary. Your mind is in a different
It's
space.
a phase.
You gotta reframe this negative language.
Just a phase, Mom.
I love this idea of like when he was like, "You have nothing. You can, like, what are your needs? What are the things like? If there's a meter in your life that's just like needs some topping off, like what is it?
I need internet. I need air conditioning.
Yeah. Those are the first two.
I get very hot. It's so hot in here.
Listen, Mike, I get you.
Yeah,
it's so fucking hot in here.
So far, I'm with
It is
them,
really
actually.
hot.
It's so hot in
My
here.
ears are burning.
Yeah.
But
like
his first two needs are internet and air conditioning.
like some video games. I get some of those right now. That's
So
fine.
if we took away air conditioning from your house and you like confined you to your house.
Oh no.
And we said we'll give it back to you permanently if you eat one piece of fruit.
Yeah, I might have to do that. I get hot. I couldn't live like that. I
Okay,
couldn't fall asleep.
okay.
If I'm warm, I
Same,
can't
dude.
fall asleep. Comforters. Get that shit out of here.
Yeah.
I have that little thin blanket, and that's all I
You ever
want.
do the weighted blanket? I got a weighted blanket. It's
That'd
good.
be too hot. I like the comfort of the weighted blanket, but I'd be hot.
Exactly. I can't wear a weighted blanket for longer than like 5 minutes.
What about like in the winter? Like in the winter, we open the windows. So
I
it's
live
like,
here.
Oh, okay, that'll do it. Yeah. Okay.
If I open the window, it'd get too cold. I don't know. I'm not doing that.
do you fuck with vegetables?
I could even, yeah, but I cook them like crazy.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Oh, they get cooked down like they're like mush and
Elaborate,
like,
please.
I cook out all that vegetable flavor. That's nasty.
Okay, you're.
All
You
the
are,
nutrients.
You are on
Get 'em outta here.
Iron. You are on Iron Chef America. Every
Love that
vegetable.
show.
It's a great program.
Yeah.
Every vegetable is available to you, but you are being asked to cook one of them.
Sweet potato.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the one that barely counts as a vegetable.
I did say
It's like
potato,
it's
but
like
I
a
get
French
laughed
fry.
at. I get laughed at by saying potatoes. They said sweet potato. That's orange. That's practically a carrot.
I'm not a farmer. What's the fanciest meal you've ever had?
Oh no! So when I go to like So Disney World actually has
fucking
Jesus.
I was waiting for it. So I know what the next.
The fucking 6 degrees of separation with him and Disney.
I knew what the next 2 words were going to be.
I feel like I can say a noun.
Like, can't wait for this.
I can say a noun. And how many? Okay, 6 degrees of separation. Ladder.
Your what, ladder?
Yeah, get ladder to Disney.
How do you get to and probably Epcot?
That immediately made me think of the fire truck and the fire station in Disneyland.
And there's also one in Toontown, right?
Yeah, but
damn, it's like every day I talk to him, and it's like we're gonna talk about Epcot within a couple. He started to spare me. I can tell. He's like,
I had to hold back.
I'm not gonna bring it up right now.
For it.
Yeah,
it wasn't cute. There's very nice restaurants in Disney World, and
okay, non-Disney, fanciest non-Disney restaurant ever.
Well, we go to Cheesecake Factory all the time.
I'm not too good for Cheesecake Factory.
When I go to like a nice restaurant, I do sometimes. I get much more adventurous when I'm doing like one of those. Like I'll eat Brussels sprouts, for example. You can give me a Brussels sprout.
They're good.
That's fine.
Shit.
But vegetables, seriously, vegetables like way better. Like I could
You
try.
don't
I
like the
could be near.
juices.
If you brought out a bowl of vegetables right now, I wouldn't like storm off like I did. I would even like if you told me to eat one, I would do it.
There's some similarities here with like Ben Hansen, because if I go to a steak place with Ben Hansen and say, "How would you like your steak?" he says, "Burnt to a crisp."
No. Does he put ketchup on that?
I don't know if he does, but he literally says burnt to a crisp.
No, like, seriously, aside from the fruit stuff, I think like I'm relatively normal food.
What has been like afraid of like the salmonella or something or what?
No, I don't.
Is he squeamish about like?
Likes it that way.
Oh, okay.
I get
if you
that.
see red meat, like
I totally get that. I mean, could literally never be me.
Sure,
could never be me, but I get it.
Is it that people who think that like the pink like stuff come out as blood and not just like the meat enzyme juice? That
There's
it's not
drugs
blood.
in there.
It is blood.
It's not blood. It's not blood.
It's hemoglobin.
It's blood,
you know what I'm
right?
saying?
It's blood.
It's
Yeah, it's blood.
It's got hemo in it, bro.
It's not blood.
It's like
What do you wait?
Is
Are you
it
trying to convince
hemoglobin
yourself it's not
blood?
blood?
It's not blood. It's just the. It's just
Because
water.
I am not a food doctor.
it's
so
one of the
I-
crafting materials for blood.
Yeah, you
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
have
yeah.
Tears
you
of
gotta
the
have
Kingdom.
2 hemoglobin.
It's mats.
Yeah.
It's just mats. Yeah.
A rock salt.
A rock salt. Yeah, that's
I'm looking it
not
up.
blood.
I'm looking it up. All right.
It's not
You guys-
blood.
you guys-
wait, and the wheat, and that gives you a
Yeah.
blood soda.
Wait, am I crazy or is he being him?
I'm looking it up. You guys keep talking.
Oh, the red is blood.
Here's the red
Mike,
stuff.
do you know that?
It's blood. Yes, it's blood.
It's
It's not.
Mike, did you know that Brussels sprouts they fixed them?
Did they like do some like food science like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are they
Okay.
work?
Okay. Well, stop.
They
Stop.
are
Stop. Stop.
literally,
Stop. Okay.
yes.
Their work?
Yeah.
Stop. Okay. Everyone who's up here, is the red stuff from like a steak blood?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
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 No.
No. Just wait. No laughing.
It is not blood.
Oh, fuck off,
That's
bro.
not.
Even the rarest and reddest of steaks
Jan's
is
coming in,
actually
Jan.
is actually bloodless.
It's about time.
Yes.
It's
Actually, bloodless.
Suck it. Do the suck it. Yeah. There we go.
Whoa. TOS.
Shut up.
Jump this dude. That was disgusting.
Okay, where does the blood go?
I knocked off my mic.
I just
There it
googled
is.
it. I'm
It's
not
like
a
alcohol.
food
You
doctor.
cook it out.
It's not blood.
Wait, okay, hold on.
It's a combination
what
of
do you
water,
think it is?
with meat
which makes
stuff.
up about
It's
75%
water.
of the meat and protein found in muscle tissue called myoglobin.
Myoglobin.
Not hemoglobin.
Not
That's why-
hemo, so
yeah.
it's your fault that I
Fuck y'all.
Yeah,
They,
this is
you know what they
Hyam's
say,
fault.
like, oh, humans are made of like 7% water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is like just like naturally in your muscles, and it's also in meat, and it's what
blood.
like makes meat juicy is like that water content mixed
But
with all the
it's
other
not
meat
like they
stuff.
wring out the blood before they
That's
send it to the
Thank
restaurant.
you so much, Dan.
Blood isn't just like blood isn't like blood.
You're not saturated in blood.
Right. Blood is in your
That's
veins.
literally not true.
No, you're not. You're like your blood is in your veins.
Yeah.
Like it's not in your like it's not like.
Oh, it's not in your muscles. I
It's
guess.
not like
Damn.
it does. It's not your muscles aren't sitting in a vat of blood. That's not what's
blood.
happening.
Mike
in your
is
body.
so ridiculous.
Are all the muscles or the blood in the veins?
Yes, all of it.
Wait,
Oh,
so
I
if
should know
if
this,
I
yeah.
chopped off
I
a little
hate-
part of my arm and
I
didn't
don't
hit a vein,
know.
there's no blood?
Yeah,
If I barely
Dan's
nicked it,
you're right.
if I get a paper cut,
You're
blood
right.
comes
I
out.
don't know.
Thank you.
You're right.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Because you have a lot of veins and capillaries, so yes, you're going to hit one of them if you do a cut anywhere in like the surface of
I
the
have like
skin.
3 veins here. If you paper cut
Okay,
me here,
those
I'm
are
gonna
your
Yeah,
veins.
he's still
My
weak. He's
dad's a
still
doctor.
weak. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
My dad's a
I
doctor.
know this. I know this about the food because I can't stop watching food YouTube instead of going to sleep. That's why I know this.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Yeah,
Food
fair.
YouTube rules. Who's your favorite food YouTuber?
Ooh, I have a lot of.
Jan said no. We can't.
Why we can't?
Oh, is that like promoting?
What?
Why can't we say that?
Oh, you can do whatever you want. I just
Oh.
don't think you'd be the best food YouTuber.
Owen Hahn.
why is that, Jan? Elaborate. Wait a minute. Mike, would you eat Dole Whip?
Yeah, I just had some.
That's fruit.
Yeah, but that's like Disney
No,
fruit.
okay, yes, fruit. Yeah. Come on, Emma, come on.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
All right.
Oh my God.
Did you hear him? He said, yeah, but that's Disney fruit.
Okay. Literally.
I don't have to be here.
That's what my dad called
No,
me.
but okay.
It's Disney fruit. Did you hear that?
I met Mike.
Disney fruit. Yeah.
Literally, we were driving in my car the other day. We went to pick up our badges for Summer Games Fest. Mike says something about some sort of fruit, and I'm like, "Do you just not eat that entire food group?"
Yeah, that's what I said. And I kind of scoffed at the term food
You
group.
can't be. Wait, that is scientifically irrefutable.
Yeah.
And secondly, you can't be a food. I mean, unless your whole shtick is I'm a food YouTuber who doesn't.
That's
eat
good.
fruit.
They don't, because I like the meat ones. I watch all the
I don't want to defend Mike, but I probably went through 5.5 years of college and didn't eat a fruit.
That can't
Or
be
maybe
true.
not a vegetable. Well, but here's the thing.
You went to the
grew
hospital
up
with scurvy.
a little bit, and I'll eat the occasional banana.
But fruit's not even that good for you anyway. So who
Actually,
cares?
I must tell you, this is a great little fun fact. You're like typical like cup of noodle or Nishin like ramen situation. If you put the seasoning packet in it, that actually has enough vitamin C in it to prevent you from getting scurvy.
Yeah, but vitamin C isn't fruit, right? It's just
No, it's just a component.
You want fruit because of the vitamins. And one, I do a multivitamin. I eat other food vitamins. The other thing is fiber. I have Crohn's. Fiber is bad for me. So there.
Fair enough. You got an excuse there.
Yeah.
When was the last time you just took a bite of a fruit?
It wasn't right now.
No, we tried. Yeah, you arranged a very nice platter.
Thank
yeah.
you.
Raw fruit?
Yeah, when was the last time you just took a
Mike,
bite
can I-
out of a fruit?
Can I eat the fruit?
Yeah.
That's what I asked, and Dan said no.
Wait, is he gonna
Why?
leave?
I don't know.
Well, I at the time I thought he might play ball.
Oh no!
But now we can go to town. Yeah.
Serious time.
Yeah.
If you're at a dinner with your family,
Yeah.
and someone's eating fruit, you're gonna leave.
No, but I'll be really mad and uncomfortable and like I won't like it.
Really mad?
Mad is not at them. I get it. I understand it's weird, but I will not like the situation. And since I'm comfortable with Jeff and know him, I will politely ask him to not eat fruit in my presence.
Have you ever confronted your family members about eating fruit in front of you?
Oh yeah,
If Mikey ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. It's literally their family motto.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you like fruit flavored things?
Some of them, like
candy?
Skittles.
Like Skittles.
Yeah,
okay.
but not that green apple Skittle. They got that shit out of it. They brought
lime
lime back. Let's fucking go.
No. Guys, even wrong with that.
Yeah, no, I agree with
Wow.
They
what
taste
about
the same.
what about like Starburst?
Yeah, Starburst is
Okay,
fine.
all right,
No,
all right.
hang on. You're just straight up wrong
Even
about
then,
that.
sometimes I don't have that much of a sweet tooth in general, really.
Yeah, I don't really.
Much
Do we have
more.
Skittles in this building?
Nobody
But
on
we have
this planet.
we don't, but we have Starburst.
Oh, okay. He thinks green apple and lime Skittles taste the same.
Nobody on
Super
this
don't.
planet is eating one Skittle at a time.
No. Well, I've done it just to test my hypotheses.
That's nuts. You're eating like 4 of them at a time.
And then they all just taste the same.
conservatively,
That's
and then
exactly what it
they're
is.
all gonna go in your fucking mouth at the same time.
No,
100%
actually,
with you.
this is real. Whenever I get a bag of Skittles, which is frequent, I do. Here's what I do.
What are you
I
gonna
open
say?
it up. I
No
pour
one
it.
should think about Skittles this much.
Oh, I've got a whole. I could write a thesis paper on it. So I open it up. I pour the whole bag on the table, and I
The
will.
table
So here's what I do.
moves.
I decide what
You
is
have
the
dogs.
I thought you hated germs.
It's elevated.
Wait,
Okay.
so you like
Is he a germaphobe? I
curate
don't think so.
a Skittles
Seems
tasting
like it would be.
menu?
Yes,
No, he's
exactly.
bacteria. He hates
So
bacteria.
I decide that like I want the last bite to be the best one. So I
Sure.
decide
That's
like
normal.
okay, so let's
Yeah,
do
that's
2
fine.
reds, 2
I do that with
purples,
Starburst.
and
So
yeah, exactly.
I do
Yeah,
that with
it's a
Starburst
red and a
as well.
pink at the end every single time.
100%.
Not
Yes.
purple?
We're talking Starburst. It's not Wildberry. We're talking like.
Oh, my
four.
bad. I thought it was Skittles.
Yeah, no.
Minus
Skittles, 2 red, 2 purple, 1 yellow. Everything else, we can do like, okay, here's a couple. You can get wild with it a little bit there, but I'm going to end with the best one always. But no, I plan out a whole timeline of my Skittles experience.
I don't play. It just happens. I'm like, without even thinking. This is like my id. Just like the red's going over here, and I'll get to that last.
Yeah, if you pour the whole bag in your mouth, you're gonna have a good time. But like, I prefer to take my time.
Yeah, it's a real fucking party in the mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dan,
Oh,
what is
shit.
happening?
Dan wants
It's the socks. It's okay.
Dan really wants to.
to be a feet finder.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
it's
he can't
not
help
no
himself.
Wiki
Yeah.
feet. Wiki feet.
Oh, we're not talking about that again.
Again?
Oh wait! Oh shit!
You just saw your feet.
Socks are fine.
I know, but
Socks are fine. Keep them to yourself. Don't give away your bare feet for free.
That already happened.
Wear them if he goes barefoot.
That's my advice to the internet. No, but what Dan is saying is that like he doesn't want to experience the rainbow all at once. He wants to really
It's a
like
good time to
taste
taste
the
the rainbow.
components
Yeah.
of the
Taste the
rainbow.
rainbow.
Yeah.
I like a curated experience. It's like, you know, you ever go to like a prefix place?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they are curating it. A chef knows exactly.
Yeah,
like it's
sure.
that, but I'm doing it for
Yeah,
myself.
I just
like
want to listen to the throat and pour the
tasting.
rainbow down my throat all at
Dan,
once. It's Pride
I
Month, baby.
appreciate
Yeah.
both of you for supporting the community. during
Yeah, absolutely.
Pride.
Pride Month, baby.
Thank
Let's
you
go.
so much.
100%. Absolutely.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm here for you.
Is this a joke about penises?
Whoa. Well, it depends on who you ask.
Depends on who you ask, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, Barley, you can't. No!
Good job. Good job. Go for it. Yeah.
Oh, Barley.
I'm like,
Can
No!
I'm kind of
I don't think she can taste it. No, she can't taste
like a
it.
fork behind
Sure.
the cup?
Yeah, so
Okay.
when I went outside to get Michael after we were talking about whether or not we were going to jump Mike, depending
Sure.
on how much money he had,
Yeah.
I went out there and I saw Michael looking at the TV out there with this wing on a knife. And he told me earlier when we were eating the
I thought it
wing
was
together,
boneless.
it was boneless. And
No,
he told
it's
me
not.
he took a whole
yeah.
ass bite out of it and met bone.
Yeah, bone
Ken,
zone.
You're Ken Bone now.
No.
Remember that guy?
Is he still alive? Didn't
I think about him way too much.
Didn't he like
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Didn't he beef
That
it?
election?
What's that?
Was it
That's
Ken
the
Bone
Hillary
that beefed it?
election,
Yeah, I
right?
think so, yeah.
Ken
Yeah.
Bone.
You know, you kind of look like Ken Bone.
Wow, that's one of the
fucked
meanest things
up.
that anybody has ever said on this program.
Okay, you're right, I'm sorry.
I've been watching this shit for as long as it has been on.
I still want to be his friend. I don't want to ruin it. We got to stop.
Wait, can he dress as Ken Bone tomorrow for the last day?
Oh. Gotta hit that.
I'm
Jason
sorry,
Penny
Mike. I
get
don't
the
mean it. I
eyes
just
on.
thought it would be funny. Now I realize it was really mean.
You take that
Photoshop,
back.
do your
I take it
thing.
back, I'm sorry.
Photoshop, please.
No.
At Tolkoto, Tolkien
Get that
Miyamoto.
eyes
I'm putting my
Do
shoes
they know
back
about the name?
on.
No, you don't have to put the shoes
Do you
back
guys know
on.
the name? Do you guys know the Twitter name?
You know, there's
Socks. Mitch.
No.
Hey,
Oh,
socks
yeah,
are
yeah,
below
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Oh, you do. Do you know where Tolkoto comes from?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Underneath
yeah.
the couch.
Okay. Okay. You both
Should be
okay.
socks.
Okay.
What socks?
From the swag bag.
Y'all got
Put the
swag.
socks on?
I'm just saying they're there. You do what
Yeah,
you got to do.
I brought a pair of socks in case things got weird with you.
That's my.
They're under your seat right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's where I planted them.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I miss about being in games the most.
It's feet.
The feet?
Yeah, it's the feet, bro. No, it's the fact that I don't get free shit anymore.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the free shit now is just like 20 water bottles.
Yeah,
That's
no, it sucks
fine.
now.
Like reusable?
No.
No,
Yes,
yeah, but
that.
how many do you need?
But can I tell you that today I was walking with my lunch and I ran into Snowbike Mike, who was talking
I love
somebody
Mike.
from
Hey,
PA.
people like they just give all kinds of free stuff. $500 from Mike's wallet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was he was over by EA and I'm wandering and I've got my like burrito in my hand and they're like, would you like a shirt and a hat for skate? And I was like,
What?
I mean,
Oh,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
And then they were like, if you
Yeah,
write
you
down
can
your
work
name
on
and your
skate.
email address, we will also send you an actual skate deck.
What the fuck?
Whoa,
Oh,
wait.
And so I handed Mike my burrito and my chips so I could fill out an iPad, and
Sure.
now I'm getting a skate deck from Skate.
What the fuck? Let me back in. I need to get the fuck back in.
Wow, you
Let
guys
me
are all
back in.
really unethical, actually.
I'm out. I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah.
I'm right in the line.
It's just a gift for Marley.
Barley, yeah.
I'm not gonna get it right. I give up.
She's like that pit bull that can skateboard on TikTok.
Sure.
Oh my
Oh, that
god.
dog's dead.
Can I just tell you?
Jesus Christ, man.
Probably yes,
Definitely.
but in Thirsty Suitors, which I played today over at Annapurna,
Gang.
there was a scene where a dog gets on a skateboard. It was great. You like go and you can pet the dog, and then the dog hops on your skateboard, and then you high five the dog.
Hell yeah.
Game of the year.
Mike, do you think that dog's dead too?
You know, no, that's a working dog. That's a big dog.
Okay.
You know, I kind of like roll my eyes whenever they're like we can pet the dog. Now I'm a little over it.
Wow,
I'm like,
that
all
dog's
right,
name was Rocky.
Yeah.
cute.
Actually, I think Mike needs to leave.
I
like dogs.
Disney adults like I don't like cozy things.
I like real dogs. That's a good dog. Like it's like you're not. You taking the
Yeah,
duck.
you don't get the. It's
Oh.
my duck.
Does the
Yeah.
duck
Oh,
have
is
a
it?
name?
Yeah.
You know the duck's
Yeah,
name?
he gave it a name.
No.
Quackaga.
No.
Quack
Oh, no,
Quackaga?
that's not what I
Like
asked.
in Final Fantasy.
Let me ask again. Does Square Enix have a name for that duck?
I don't know. I played Foam Stars. I didn't see a duck, so I don't know.
How was it?
I liked it, actually.
Oh,
I mean, it's definitely very Splatoon, obviously, but there's some stuff that's different. Like, because you can, like, get vertical with the foam, right? Stuff like that. And you don't, like, reload in the foam. So we're talking about a video game.
What are you doing? What website do you think you're on?
Here's what I critically think about these stars.
Some analysis from Mitch Tokoto.
Yeah, that's fine. I like better than fine. I liked it.
Mitch Tokoto, neither of which are his names.
Well, who can say? We don't know. Let's see his giant wallet to find out.
Niki, you know what Tokoto stands for, right?
Yeah. Tolkien and Miyamoto.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I want to find.
We forgot to tell Snowbike Mike that yesterday. I don't know how it slipped their mind.
You were making your coffee table book.
Yeah, I was about to. I think I was about to tell them.
What the hell is that shit that the Argentinians gave you?
This is yerba mate. It is tea.
It's just stuff in there.
No, there's tea in there.
That is not the stuff you're drinking. That's the stuff on top, and the water goes through it.
This
is how all drinks are made. You put stuff in there.
I know about how tea.
I'll defend him. I
know
also
about
am
how
confused by tea and coffee.
Okay, so the hot water goes through there. It gets the flavors and the essence and the nutrients, and then it goes down in the little goblet.
But here's the thing: is it really a different thing, or is it just it's water that just went through a thing? It's like water goes through a faucet. It's not like faucet juice.
Everything you drink is mostly water. Even that beer.
Everything you drink is mostly
Everything
water.
is mostly water.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want from me?
You are mostly water.
Well, I know that. Okay, what is the drink that is the least water? What is the drink?
There is no drink. All drinks are mostly water.
They're not all the same amount of water.
No, but
no.
What's the least water?
That's right. That's correct.
Yeah, what's the least water drink?
Damn. Define
drink. What?
Gravy.
Oh, gravy? That's not a
Gravy
drink.
is
That's not a drink.
You can say drink gravy.
Okay.
broth.
So anyway,
A
yerba mate. It's just tea.
But there's wood. There's wood chips.
What the fuck are you talking
not
about?
good.
Wait, I don't know.
Look at that. That's wood
Wait.
chips.
No, that is leaves. I mean, listen, it's from like a
It's all plants.
It's Argentinian weed.
Dan, tell me that's not wood chips in there.
It's
Look
not
closely.
wood chips.
Look, you see?
Have you seen wood chips?
Have you ever seen?
It's
Wait,
wood.
It's wood.
It's sticks, which are made of wood. So,
Yeah, see?
Not wrong.
it looks honestly
Damn,
looks
I
like
love this
a
guy.
weed is what it looks like. But
Yeah.
But you're not a
There's
sinner.
green parts for sure,
Yeah.
but there's also like wood chips in there.
Yeah.
They're
What
not
does it
wood
smell?
chips.
Gun to my
they're
head, I
leaves.
would say it's wood.
Yeah.
It's
There's
dry-
nothing wrong with that. I like cinnamon. That's wood.
It's dried out leaves. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then
wood.
and then wood. Sure.
If they're
okay,
dried out,
whatever.
how are
Look
they
at it.
retaining flavor that
Okay.
can like travel through water?
No, the water travels through it, and it just picks up like what?
And
You
it
think
pulls
you
it
put
out.
dirt is dry? You're gonna pour water through dirt, and nothing's gonna happen? What do you mean?
It'll get brown on the other side, but you're not. And it would taste
But
weird. It would taste weird.
Yeah,
No, it's like
that's
it's
good
you.
dirt coming through.
Right. No, but I'm saying is like, okay, think about it this way.
Dan, yes. It's good tasting dirt.
That's
Yes.
coffee.
Yeah.
According to Cora, Everclear has at least 5% water.
Everclear.
Is that
right.
the least amount? That
There's
doesn't sound
alcohol.
much. That doesn't
pretty
sound
low.
much.
The least amount.
All right,
Wait, what's the rest of it then?
I fucked
How's
with
alcohol?
Everclear.
Grain alcohol, which I don't know what that means though.
How's it
Like,
wet?
is that corn?
I mean,
Alcohol is a liquid also.
So there's a lot of like
I'm
gasoline is a fluid. Like
I'm
yeah.
ass.
Yeah.
Hit him with it.
I have a huge
Oh,
question.
probably, but not much.
Okay, here's the thing I've been thinking about. Like, is gasoline oil?
Oh no.
We're getting close. We're getting close.
We're so
We're
fucking
so close.
Well, here's the thing. No. My real question here is like, you hear all the
I'm
time
so
about like,
afraid of what
oh,
they're
there's a
working
bunch of
on
oil
back there.
here, and we're fighting wars over oil and stuff. And so
Sure.
obviously it's very valuable. And is that because? And I'm
oil-
trying to think, what is oil for? And the only thing I can come to is like, oh, it's got to be gasoline. It has to be involved
Yeah.
with oil.
Oil.
Yeah.
Gasoline is a
Right?
byproduct.
I'm gonna
of
fuck
oil,
you
yes.
up right now.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
That water bottle, oil.
Yes.
Yeah, I swear to God.
Any piece
Plastic.
of clothing
Plastic
that you
is
have
oil.
on your body
Yeah.
that isn't like 100% cotton or wool.
It's a
It's
plastic
oil.
product, which is a
Oil.
it is a petroleum product.
If you just wait, how
This
does
this duck
Kakaga.
probably
Oil.
Hey,
is
so
Oil.
you
at
know,
least 30%.
so you know at
oil.
dinner the other day, I was telling you how Saudi Aramco is the richest company in the history
we
of
were
the world.
talking about this?
Yeah.
Yes, we
together.
were. This is why. Yes.
Yeah.
How does oil turn into ducks?
Machine.
It's a product.
Machine.
Not like shoot ducks. It's working ducks.
Real work.
I'm like, hey, we're gonna buy the seats for everybody
Not
at home.
shoot
I am
ducks.
waiting for the dumbest thing someone says to end the show
We're
on,
done.
and we
Wait, no,
are
I
so
got a
close.
question. I got a question. Okay,
Yes.
let me hit you with this. Is the sun wet?
No. It's hot and gaseous.
Kind of wet.
I mean,
It's
like the.
It's gaseous though, so like,
But
isn't it then?
Is gas wet?
Gas
It's
is
gas.
not wet.
Okay, because
You know what's
by
fucked up?
definition,
It's plasma. Plasma's
no.
kind of wet. So
Thank
yeah,
you so
plasma.
much.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what's fucked up? They say like Jupiter is a gas giant, and so like in my head it's like, well, you could stand on it. It's a planet. It's big
No,
enough rock.
look,
I
You
know
can't.
that's what people say, but it's a fucking giant rock in the sky. You
No,
can
it's
see
not.
it.
It's not.
But
That's
it's a
the one
sphere.
that's literally
There's
not.
a sphere that you can put your hand through.
All spheres aren't rocks.
But they're at least a form.
No,
they're a
no.
thing
That's
that you can
gravity.
stand on.
That's
It's
gravity.
It's gravity that like pulls all the like gaseous materials together.
But
if you
it's
were
got to be condensed enough to where like I could stand on. I
No.
could stand on
You wouldn't,
Jupiter.
because
a
first of
cloud,
all-
Dan,
first
it's
of all,
clouds.
you would burn.
If you
Is it,
created,
wait, Jupiter's hot?
I believe. Wouldn't
yes,
you burn?
if you
Why
created
do you
an
watch-
object
that's why it's
that was
Yeah,
dense
Jupiter's
enough,
basically a failed sun. So
That was-
Jupiter could have been
yes.
a sun.
But it
if,
burned
like,
out, right? So it's like
It didn't burn out. It never got going.
it just never got going. If you could create an object that was dense enough to survive the amount of heat and pressure that it would absorb going through it, you could throw that object through Jupiter, and it would come out the other side.
Yeah,
It's all gas.
Gravity catch it, but yeah, whatever.
But if you stood on like the red dot, I
No,
think you would
nothing.
die. You would
The-
die
you
in
know-
the red
oh,
dot.
yeah, you
And the
would-
red
yeah.
dot is literally a storm. That's
it's
why
just
it's
going through
circles.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
But
But I
it's
think
all
you would stand
clouds.
on the non-red parts of Jupiter.
No, there's nothing to
No.
stand. There's nothing.
I mean, I
underneath.
just don't think we can prove this.
No, dog. They've sent so many guys like
To Jupiter?
No.
They said-
That's not true. That's
They
not
sent
true.
so many
Jupiter?
spaceships.
No,
Guys, guys.
Okay, yeah.
That wasn't a shoot.
Kind of guys. We've said a lot
How
of
do we
Space Odyssey
How
wasn't
do
a
they turn
documentary.
oil into
How do they turn oil into dust? Those questions and more answered on giantbomb.com at Summer Game Fest.
Educational stream ever.
Bill Nye the Science Guy over here on the couch.
Get him on the couch.
I love learning.
Get him on the couch.
I love to learn, yeah. I don't know what we've done here. I don't know why any of you watch any of this.
It's a bad show.
It's a real bad show.
Yeah, it's not good.
But we're
No,
gonna.
I know why they're watching. They're watching for the dog.
Barley.
And honestly,
Is this the one? Is it that
I think
one?
we're on the wide.
And honestly, the
yeah,
dog.
that way, you're right.
I think they're just all hoping to see my feet again.
Yep.
Yeah,
Don't give
probably
it.
it.
Don't give it away for
Not
free.
for free. Not for free.
That's the
Sell
one
that
piece
shit.
of advice we will give you on this website. You keep those feet put away unless you're getting paid.
Hit me up on Twitter.
That's good. No, that's a
Wait,
business.
I thought you don't need money.
Giant Bomb will be back tomorrow with more of this for some. Well, we'll see if the cops come and shut us down. Until then, have a good one. Thanks to the Windbag one more time. Thanks to these crazy kids. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Peace.